Chapter 51 Sage Mode of Two Masters and Apprentices, +1. This group of elite ninjas who have experienced war directly brought Guwin a 1-point increase in life intensity. Crunch. There was a sound like iron body deforming and steel wires entangled in Guwin's body. His muscles were built like a cast of refined iron. Its majestic aura is not at all human-like, but rather like a giant beast in human form. Its feet stepped on the ground and even collapsed several meters in a radius, sinking into a hole several meters deep. Escaped? Guwin looked down at Orochimaru's mommy and touched his forehead. His perception was triggered, and in a trance, he felt a majestic force penetrating the four fields. This force is filled between heaven and earth, not natural energy, but a more hidden and advanced force. It even seemed like a will, a powerful life. Fate. Guwin touched the center of his eyebrows. With each metamorphosis, his potential is enhanced. Fighting helps him develop his potential faster and master his newfound powers. Like now, Minato's escape several times, as well as Orochimaru's escape, touched Guwin's nerves, allowing him to capture some kind of hidden and wonderful transformation. Fate's favor? Choice? No. A broken bar. Guwin paused suddenly. He was a little surprised to find that fate also favored him. That majestic power fell on him without discrimination. It's not so much a blessing, it's better to say it's the corner of the river, the choice of countless creatures, and the node that condenses. Guwin showed a thoughtful look. Advertisement. Ad. A few kilometers away, one is in the tent at the rear. Uzumaki Kushina sat on a ground full of seals, closed his eyes and slowly adjusted his spirit and strength. Suddenly, she opened her eyes. The appearance of a person startled her. Senior Orochimaru? Outside the tent, a thick white snake drilled out of the ground, and a person vomiting blood spit out from its mouth. It is Orochimaru. Danzo and Koharu, who were originally guarding Kushina, hurried over to check the situation. Orochimaru, what's the matter with you? How did you get hurt? Cough cough. Orochimaru breathed weakly and leaned against the white snake covered in cold sweat. Almost killed. Fortunately, I completed the spirit snake reincarnation technique ahead of time. He spoke intermittently. After speaking, he closed his eyes and passed out. Orochimaru, Danzo and Koharu rushed to send him to treatment. Even Senpai Orochimaru. Kushina sat in the tent with a worried look on her face. She reached into the ninja bag, held the flying thunder god kunai that Minato gave him, and prayed silently in her heart. Minato, you must be fine. Coastal. With a calm expression, Guwin stood on a pile of mummy powder and looked in a certain direction. Advertisement. Ad finally finished. I've been waiting for you, Jiraiya. Where the gaze was fixed on, a white-haired man lifted the overwhelmed wooden board and walked out. His face was gloomy, obviously suppressing anger. Swish. A golden light flashed. Namikaze Minato appeared behind Guwin, looking at the mummified corpses molding around him. The anger in his eyes was about to burst out. He clenched his fists tightly. His eyes were full of hatred. Why? Kill someone? Everyone finally won the battle, and they are all excitedly waiting to go back to the village to reunite with their families. Their relatives are looking forward to it and worrying all day long. But because of you, they will sadly receive an obituary instead of a reunion. Guwin looked at him indifferently, with an indifferent expression. There was no ripple in his heart. You kill me, I kill you. Don't you understand such a simple truth? Guwin looked at Namikaze Minato calmly. Are you kidding me? This sentence seemed to touch his pain point. Namikaze Minato roared angrily. Is it true that in your heart, killing is the solution, and killing can solve the problem? Yes. Guwin nodded. Killing is indeed a solution. In other words, violence is always the most efficient means. The reason why violence is not used is because of mutual checks and balances and restraints, so more moderate means such as political, economic, and cultural invasions are used. But whatever it is, it's killing people. They only pursue gentleness on the surface, but don't understand the inner logic. This kind of person is just a naive child. You're thinking, I can't agree with it. Namikaze Minato trembled with anger when he heard Guwin's affirmative answer. He seemed to really want to try to convince Guwin with words. This made Guwin slightly speechless, but he didn't care. He talked casually to delay the time, and took the opportunity to observe the power of fate on Namikaze Minato and Jiraiya. Advertisement. Adverbal confrontation seems to be a kind of interaction. This made the fate of the two of them more obvious in Guwin's perception. Okay Minato, this guy is a born demon. Jiraiya made a sound, and Fukasaku Sato and Shima Sento stood on his shoulders respectively, looking at Guwin with the same hatred. Their child, Toadwentai, was killed by Guwin just now. The best way to deal with such a cruel guy who attacks his companions is to kill him. Jiraiya clapped his hands together as he said, Sage Art Hair Needle 1000 books. He flicked the hair on the back of his head, and the hair was tensed, and it turned into needles and shot out, falling towards Guwin like a rain curtain. Ding ding ding! Exclamation mark. The sharp hair needles fell on Guwin's body, making the sound of iron clashing. It can't even pierce the skin, it just bounces off. Boom. Instead, Guwin glanced at Jiraiya, and the mental shock invaded Jiraiya's body, which instantly caused electrical signal disorder, and his heartbeat ran wildly. Jiraiya turned pale and almost fell to the ground. Fortunately, the increase in Sage Mode prevented him from dying directly. Call out a broken bar. Behind him, Nimike's Minato threw a handful of flying thunder god kunai. Kyu flew through the air. Countless enemies once drank their hatred under this move, and achieved the name of Yellow Flash. Whether they dodge or block, they will be diverted by Nimike's Minato with flying thunder god, and then a Rasengan to the face. Slap! But Guin grabbed it with his hand, and flying thunder god kunai fell into his hands. Holding it gently, kunai was twisted and deformed by the palm of his flesh, and the flying thunder god spell on it was directly shattered. P.S. The last update today. It's too much. The book is usually about 80,000 words in 6 days, and I have 100,000 words. And my stats are too low, and my collection is ridiculously low. I'd better check the situation after it's on the shelves and continue to add more. Dragon Boat Festival reading big discount. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, June 22nd to June 24th. Chapter 52, Fates Fading Prev Chapter Next Chapter Advertisement. Ad boom. Flying Thunder God is supreme. The hanging flash bombs and smoke bombs exploded together. The light and smoke are just about to be released. Guin put his fingers together, like closing an iron box, crushing the 2 explosive bombs, extinguishing all the light and smoke. Nimike's Minato's face was slightly stiff, but not too discouraged. He immediately diverted away with Flying Thunder God. The moment he left, a sound wave visible to the naked eye fell. The 2 toads on Jiraiya's shoulders opened their mouths wide at the same time, agitating their stomachs and making a sharp cry. Croak. 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 Sage Art Hey Middle. Toad sings. The combination of 2 toad sages combined with fairy art creates a high frequency and sharp frog cry, trapping the enemy in the illusion barrier and making them unable to move. Since it is a real voice, creatures without chakra will also be affected. This is Jiraiya's special illusion for Guin. Layer after layer of sound waves fell on Guin, as if invisible shackles imprisoned him. On the ground, a circle of cracks slowly appeared. This is the soil being cracked by sound waves. Guin's face was expressionless, and the sound waves fell on him like water splashes, gliding against his skin and collapsing. Sage Art Great Flame. Jiraiya took a deep breath at the same time, trying to get something out of his mouth. Wow! Suddenly, his eyes blurred, and his field of vision was occupied by a palm. Didn't see how it happened at all. Guin's big hand pinched his chin, tightly jammed his mouth, and blocked the toad oil that Jiraiya had just extracted. Well, Jiraiya was startled, her eyes bulging. Snapped. Advertisement. Ad. Guin let go of his hand briefly and snapped his fingers. Obviously it was just a finger, but when it was struck, it made a muffled sound of iron body colliding, and at the same time a spark jumped out of it and jumped into Jiraiya's mouth. Call! Exclamation mark. Sparks directly ignited the toad oil in Jiraiya's mouth. In an instant, a massive fire surged in his mouth. Jiraiya, little Jiraiya, teacher, Nimike's Minato and the 2 toad sages were shocked. Vomit! Exclamation mark. At the critical moment, Jiraiya exhaled in one breath, and under the control of chakra, the ignited flame was condensed into the ninjutsu that had just been interrupted. Immortal Technique A Middle. Big Flame Bullet. The expressions of the 2 toad sages changed to surprise. Nimike's Minato threw kunai from a distance, and it landed where Guin might dodge. Snapped. Guin didn't have to hide at all. He slapped his backhand, and the air crackled. The surging flames were directly scattered into a sheet of sparks. Jiraiya's jaw shattered and he flew upside down. Just about to get up, Guin glanced at him. Boom. Another mental shock. Jiraiya shook her head and covered her heart in pain. The toads on both sides are born to master the magic of chakra, and even live in symbiosis with chakra. The wriggling bugs in the jelly of the flesh are connected together like ropes. They are more resistant. Kai. Fukasaku Immortal flicked out his tongue and shot at Guin like a bullet. Immortal chakra's strengthened tongue greatly improves both speed and defense. Even Akai's Sharingan has to be handled with care. This is why Jiraiya is respected by the Akai clan. In Sage Mode, Jiraiya's speed has exceeded their pupil power, which is too fast to catch. But for Guin, it was also slow. He stretched out his 5 fingers. Advertisement. Ad. Fukasaku didn't even realize it himself. The tip of his tongue exploded into minced meat. Aha! Broken bar! A broken bar! It had just screamed out, when its eyes suddenly blurred. Suddenly, a hand appeared in front of the empty space, gently patting it on the forehead. Snapped. Its body froze, and its head exploded like a burst watermelon. Honey! On the other side, Immortal Zijian cried out in grief, spitting out a sharp water knife from his mouth. Guin turned his head and avoided it. Behind, a deep cut with a length of 100 meters was cut on the ground. Swish! A golden light flashed. Minato relied on the Flying Thunder God kunai mastered by Jiraiya, and took Jiraiya to transfer elsewhere. Guin was still shifted by him, looking at the void. He dodged to catch up unhurriedly. The next moment, Nimike's Minato had just brought the person 100 meters away when suddenly a figure appeared in front of him. The air hissed and the airwaves rolled. Guin came to him like a shadow at an astonishing speed. Palm clapped. Very eat a broken bar! A broken bar! Nimike's Minato's mind went blank. On the verge of danger, Jiraiya recovered and clapped his hands together. Boom! Toad's mouth bondage technique. A huge stomach was summoned out. This is the stomach of the Mount Mae Ringbaku Iwasaka toad. It has amazing external defenses and terrible digestion inside. Can trap enemies and defend against attacks. Also at this time, Guin stopped his movements slightly, He could have killed the people inside this stomach before it appeared. Advertisement. Ad. But just now, the moment Jiraiya recovered, he noticed that the family of fate had weakened. The part of that power attached to Jiraiya's body seemed to be exhausted, and it faded from Guwen's perception. Huh? Guwen let out a little hey, and smiled slightly. Then go ahead and attack. In the stomach. This should be able to resist a little bit. Later, Minato, you use wind style to cooperate with me, and Immortal Shima uses fire style. Just halfway through speaking, Yansu Toad suddenly shook. Jiraiya looked up, his expression changed drastically. The stomach tissue on the head was pierced by the outside hands, and then it was broken to the sides. It seemed that without much force, Yansu Toad's stomach was torn into two halves. Guwen's figure entered the eyes of the three of them. Sage Art Hey Middle. Goemon. Jiraiya spit out toad oil to Guwen. Shima spits at fire style, and Namikaze Minato casts wind style. Wind plus fire plus oil. Ultra high temperature flames surged out, engulfing Guwen's figure. Although Jiraiya didn't finish speaking just now, both Shima and Namikaze Minato understood the meaning, and they cooperated tacitly together to perform combined ninjutsu. Under the blessing of Zayanshu chakra, the temperature of this flame was unbelievably high, and everything that touched it was roasted to ashes. Even the ground melted and turned into a magma-like object. With a broken bar. Jiraiya looked back in despair. Guwen didn't know when, and stood beside him. A palm rested on the head of Immortal Shima on his shoulder. Use a little force. P.S. Big guys Yahi, Hukin, 31,282, the third particle for the rewards. Thank you. Thank you brothers for your flower support. Thank you very much. Dragon Boat Festival reading big discount. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, June 22nd to June 24th. Chapter 53 Nine Tails Tailed Beast Bomb. Rev chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Ad snapped. Immortal Zijian followed in her husband's footsteps and burst his head like a balloon. No. Jiraiya cried out in grief. Next second. Guwen looked at Jiraiya, and the mental shock fell. Boom. Jiraiya suffered a mental shock for the third time. This time, I finally couldn't bear it anymore. My heart was so violent that it exploded, and it died down instantly. Yan's third sound, and I fell to the ground with my eyes rolling. Guwen was also at this moment, and his perception seemed to cross a layer of boundaries and fall into the unknown void. His spirit was slightly disturbed. The vast power that traverses the four fields and fills the natural enemies is slightly transferred from Minato's body to Jiraiya's body. At the same time, in front of Guwen, Minato transformed into a ray of golden light, and brought Jiraiya time-space transfer. Hundreds of meters away, a golden light flickered, teleporting while jumping. Namikaze Minato uses the Flying Thunder God technique several times in a row, sending Jiraiya several kilometers away. And in the other direction, about 3 kilometers away, a huge, active, aggressive chakra flowing from someone, condensed into a huge orange red body. The violent and vicious breath swept across the earth like a strong wind. All creatures were terrified and prostrate on the ground. This technique of chakra diffusion. Guwen was slightly taken aback, looking in that direction. A dark red fox with a huge body, taller than ordinary mountains, dancing with 9 tails, gathering a large number of chakra in its mouth. These chakras are aggregated in a 2:8 ratio of yin and yang. After being highly compressed, it formed a dark purple dark sphere, quietly suspended in front of 9 Tails' mouth like a small planet. Tailed Beast Bomb. Advertisement. Add S-rank esoteric ninjutsu. When its power is released, it is enough to destroy a large hidden village, and the damage range is as large as dozens of kilometers. In order to make this Tailed Beast Bomb, the figure of this 9 Tails is quite hollow. It seems that it will fade away and disappear in the next moment. Uzumaki Kushina enters the Tailed Beast, and without losing control, create a Tailed Beast Bomb, and carry out a saturated cover blow on me. Well, a rough battle plan, but it's also useful enough. After all, it's impossible for me to run tens of kilometers away in an instant. Guwen said to himself lightly. Konoha camp a few kilometers away. A crowd of Konoha Shinobi gaze up in awe at the 9 tails above. That's amazing. Is this a tailed beast? It's the first time I've felt the power of a tailed beast up close. This time Katafumi will surely die. Yes, this is a tailed beast bomb that can destroy a hidden village. In enchantment, even though the 2 elders were heavily protected, they were still trembling with fear. This tailed beast bomb hovered 100 meters above their heads. It is like a huge solid iron ball, suspended motionless and slowly rotating, giving people a sense of constant stillness. But no one doubted its power. It was an astonishing power that made people feel like thorns just by looking at it with their eyes. Ultimate compression, highly condensed. Chakra even became a materialized existence. Once such a trick is released, it must be as powerful as destroying the world, as expected of the ultimate weapon of war. Danzo sighed softly. Beside, Udatane Koharu wiped the cold sweat off his head, and exclaimed, the power of the 9 tails tailed beast bomb, let alone Fugaku, all of us Konoha and Fugaku can't resist it. Advertisement. Ad Hadafumi is dead. Danzo said flatly. Udatane Koharu nodded approvingly. Suzu is only known as the Valkyrie, and is praised as god. But the tailed beast is a real god. They are violent gods. In the distant history, it was worshipped by countless countries and people, and it was regarded as a mobile natural disaster. But Kano's people don't know. On the other side, more than 1,000 meters away, Namikaze Minato appeared with Jiraiya on his arm and laid him down in a hidden cave. Jiraiya was pale and trembling. Cold sweat broke out on his forehead, but he had a scalding fever. The situation is exactly the same as the original Minato. Teach a broken bar. Without hesitation, Namikaze Minato took out the immortal talisman that could be used once from his bosom. Shingly broken bar. The clear sound like a wine chime sounded leisurely. The moist green light illuminates the entire cave, and the breath of life radiates out. Minato sticks the immortal talisman on Jiraiya's heart, and uses the last chance on Jiraiya's body. The green light condensed, and water waves generally covered Jiraiya's body. With a breath, Jiraiya recovered. He opened his eyes in a trance, the horizontal pupil lines in his eyes disappeared, his facial makeup faded, and he exited sage mode. The magic chakra is used up. Jiraiya clutched his forehead, suddenly fixed his eyes on the immortal talisman in front of him. Minato, you are crazy. You used the immortal talisman on me. Advertisement. His face changed drastically, and he grabbed his disciple's neckline emotionally. This is for you to supplement the magic chakra. Without the blessing of sage mode, you will not be able to perceive the flying thunder god kunai in the enchantment a few kilometers away. The tailed beast bomb will kill you together. I know a broken bar. Namikaze Minato had a calm face with a smile on his face. The pupil lines in his eyes also disappeared, and the eyeshadows, facial makeup, etc. faded away at the same time. Immortal chakra. Used up as expected, according to the plan. Next, it was Minato who used the immortal talisman, and finally entangled Fumi Hisata, and then used Flying Thunder God Kunai to teleport away. But I can't just watch you die, teacher. So, I decided to die with good to win. The voice fell. The figure of Namikaze Minato disappeared. Minato, Jiraiya yelled, clawing hard in front of him. But it was empty. He stared blankly at the emptiness in front of him, closed his eyes in pain, and his face was full of pain. Coastal. Namikaze Minato made multiple flying thunder god jumps and returned to the battlefield again. He saw Katawin who was standing still. The other party seemed to be waiting for him. Aren't you going to run away, Katawin? Minato took a deep breath, took out a handful of kunai, held it in his hand, and slowly stepped forward. See that over there? The nine tails are gathering the chakra to unleash the tailed beast bomb, which has a range more terrifying than Zuzu's and enough to destroy this coast. Do you think you can survive this kind of attack? Dragon Boat Festival reading big discount. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, June 22nd to June 24th. Chapter 54. How old are you, Namikaze Minato? Rev chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Guwen turned to look at him, but didn't speak. It's just a mental shock. Boom. The familiar invisible force slammed into his mind like a hammer. Namikaze Minato's head shook, and a wry smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. In sage mode, he is still not Guwen's opponent. Now that the magic chakra is used up, it is even more impossible to resist Guwen's attack. Thinking like this, he closed his eyes, intending to die. But seconds passed. Everything is quiet. There is the sound of waves on the shore, and the crackling sound of the flame of the detonating talisman burning slowly. Namikaze Minato opened his eyes suddenly with a startled expression. I'm not dead? ? What eat you up to? His first reaction was that there was a conspiracy, and he immediately looked at Guwen. Just a test. Guwen's expression was light. In his perception, the body of life is an inert jelly, and the spirit is a lively flame. But Nine Tails gave him new inspiration. The mere existence of the tailed beast brought violent shock to people. Their chakra is constantly affecting the surroundings, eroding and corrupting living things. This is a more subtle means of intervention. Advertisement. Guwen reobserved the creatures, and he found that if you change the angle, the whole piece of jelly is actually an independent enchantment and energy field. Internal organs, nerves, muscles, bones. These structures are metabolizing all the time, releasing bioelectric waves. Layers of mental fluctuations that cooperate with each other are mutually connected to build a stable body structure. After having this idea, look at this world again. The spiritual core of a creature is a high-temperature flame. The outer body is a slightly cooled lava. In fact, they are essentially the same, but the frequency of activity is different. Then adjusting my mental interference frequency, wouldn't it be possible to embed into the other party's body and disintegrate their body structure from the inside? Guwen's first test subject was Namikaze Minato. What test? Namikaze Minato asked nervously. Guwen didn't answer, but his spirit sank slowly. After a few seconds, his spirit became accepted by Minato's body as if it was a part of Minato itself. Also at this time, Namikaze Minato felt his body could not move. His face changed slightly. He wanted to struggle, but found that the muscles and nerves below the head seemed to have their own ideas, resisting his will. He couldn't use his body. What did you do to me? Shocked, Namikaze Minato tries to use ninjutsu. Chakra is an active substance extracted from physical energy and spiritual energy, which can be directly affected by the spirit, which is why some skilled ninjas can do muji. Don't worry. Advertisement. Guwen followed immediately, invaded the spirit of Namikaze Minato's body, and partially adjusted the frequency. These active frequencies travel along the nerves to Namikaze Minato's brain. It's like a huge dam, blocking the Order of Minato's spiritual will from entering and exiting. He is now like an emperor under house arrest. The decree does not leave the palace. You a broken bar. Namikaze Minato became more and more anxious, but seeing Guwen's indifferent expression, he suddenly calmed down. I had come here with the idea of a mortal death. So far, what are you afraid of? Kuda-wen. Namikaze Minato thought of this, and asked the question that he had been wondering in his heart. Why did you defect? Guwen looked at him, then at the tailed beast bomb behind him. It takes time for Nine Tails Shakur together, and Konoha's people don't want Jinchuriki time and space, so let Kushina come steadily. And he invaded Namikaze Minato's brain, facing the complex and numerous mental changes. It also takes some time. Then just chat. There's no reason, just do what you want. Guwen said casually. You won't want to persuade me to go back to Konoha to change my mind, right? I'm not that naive. Namikaze Minato showed a bitter smile. It's just that I don't understand. Why don't you use your power on the right path? Konoha didn't treat you badly. Didn't you feel guilty when you killed your companion? Guwen looked at him casually, actually looking at the spirit of Namikaze Minato. He was simulating the mental transformation of Namikaze Minato, and was slowly gaining access to the opponent's body. Advertisement. Why should I use the question in the right way? Guwen replied casually. Or, how to use my power is my business. How do you ask a question that a child would ask? Namikaze Minato froze. Think something is right, and then force this cognition on others. If the other party does not accept your own ideas, then it is crooked, and you are on the wrong path. This kind of thinking that the whole world revolves around you is only for children. How old are you? Namikaze Minato. Namikaze Minato was silent for a while, and smiled wryly. But his eyes were still determined, and he said, I firmly believe that my thoughts are correct, and everyone will eventually understand each other. Now there are many companions in the village who support me, which is enough to show that I did nothing wrong. Look, it's like this again. Guwen said, the point is not whether your idea is right or wrong. The point is that you have been forcibly instilling your own ideas into other people's minds, and you have not noticed the problem. Namikaze Minato frowned. He opened his mouth, just about to say something. I heard Guwen continue to say, let me just give you an example. Those who supported you on the battlefield and during missions, and the companions who can be trusted to entrust their backs, don't they look different when they return to the village to handle various affairs? Namikaze Minato's mouth froze. The words he wanted to say stuck in his throat. His expression became surprised. Guwen hit the spot. Did they become selfish, insidious, cunning, hypocritical, as if they were completely different people? Is it different from them during the battle? Guwen looked at him indifferently. Namikaze Minato's eyes were fixed, and his expression became hesitant. Dragon Boat Festival reading big discount. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, June 22nd to June 24th. Chapter 55 Sharp comment on Senin. Rev chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Ad bingo. It's all on point. It was all hit by Fumikuta. There was an uproar in Namikaze Minato's heart. So how do you deal with it? Guwen's voice continued. You can't understand, you can't agree, so you deny, reject, resist, and refute this change. You think that the companions who can rely on their lives in battle are what they really are. You don't want to believe that they have another side full of selfishness. You don't accept the dark side of people. You are like a flower growing in a greenhouse. You take the right temperature, just sunshine, abundant rain, and abundant nutrition as a matter of course. You feel like you can enjoy these things forever as long as everyone lives in peace. You didn't see that under the big trees that live in the wild, there are no flowers and plants growing around the roots, because the nutrients and water are sucked up by the big trees. You don't know that the vines will parasitize the big trees and choose not to grow independently. No, you know these things, but you turn a blind eye to them, and you try your best to deny their existence. Namikaze Minato, you haven't grown up yet. Guwen said calmly. Namikaze Minato's eyes widened, his pupils seemed to be shaking. All are said! Exclamation mark. His true thoughts in his heart, his confusion and doubts, were all hit by Guwen. What's more frightening is that the source and root of these thoughts of mine were all explained by Guwen, as naked as if he had no clothes on. Suddenly, Namikaze Minato felt something collapse in his heart. Advertisement. Ad is the belief he has always insisted on turned out to be just a childish innocence. In my opinion, your teacher Jiraiya is much better than you. Guwen's voice came. Namikaze Minato came to his senses when he heard the teacher's name. I only heard Guwen speaking softly. After seeing the cruelty of the struggle outside the greenhouse, although he couldn't accept it, he also recognized the facts. Even if he chooses to escape, he is constantly cultivating innocent people, allowing more people to join in this beautiful dream, and looking forward to dreaming one day enough people, and dreams can come true. Namikaze Minato's face turned green and pale when he heard it. Orochimaru is a little bit worse. Guwen continued, after seeing the situation outside the greenhouse, he felt that the former greenhouse was false, and life should be completely dominated by the jungle. But he was also full of nostalgia for the past, and thus fell into internal conflicts of self-contradiction. Sooner or later will go crazy because of excessive depression. Namikaze Minato's complexion became even uglier. He really wanted to refute Guwen, but deep down in his heart, He couldn't help agreeing with Guwin's words. He actually felt that Guwin was right. That a broken bar. Namikaze Minato lowered his head and asked in a trembling voice, "What about Master Tsunade? What does Master Tsunade look like to you? What's there to say about a child who doesn't want to grow up?" Guwin asked strangely. Namikaze Minato's eyelids twitched. Although Tsunade-sama is suffering from blood phobia now, it is because of the loss of important people. Anyone who loses someone important is devastated. Is it too much for you to say that? Namikaze Minato was angry. It's not excessive. It's just a pertinent evaluation. Guwin seemed to see through his thoughts, and said, "Since you choose to be a ninja, you should have choices and psychological expectations about death and parting, but she has nothing at all. When things happen, she will cry and die. She herself if you don't come out and wait for someone to pull her. This kind of person is hopeless." Advertisement. Ad. Namikaze Minato disagreed, and asked loudly, "There are too many accidents in life. Do you dare to say that you have made all the preparations?" Guwin's expression was calm, just like the beginning. He just said lightly, "Accident itself is the psychological expectation that everyone needs to make. Since you knew it was coming back, you turned a blind eye. Don't think about it because of fear and resistance, and then blame fate and accidents when it happens, so that I can feel comforted in my heart? What a naive idea." Guwin reprimanded mercilessly. Namikaze Minato fell silent, as if his heart had been shaken. He showed a complex expression. This is what makes Guwin different from others. He didn't feel that what was said above needed to be discussed and refuted. Those who should have known to everyone who chooses their own path, have this consensus. When the choice is sloppy, the result obtained is not in line with the intention. Only then cried and regretted. Isn't this a kindergarten child? After choosing, I feel that the road is too difficult to walk, and then I turn back frequently, complaining about everything. Isn't this mental friction? Maybe I have to find a second uncle to treat him. When Guwin awakened his abilities, he didn't have these things. The road so far has been walking firmly. It's not about gnashing your teeth and being fierce, but accepting it calmly, without any regrets. Advertisement. Ad. Of course, the requirements are a bit high. Normal people can understand and accept that there may not be 1 out of 100,000 people. Guwin sighed softly and stopped looking at Namikaze Minato. He turned his head to look at Nine Tails in the distance. The tailed beast bomb is ready to be completed. A black and purple dull ball, as huge as a house. Boom! Exclamation mark. Nine Tails spat out suddenly, and the tailed beast bomb shot out, hitting like a shell. The moment of flying out, the air exploded into circular airwaves one after another, and the place where the tailed beast bomb flew in the middle almost showed a vacuum track. Between microseconds, the tailed beast bomb came in front of Guwin. Guwin looked calm, and turned to look at Namikaze Minato. At this moment, the spiritual invasion is complete. Namikaze Minato's body changes hands. "You a broken bar. Namikaze Minato suddenly felt a change in his body. He raised his arm spontaneously, moved his fingers, and then slowly formed Ninja Prince. "You are manipulating my body?" Namikaze Minato's pupils constricted in horror. Dragon Boat Festival reading big discount. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, June 22nd to June 24th, Chapter 56. Namikaze Minato. "No!" Brev chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Adam. Guwin casually said Kade A-ring. Under his mental intervention, Namikaze Minato's will is suppressed in the brain area, which is where Namikaze Minato's soul resides. The area below the neck is all controlled by Guwin. Simulate hormone stimulation, simulate nerve signals, simulate biological currents. All the physiological changes of the human body are mastered by Guwin. What's more, Namikaze Minato's mental fluctuations were also simulated by him. That means he can control Namikaze Minato's chakra, stealing control of Namikaze Minato's body in disguise. "What do you want to do?" Namikaze Minato sank face to face, and he started to feel scared. Guwin didn't kill him, but just talked to him. Maybe the plot was not small. It is likely to control his body and do things he does not want to see. At that time, he was not the only one who died. Instead, it may implicate many people in death. "What I want to do, you will know right away." Guwin's hand was gently pressed on Namikaze Minato's shoulder. "Simulate mental fluctuations. Seal with both hands. Chakra is induced to flow directional in meridians and acupuncture points." Then under Namikaze Minato's terrified eyes, a familiar seal was formed. "Ninja Flying Thunder God Technique. You also left a kunai on Nine Tails Jinchuriki Kashina as the coordinates of your planned escape." Guwin said slowly. No. No. Namikaze Minato's expression changed completely, and he shook his head frantically. "Don't do this. Don't do this. Please, don't do this." Advertisement. Ad. He showed pleading eyes. Guwin was unmoved. His expression remained calm. "Your current perception should not be enough to confirm the location of that kunai. It's okay, I'll help you." "No!" Namikaze Minato yelled in despair. A familiar invisible force savagely rushed into his brain. The next moment, Namikaze Minato feels that his consciousness has been amplified dozens of times, and his spirit has entered the state of ultimate sharpness, and his perception has never been magnified. This magnified perception is in his horrified expression, precisely locked onto Uzumaki Kashina, who returned to human form after releasing the tailed beast bomb. "Don't want." Swish. With a flash of golden light, the figures of Guin and Namikaze Minato disappeared. The tailed beast bomb falls. There was a slight light between the sky and the earth, as if it was illuminated for a moment. Then, a huge amount of light and heat was released, and the blazing flames shot straight into the sky, and the shock wave shattered the earth, engulfed in air and smoke, and rushed in all directions like mountains and seas. Boom! Exclamation mark. The roaring sound like the land collapsing came from several kilometers away. The earth trembled, and everything turned pale. The whole world seemed to be shaking. In the camp, the erected enchantment was destroyed like paper paste. Then the second barrier, the third barrier, the fourth barrier, and the fifth barrier. Bang bang bang! Exclamation mark. The 5 layers of barriers are broken one after another. The scorching flames, as if pouring from the Milky Way in the sky, roared on the huge rock wall behind the barrier. The wall strengthened by Earth-style ninjutsu has a steel-like defense. Advertisement. And it was tens of meters thick, surrounding the camp like a fortress. But only for 3 seconds. It was rushed away by the flame flow, crackling and bursting open countless cracks, bursting in pieces. Everyone in the camp looked tense. Their attention fell on the figure at the front. It was a girl with fiery red hair and a pretty face. Her name was Uzumaki Kushina. Before the rock wall was completely broken, the girl exuded a dark red chakra breath. A layer of rapidly flowing dark red color covered her body like a skin, and 6 tails grew behind her. Beastization. Kushina once again entered the tailed beast. But this time it's not a full-tailed beast, but just 6 tails. As a member of the Uzumaki clan, Kushina was completely in control. Roar. She opened her mouth and let out a cry like a tailed beast. The 6 tails behind him spread out like peacocks, and lashed fiercely at Yanliu in front of him. And in front of her mouth, a large number of chakra gathered, forming a beam of high temperature and blazing laser beams, which blasted out towards the flame stream in front of her. Boom! Exclamation mark. The laser collided with the flame stream, making a loud noise like an earthquake. The 2 sides unexpectedly formed a huge extended surface, with light on one side and flames on the other side, wrestling fiercely with each other, bursting out every second with a power comparable to A-level ninjutsu. The people behind her didn't dare to approach her at all. Even looking at it from a distance of 100 meters, I still feel hot all over my body, and my skin is blistered by the high temperature air. The ground where Kushina was on collapsed inch by inch. Her whole body is sinking. 1 meter, 2 meters, 3 meters, 4 meters, 5 meters. When it sank 5 meters deep into the ground, the terrifying stream of flames was exhausted and its power faded. Kushina. Water style for all. Advertisement. Add earth styles to go to protect all around. Danzo and Koharu finally breathed a sigh of relief seeing Kushina block the impact of the tailed beast bomb. They hastily ordered people to come forward to help. Side by side earthen walls stood up, blocking the flames in all directions. The repair enchantment of the enchantment class. At the same time, the ninja using water style keeps making clean water to cool the surrounding air. Water style great waterfall technique. A team of Anbu ninjas, 4 of them specially used to create a huge amount of clear water, rushed to Kushina's surroundings. Kai kai kai! Exclamation mark. As soon as the clear water touched the ground, it immediately turned into white steam and evaporated. Tons of clear water evaporated in the blink of an eye. Water style great waterfall technique. Anbu ninja was stunned for a while, and quickly continued to use the joint water style. Rear. Danzo and Koharu wiped their cold sweat with lingering fear. Fortunately, it blocked. Yes, the 2 of them sighed, their faces still worried. In the original plan, it was Minato, Jiraiya, or Orochimaru, and Kushina who would maintain the barrier and protect them. But only Orochimaru came back, and it was still badly injured. The condition of the other 2 is unknown. They had to be topped by Kushina alone. Where's Orochimaru? Danzo asked in a low voice. Beside, a root stepped forward and replied, according to the time, it has been sent 10 kilometers away with the summoning beast. The distance will not be affected much. It will probably only collapse a few mountains. The guardian ninja is enough to deal with it. Dragon Boat Festival reading big discount. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, June 22nd to June 24th. Chapter 57. Many people died. Prev chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. That's good. Koharu and Danzo both heaved a sigh of relief. Let's go and see what's going on with Kushina. The 2 stepped forward. After Kushina resisted the tailed beast bomb's explosion, she also exited the tailed beast state, and the tailed beast suit and tail on her body faded away. The violent chakra breath restrained. Who. Once back to normal, she was panting and sweating profusely, as if to collapse. After all, using the chakra of the tailed beast, Jinchuriki's spirit and will be eroded, and a violent desire to kill will emerge in his heart. Especially when the tailed beast doesn't cooperate. This violent desire to kill is so high that it is difficult to contain it. Many Jinchuriki run amok for this reason. Kushina, how is your body? Utatane Koharu stepped forward to hug her. But Kushina's focus was entirely off herself. Clutching Utatane Koharu's hand anxiously, she asked, where's Minato? Is Minato back yet? The kunai he asked me to hold didn't move, and he didn't transfer it to me with the Flying Thunder God technique. Kushina had tears in her eyes, looking like she was about to cry. Danzo sighed slightly, walked over to comfort him and said, don't worry too much, time in space ninjutsu and sage mode, it's easy for Minato to leave, he'll be fine. Kushina, who was comforted, calmed down a little. Really, that was the sage mode of Mount Maya Ringbaku's holy land, and Minato also told her privately that Mount Maya Ringbaku also gave out a copy of the most precious immortal talisman. Even in desperation, that fairy talisman could also save his life. Danzo is right, and besides Jiraiya, they can be transferred to Mount Maya Ringbaku in an emergency. Udaine Koharu followed to comfort Kushina. Advertisement. Ad is talking. The eyes of the three suddenly blurred, and a young man with blonde hair appeared next to Kushina. The flying thunder god kunai in Kushina's pocket trembled softly. This is how its owner behaves when using it. Minato. Kushina's face was like a dimple blooming, and she was so surprised that she wanted to pounce on it. Suddenly, seeing that Minato's appearance was not right, she paused subconsciously. I saw Namikaze. Minato's face was dry, his hair was dull, his whole body seemed to be decades old, and his vitality was extremely weak. Kushina, I'm sorry. Minato looked up, revealing a weeping face. Be careful, be careful. Danzo and Koharu's face changed suddenly, and they pulled Kushina back. Behind Namikaze Minato, a man who squeezed his neck appeared, looking at the Konoha Shinobi participants with indifference. Everyone was horrified. Good to win. The man who appeared was exactly their target to kill this time. When Jyushin, how did he get in here? Minato. Master Minato was captured by him. Stop Earth style, open the passage. This guy Kutafumi is coming in. The Konoha Shinobi followers panicked. The name of a person, the shadow of a tree. Guwen's record of defection all the way, and the battle on the coast just now, is enough to shock everyone. Click. Guwen crushed Namikaze Minato's neck and threw the mummy aside. Plus 0.01. His eyes fell on everyone. Boom. Advertisement. At this moment, they experienced the injury described by Namikaze Minato. Everyone was shocked, their heads buzzed, and an unstoppable fear erupted in their bodies, sweeping like mountains and seas. Their spirit and will are in the face of this strong fear, fragile as a leaf. In an instant, he was engulfed by a surge of fear. Cough. Ho. Well, a broken bar. The Konoha Shinobi players who were present fell to the ground one by one, clutching their hearts. In an instant, this group of elite ninjas who survived fighting on the Mist Shinobi battlefield died and turned into mummies. Plus 0.01. Plus 0.01. Plus 0.01. Shimura Dance A-Ring and Udaine Koharu are no exception. The two of them were pale and fell to the ground in shock. Their eyes widened. While breathing, the heartbeat stopped. Died. The top two Konohas, the existence that countless ninjas need to look up to, the elders who have a lot of power, just died simply, no different from other ninjas. The only survivor is Uzumaki Kushina. Under the stimulus of panic, a large number of tailed beast chakra emerged from her body, and she actually entered the tailed beast transformation 3 times, forming a thick layer of dark red tailed beast coat on the surface of her body. With a sound of clicking, a layer of white skeleton grew on her surface. The number of tails behind has increased from 6 to 7. Roar! Exclamation mark. She let out a deafening roar. Just the roar shattered the surrounding Earth-style rock walls, and was then smashed into pieces by the swing of her tail. Instantly, the camp was re-exposed to the outside world. Advertisement. Add the heat and scorched earth left behind by the tailed beast bomb exploded with terrifying heat. But both Guwen and Kushina were unaffected. The temperature is enough to burn ordinary people into charcoal, and they don't even feel it. Boom. Stepping on the scorched earth with flowing sparks, Kushina flicked her 6 tails, pulling towards Guwen fiercely like a steel cable. Bang bang bang! Exclamation mark. Guwen swung 7 punches at a speed that the naked eye could not catch. The 7 tails were blown up in the air. At the same time, the ground under Guwen's feet collapsed to a depth of 1 meter. Kushina froze for a moment. He had never seen anyone hit the tail of a blast tail with a fist. How can this be? The consciousness that was furious in his head because of Minato's death unexpectedly calmed down strangely. Boom. She was in a daze, but Guwen wasn't. The ground suddenly cracked, and a pothole with a radius of several meters exploded. Guwen's figure was as fast as lightning, and he came to Kushina in an instant, grabbing her tailed beast coat with both hands and twisting and pulling. Hiss! This layer of erosive tailed animal clothing is like paper being torn apart. Inside, Kushina's dull face was revealed. This person is a monster? Question mark. Her heart vibrated violently, stirring up thousands of hectares of waves. How could there be such a pervert person? You a broken bar. Kushina just uttered a word. Boom! Exclamation mark. Her eyes blurred, her head seemed to be hit by a heavy hammer, and she flew backwards at a terrifying speed. Dragon Boat Festival reading big discount. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, June 22nd to June 24th. Chapter 58 Unrivaled. Rev Chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Ad. Kushina fell to the charred ground. Like a broken sack, it bounced hard more than 10 times, and hit the scorched earth 100 meters away. Gulu. Groups of red bubbles emerged from her body, forming a bubble-like light red air film covering her body. Only at the head position, this air film is missing a piece. But missing positions are recovering rapidly. And on Kushina's forehead, a bruised fist mark appeared on it. 9 tails. You saved me. Kushina reacted immediately. She knew Guwen's strength, The punch just now should have blown her head off, but she was just sent flying. At the critical moment, it was Ninetales who mobilized chakra and made her a tailed beast suit. Tailed beast clothes shaped by tailed beast himself. Chakra's power is all gathered together, naturally made by Kushina. Jinchuriki is many times better. This saved Kushina from being killed by a single punch. Let go of the suppression of the seal. Let me do my best. The voice of Ninetales sounded in Kushina's mind. There is something wrong with this kid. He actually gives me a creepy feeling. He doesn't look like a normal human being. Kushina hesitated for a moment. She can't trust Ninetales. Konoha captures Ninetales and seals them, and the two sides forge a great feud. Once the seal is released, what if Ninetales attacks her in turn? Even if Ninetales doesn't turn back after she comes out, after the battle, if Ninetales doesn't cooperate, she won't be able to restore the seal. Idiot. It's too early to think about this. Ninetales noticed her hesitation and cursed. Jinchuriki and Tailed Beast share life and can communicate spiritually with each other. Sorry, I still can't let you out. Kushina apologized in her heart. Advertisement. Ad, stop talking nonsense. He's here again. The voice of Ninetales just sounded. Swish. Kushina felt a flash in front of her eyes, and Guwen came to her across a distance of 100 meters. Because of the high-speed movement, the strong wind blows the scorching breath on the ground and rushes to Kushina's body. The tailed beast suit that had just appeared on her body was instantly burned down by the high temperature. Only a shallow layer remains. Boo. Guwen reached out and touched Kushina's eyebrows. There was only a muffled sound like a bubble bursting, and the tailed beast suit on Kushina's body burst again. Boom. This time, she retreated more than 300 meters, as if being lifted up by a giant elephant. The whole person was thrown into the air, and his head was dizzy. At the critical moment, Ninetales saved her. Chakra grew a white skeleton on Kushina's body, blocking Kushina. As a price, the entire skeleton was shattered. This guy is really wrong. How can it be so powerful? Ninetales' surprised voice sounded in Kushina's heart again. Ahem. Kushina put her hands on the ground and spat out a mouthful of blood. Even with Ninetales' defense, he was still stunned by the remaining power, and his internal organs seemed to be displaced. She was startled suddenly and looked up in other directions. As far as the eye can see, it is an unobstructed pothole. The explosion of the tailed beast bomb destroyed everything on the ground. At the same time, it plowed the ground 3 feet, scattered the tens of meters thick mud residue into smoke and dust, leaving a huge pit that can be called vast. In the huge pit, it was pitch black. Even the air is scorching hot. But a few hundred meters away, there were figures coming from all directions. Advertisement. Ad 1.4.13.26. They are all Konoha Shinobi. In addition to the camp where Kushina is, Konoha has set up tents in other places and assigned manpower to guard. Many people are farther away, so even without Kushina's shot defense, he survived the shockwave of tailed beast bomb. Loud! Exclamation mark. The clear eagle's cry came from the sky. In the sky that was exploded by the tailed beast bomb, the clouds and mist dissipated, leaving only a few residual streams. A slender giant eagle hovered high in the sky, screaming sharply. This is the summoning beast that sends Orochimaru away. It's back, with a bunch of Master Roots ninjas on its back. No one is running away. All are determined to fight to the last. No, a broken bar. But Kushina shed tears in despair and made a sound of grief. Do not come. Come and you will all die. But it didn't work. This can't stop the Konoha Shinobi from coming. In the past, the will of fire that warmed people's hearts was now like a icy cold wind, freezing Kushina's heart. Be careful. He's coming again. Ninetales' voice sounded from his heart again. Boom. Fast. Ultimate's fast. Not seeing what happened at all, Kushina found himself flying upside down again, and the tail beast clothes on his body were broken again. She gritted her teeth tightly and put her hands together as soon as she landed. Kagurumina instead of eyes to perceive. Advertisement. Ad golden chains flew out of her body, shooting at Guwen like spears. Mystery adamantine sealing chains. This is a special ability that can only be displayed by the pure blood of the Uzumaki family. Inspire the power of the blood, create a chain that moves with the caster's mind, and has the miraculous effect of suppressing chakra. Even if the tail beast chain is entangled, it will be suppressed by the power and become immobile. As soon as these chains appeared, the Ninetales chakra on her body was suppressed immediately. The tailed animal clothes fell apart in an instant. Idiot! Ninetales cursed angrily. You idiot woman! How could this current Jinchuriki be so stupid as to weaken his power? Don't you have any sense of fighting, seal? But Kushina didn't think much of it. She subconsciously felt that she wanted to block Guwen's speed. A series of chains were manipulated to surround Guwen. Ping! Exclamation mark. Unexpectedly, Guwen flashed his arm and took a few casual shots. The Vajra chain was bounced off, and there was no suppressing effect at all. Why? Kushina's expression was astonished, and she herself was staggered by the rebounding diamond chains. You idiot! A broken bar. Ninetales made a desperate sound in her heart. At this time, some Konoha Shinobi were faster and were already close to Guwen. They bumped into the rebounded diamond chain head-on, and they blocked or dodged with techniques one after another. A body technique ninja confidently flew up and kicked it. The moment the foot touched the Vajra chain, the chakra of the Taijutsu ninja's body was sealed. His strength has returned to the level of ordinary people. Dragon Boat Festival reading big discount. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, June 22nd to June 24th. Chapter 59 The Death of Kushina Prev Chapter Next Chapter Advertisement. Ad click. The next moment, the diamond chain smashed all the bones in his body. This Taijutsu ninja flew upside down like a piece of mud, fell to the ground and vomited blood. All the bones in his chest and abdomen collapsed, exposing slightly wriggling organs. Don't take it hard. This is the Uzumaki clan's blood succession limit, which has the effect of sealing chakra. Get out of the way. The ninjutsu will be defeated. Some people with deep knowledge hurriedly sounded a reminder. The Uzumaki clan did not integrate into Konoha village, and they had already been wiped out during the Second Ninja World War. Few people know the boundaries of this clan, but by this time the reminder was too late. Diamond chains fell one by one, like heavy stone pillars, crushing the defensive ninjutsu below. Walls made with earth style are as fragile as a layer of glass. What? The ninja who performed the spell was dumbfounded. They had no time to make other resistances, and tons of diamond chains crushed them into a puddle of blood foam. This moment, 7 ninjas died directly. The combat experience that they had relied on for survival in the past actually hurt them at this moment. Only the ninja who chose to evade survived. Be careful, don't be touched by these chains. Damn, why is Kata win okay? He obviously touched the chain. This guy is a monster and cannot be viewed with common sense. These Konoha Shinobi fighters straightened up a bit, and then continued to pounce on Guwen. The death of a companion certainly grieved them. But the battle is not over yet. The best way to pay homage to your companions is to kill the enemies and avenge them. Fumikata, die for me. A ninja jumped out first, and performed ninjutsu with his hands in mudra. On his left and right sides, there is a person who cooperates and performs combined ninjutsu. Fire style A middle. Hey long fire technique. Advertisement. Add wind style great breakthrough. Wind style thousand faces wind. Swish. Suddenly, a diamond chain swept across. The 3 of them had just taken a deep breath, and before they could spit out the ninjutsu, they were smashed into 3 pulverized pieces. Careful, someone yelled from behind. Jingly broken bar. A broken bar. Guwen casually grabbed a diamond chain and swung it again. When the chains collided, there was a crisp sound. More than a dozen ninjas approaching Guwen saw a black shadow sweeping towards them with lightning speed. Snapped, snapped, snapped. A series of crisp crackling sounds. The bones of the 13 people were smashed by the diamond chains, and they flew out in all directions. Call out a broken bar. A broken bar. Guwen took a light breath. The dozens of Konoha Shinobi who died just now were all turned into mummies. Plus 0.01, plus 0.01, plus 0.01. Swish. Guwen grabbed the Vajra chain and swung it again. A pale golden light flashed across the air. Falcons circling in the sky. The body suddenly split in half, as if cut by knife blade. There are 2 people on the back of the giant eagle, just on the track cut by the chain, and the body is also cut into 2 parts. A large amount of blood sprayed out, as if it was raining blood. So fast. The other people on the eagle's back were covered in cold sweat from shock. After losing the support of the giant eagle, they had to land on the ground, each slowing down their descent in different ways to avoid being thrown to death. With a casual expression, Guwen casually waved the chain. Advertisement. Ad call. 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 The Vajra chains made the air whistling, throwing out many after images. Midair, the bodies of the 8 ninjas who fell slowly exploded with a puff puff. All of them turned into 8 bloody limbs that exploded. Call out a broken bar. A broken bar. With Guwen sucking lightly, the blood, water and minced meat were all shriveled, turning into dust like powder and falling to the ground. Plus 0.01, plus 0.01, plus 0.01. At this moment, the Konoha Shinobi who hadn't approached farther away all stopped. They looked at Guwen in horror, and many of them turned pale. What kind of terrifying power is this? J.A. Ringnin was killed in seconds in front of Katafumi. Oh, you are such a hopeless fellow. In Kushina's heart, Ninetales let out a sigh of relief. It's really the first time I've seen such a stupid woman as you. Unlock the seal earlier. Maybe you can save it. Now it's all over. I have to die with you. Jingle. The diamond chains collided and made a soft sound. Guwen grabbed the chain and pulled it, and Kushina flew over like a marionette. Any last words? Guwen pinched her neck with the other hand. Kushina didn't say a word. Her face was ashen, and her eyes were bleak as if she had lost hope. Her heart was filled with grief, remorse, and anger. But no matter how intense these emotions are, they are surging. It's all about reality. A Ninetales, I'll leave the rest to you. Apostrophe. After Kushina finished speaking in her heart, she closed her eyes. Advertisement. Ad looks like it's gone. Guwen directly pinched Kushina's neck. The seal that lost the suppression of Jinchuriki was completely broken at this moment, revealing the extremely violent tailed beast chakra. A dark red color emerges, covering Kushina's body. The tailed beast appears again. No, this is not Jinchuriki's tailed beast, but Ninetales breaking through the seal. Even if Jinchuriki is dead, the tailed beast can still survive for a period of time relying on its strong vitality instead of dying immediately. This is why it is possible to transfer tailed beasts between old and new Jinchuriki. Roar! Exclamation mark. A sky-shattering beast uttered, setting off sound waves visible to the naked eye like piercing clouds and cracking rocks. 9 thick tails popped out from behind Kushina. Her whole body is covered with a layer of orange hair, and her face shape, facial features, ears, eyes, limbs, etc., have completely turned into the appearance of a fox. In the red fox eyes, a sharp look emerged. Humanity. 9 tails stared at Gu Wen, making a sound like thunder. Boom. Within a kilometer, a large number of Konoha Shinobi's faces were uncomfortable, and blood flowed from both ears. Gu Wen, on the other hand, had nothing on his face. He looked at 9 tails calmly. The violent dark red chakra gushes out from the opponent. While constructing a huge mountain-like body of 9 tails, it also covers a range of several kilometers. Even if it's more than 10 kilometers away, Orochimaru was still trembling, feeling the violent and vicious aura from the tailed beast. Why? 9 tails was released? Did Kushina die? At this moment, many bad results came to his mind. Dragon Boat Festival reading big discount. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, June 22nd to June 24th. Chapter 60. Where are you looking? Rev chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Adore. Orochimaru couldn't think of any good results. 9 tails must be lost. If Jiraiya and Minato die too, and the elders Koharu and Danzo die too. I'm afraid there will be an earthquake in Konoha. Cloud Shinobi and Rock Shinobi, probably making a comeback. Orochimaru couldn't help but smile bitterly. The war that finally ended has not yet begun to digest the fruits of victory. Konoha fell into a weak predicament again. The current situation is even more dangerous than being declared war by Rain Shinobi village in the last war. Well, a broken bar. He sighed weakly and slowly closed his eyes. In the body, the emotions of fear surged one after another, rushing over like waves. Fortunately, the snake fairy at Ryakai Cave said that my soul and body are naturally separated, unlike ordinary people's closeness. So there is no way to perfectly coordinate the ratio of 1:1:1 to extract the fairy art chakra. But I'm also proud of it. My body was injured, but my spirit remained relatively stable. It won't die all at once. Orochimaru adjusted his breathing and slowly fell into a deep sleep. For at least a month, he would have to battle this fear. For a month, he had no ability to fight. In the huge crater after the tailed beast bomb exploded, a piece of dark red chakra turbulence covered everything, including everyone within a few kilometers. Roar! Exclamation mark. Accompanied by the roar of 9 tails shaking the earth. Advertisement under its chakra cover. All ninjas are dragged into a dark space. This space is full of water splashes. Damp, stuffy, enclosed. It seems to be a projection of the environment in the sealed space. Chakra connects the spirits of humans and tailed beasts, allowing everyone to enter the spiritual landscape of 9 tails, shortening the distance between each other to tens of meters. Ho! Exclamation mark. An orange red-tailed beast with a height of hundreds of meters looked down on everyone. At its feet, dozens of Konoha Shinobi trembled in panic, as small as ants, smaller than the eyes of 9 tails. 9 tails. Where is this place? What's going on? Why did I suddenly come in front of 9 tails? There was deep fear on their faces. Where's that guy? 9 tails pressed his paw randomly, killing several people. Outside world, thousands of meters away, 4 Konoha Shinobi practitioners suddenly vomited blood, rolled their eyes and fainted. Why is Kata missing? 9 tails didn't look at his feet. After breaking through the seal, its strength was extremely powerful. These ninjas are ants that can be trampled to death with their feet. Instead, Gu Wen, a human being whom he felt dangerous in Kushina's body, did not appear in this spiritual space. Where did you go? It turned its head and looked around. Suddenly, a big hand stretched out from behind, pinching 9 tails' head. Advertisement at the same time, a cold and loud voice, like thunder, pierced 9 tails' ears. Where are you looking? Gu Wen appeared behind 9 tails, pinching the back of 9 tails' head with one hand, making 9 tails' skull crackle. What are you kidding? 9 tails tilted his head to look behind him. His eyes were almost protruding. Gu Wen's body was even bigger than it, like a giant standing upright, looking down at him indifferently, as if pinching a rubber ball. Pinch its head. How can your power here be so great? 9 tails screamed in horror. In the spiritual space, the size of the body means the strength of strength. It should overwhelm all humans. How could it be surpassed by a human? Exclamation mark. Boom! A broken bar. Without any nonsense, Gu Wen crushed 9 tails' head. His own spirit invaded 9 tails with all its strength. In Gu Wen's eyes, 9 tails is like a slender bug, waving its tentacles with its fangs and claws, and growling at him in warning. The body of this worm is as pure as glass, and the defense is extremely strong. His spirit invaded, like a school of fish caught in a net. It was difficult to break through. Sure enough, it's not that easy to kill, Gu Wen said as expected. Before, 9 tails, whose head was crushed by him, did not die, and his body was still full of vitality. Advertisement and all around, the darkness in the spiritual space slowly receded. Gu Wen was excluded from the spiritual space. He returns to reality. In front of him was a huge orange-red fox with an intact head and 9 tails that violently hit the ground, shaking the ground and causing smoke and dust to rise everywhere. Gu Wen looked up, Just at this moment Ninetails also lowered his head. The four eyes are facing each other. Ninetails showed murderous eyes, while Guwen was as indifferent as ever. Next time I come back, I will kill. Next time I come back, I will eat you, they said at the same time. Next moment, Ninetails' mountain-like body exploded. Boom! Exclamation mark. A huge amount of chakra was released, setting off a terrifying explosion that shook the heavens and the earth. Everything in this area seemed to shake. Then a broken bar. Blazing light flooded all existence. No sound, no color. There is only endless light left in the world. Things within a few kilometers radius disappeared like annihilation. P.S. Tomorrow night, Dragon Boat Festival reading big discount. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, June 22nd to June 24th.
Chapter 61. Where did the Great Toad Sage go? Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. AD Coastal Edge. The shock wave crashed into the sea, causing thousands of hectares of waves. A 100-meter high terrifying wave, overwhelmingly emerging from the depths of the sea. All kinds of sea fish panicked, were lifted up, and were thrown back and forth like yo-yos in the fast-flowing sea water. A humanoid skeleton was mixed among them. The skeleton is complete, with the viscera and brain intact. Scattered flesh and blood stuck to the ivory-like bones, and seemed to be wriggling slightly with vitality. Boom! The skeleton smashed into the depths of the sea along with the huge waves. Tens of thousands of tons of water pressure overturned it. The surrounding fish schools were all turned into puddles of rotten meat, and blood stained hundreds of meters of seawater red. Only the skeleton has only a few cracks on the surface. But soon, these cracks were spontaneously repaired by 810. The skeleton remained motionless, being pushed by the waves into the depths of the sea. The dead fish, under the action of an inexplicable force, turned into shriveled powder one after another, sinking into the depths of the sea like sand. The big explosion, caused by the self-detonation of Ninetails, lasted for dozens of seconds. An entire land the size of a town disappeared into a void. A large amount of soil turned into dust and was thrown away, forming a sandstorm that covered the sky and the sun. The coastline has retreated more than 10 kilometers directly. The original seaside has become a piece of Wanyang, 25 kilometers away. Lying on the stretcher, Orochimaru sighed deeply as he watched the dust sweeping across the sky. Losing. The self-explosion of Ninetails is even scarier than the tailed beast bomb. The central area of the explosion would melt even steel into water, let alone people. Let's go back. Advertisement. AD Orochimaru closed his eyes, hiding the horror in them. Fumi Hizada. A man who couldn't even be killed by the tailed beast bomb. I'm afraid the self-destruction of Ninetails couldn't kill him 100%. Such an enemy, Konoha, oh. In the midst of the storm, a cloud of dust suddenly twists, forming an Uzumaki. To be precise, the space at this location suddenly distorted. Two figures emerged from it. They are masked Obito and Black Zetsu, appearing 5 kilometers from where Ninetails exploded. Despite such a long distance, Obito still felt hot, as if he was in marine. Under the mask, his face was full of shock. This guy Kuda Fumura is too strong, right? Even when Madara was alive, he couldn't speak anymore. Beside him, Black Zetsu stared gravely at the central area of the explosion. There, clusters of extremely high-temperature flames were burning. The color of the flame is different from the usual orange-red, showing a faint white on, which is extremely bright. These blazing flames fell on the ground and immediately melted the soil. Just for a few seconds, while Black Zetsu watched. The mud layer more than 10 meters deep melted, turning from solid to flowing liquid magma. Incredible. The astonishment in Black Zetsu's heart was no less than Obito's. Its turbid yellow eyes widened. This has reached the power of Ashura and Indra alive. It shouldn't be. Advertisement. AD, the power of chakra will gradually decline with the thinning of Otsutsuki's bloodline. Senju Hashirama is already an exception, awakening the wood-style power from the sacred tree. A reincarnator under normal circumstances is only a little stronger than the shadow in the human mouth. Even so, the reincarnation is already the strongest. How could someone be stronger than the reincarnation? Black Zetsu's heart was full of ups and downs, and his thoughts were full of thoughts. Obito, we need to take this guy seriously. It opened the mouth seriously. From this battle, he is only stronger than Nagato with Rinnegan. He may hinder our plan. Obito nodded solemnly, not even noticing that Black Zetsu no longer called him Madara. He was deeply shocked by the battle scene in front of him. I even had the idea of worshipping in my heart. Mount Mayaboku. A little toad jumped out of the water onto the shore, opened its mouth and spat. Vomit. Jiraiya, which was several times its size, was spit out by it. Jiraiya? Master Jiraiya. Little Jiraiya. The toads around came around one after another, with surprised expressions. Zero Jiraiya's condition has never been worse. The skin of the whole body was burned in a large area, and the skin on the back even turned into a layer of coke. From the cracks in the coke, even the white bones under the flesh could be seen. This is a serious injury like never before. Jiraiya, how did you get hurt so much? That's right, Fukasaku-sama, Shima-sama, and Boss Bunta, why haven't they returned after you summoned them to fight? Who is the enemy? Asked the toads hastily. Advertisement AD Jiraiya felt sour in her heart, almost crying with guilt. Because of him, Fukasaku, Shima, and Bunta are all dead. Feel sorry. Jiraiya whispered, he's holding on to his breath now. Just say one word. The whole person fell into a coma. Jiraiya. All the toads panicked and sent Jiraiya to treatment in a hurry. The three toads who usually gave orders were not there, and they were all at a loss for a while. Let's find the great toad sage. A toad suggested. No, the great toad sage left Mount Mayaboku the day before yesterday and said he was going to a place. Huh? Great toad sage leaving the palace? Yes, many toads saw it the day before yesterday. There are 2.3 big toad immortals who are missed by the toads of Mount Mayaboku. At this time, he was walking in the depths of the Kingdom of Wind. Its eyes are bright, and it does not have the usual old-fashioned appearance, but is full of vitality and energy like a young toad. Old friend, won't you come out and see me? The great toad sage came to the ruins of an ancient country and sighed. The voice fell. The strong wind around it suddenly softened, and the wind and sand that had been howling for many years in the Kingdom of Wind became soft and calm under the comfort of a strange force. A beam of purple light glowed from under the ruins like a river. The great toad sage jumped into the ruins upon seeing this. Deep in the ruins, there is an altar that looks like a closed eye, and a handful of kunai is inserted in the center of the altar, and a large number of spells spread from the kunai to seal the eye. This is the country of Lulan. Chapter 62 Neither the past nor the future can kill Fumi Hizada, February 10th, previous chapter, next chapter advertisement AD A few years ago, it was a miraculous land of oasis. The power of dragon veins shelters people and gives them a place to live. But the foreign trader Baizu stole this power and used the dragon veins to create his puppet army, intending to conquer the world. Fortunately, Namake's Minato stopped him and left a seal to contain the rampant dragon veins and protect the people of Lulan at that time. Unfortunately, since then, the power of the dragon veins can no longer provide shelter. But the great toad sage knew. The dragon vein has always existed, it is the power of the earth, it is the flowing nature. The kingdom of Lulan is only built on a stable wellhead where he releases power to the ground. The seal of Namake's Minato is also just the mouth of the well. Great toad sage jumped down from the crack and came to a river. This dry river used to flow with dragon veins. But the water outlet was blocked, and this small river, which was not even considered a tributary, was naturally abandoned. It's just the arrival of the great toad sage to revive the dragon veins. Only then did a layer of purple light like water mist emerge. How should I kill Fumi Hizada? Great toad sage speaks amazing words. In front of it, amidst the brimming purple light, a figure gradually gathered. Another great toad sage. This great toad sage is older and older than it is, it's from the future. Great toad sage can communicate with your future self. In the place where the dragon veins condense, my prophecy ability is strengthened, and I can communicate with myself in other times for a short time. Unfortunately, because the past and the future are interdependent, changes in either party will cause unknown changes. Advertisement AD in the future, I can't answer questions directly, I can only give some hints. But enough. Great toad sage's gaze was firm, looking straight at himself in the purple light. But the next moment, there was a soft sound like a bursting bubble. The figure of it in the future in front of it suddenly broke apart, unable to condense into shape. The expression on great toad sage's entire face changed. It was startled and horrified, its eyes constantly changing. Is it late? I actually have no future. Great toad sage muttered to himself with an ugly face. Such a result made his heart sink. Since awakening the ability of prophecy when he was young, it has been going smoothly and made the right choices in important things. Thus became the great toad sage of Mount Mayaboku. Her real name is Hamawan, but no one remembers it anymore. It is always believed that this is the duty entrusted to it by fate, let it act as a spokesperson, and give the world the correct guidance. But now, fate tells it. Not only can it not kill Winkuta, it even has no future for itself. This makes it difficult for great toad sage to accept. Hatawen. It spat out a name word by word, its face sinking like water. In the underground space, the light of the dragon veins shone brightly, floating quietly. Advertisement AD Great Toad Sage was silent for a long time, looked at Ziguang in front of him again, and asked, I want to kill Jiao Tianwen in the past, The purple light shone slightly, revealing a figure of Great Toad Sage. This time it is slightly younger than it is now. It's the Great Toad Sage from the past. I can only summon myself from a specific time point in the past. During those times, I have to come to Longmai to communicate. Although the past me couldn't help, but in the special state of being called, the past me has a deeper feeling for fate and can give me many answers. At least I don't have much scruples about asking questions. The big toad looked at himself in the past. This time, the figure was successfully condensed. Before it could breathe a sigh of relief, its eyes froze suddenly. Because it sees. The past self in front of him actually shook his head at himself. This is negation. It means that it can't use the method of time-space distortion to reduce the difficulty and kill Wen Jiutian when he was weak in the past. Why? The big toad couldn't help but change color, and asked loudly, I know that the realization of space-time travel requires timing and a lot of energy. Now is the best time. Fumi Hizada is alive and dead in the self-destructive 9 tails. I can intervene. Why not? The past self still shook his head. Great Toad Sage was not reconciled, and continued to ask, I can also pay the cost of consumption. But what makes it unbelievable is that my past self is still shaking his head. Why? What else is missing? Great Toad Sage asked anxiously. In purple light. Advertisement AD, the past self sighed, and said softly, in addition to the price and timing, more importantly, you need the permission of fate. Fate's permission? The Great Toad Sage didn't understand. Fumi Hizada destroyed the future. Doesn't fate want to bring the future back on track? Fate's preferences are unpredictable, but the blessings on you, Jiraiya, and Minato are almost exhausted. The Great Toad Sage of the past said slowly. Say it. Let the current Great Toad Sage be shocked. It looked at its past self in amazement. What does it mean to have exhausted favor? 850 destiny casts more places, which is his favor. But it is not static. For example, through prophecy, you can follow the trend and guide the favored ones on the right path, but the Great Toad Sage of the past, looking deeply at the present self. But the human being you mentioned has also mastered the method of guiding fate, even more skilled than you. He dispelled fate from Minato and Jiraiya. Even myself, you are more influenced by him because of your ability to predict. Even if you haven't met, the favor of fate is already weakening. The Great Toad Sage in the past talked for a while, but suddenly stopped talking. Instead, it said, for the sake of the stability of the past and future, I will forget this memory. Finished. The light and shadow flickered, and the figure of the Great Toad Sage from the past disappeared. In the underground channel. Only the Great Toad Sage was left sluggishly in place, with a gloomy face. Outside of Lulan. The entire ninja world was shaken by Konoha's battle on the East Blue Shore. Even the big names were shocked. No one expected that such a big mobilization, even using the ultimate weapon Jinchuriki, would end disastrously. P.S. I will finish the 10th update before 11 o'clock tonight. Chapter 63 Where is his Adawan? 3/10, previous chapter. Next chapter. ADVRTISEMENTAD Jiraiya is missing, Namikaze Minato is dead, Jinchuriki Kushina dies, the 2 elders Udatane Koharu, Shimura Danzo died, Orochimaru is seriously injured, Konoha's elite troops who won the Battle of Mist Shinobi are near. Is Fumi Hizada dead? Not sure, but no one can survive that kind of explosion. Right? Don't forget, last time Uchiha Fugaku, many people thought the same way. The 4 hidden villages were all silent. If it was in the past, seeing Konoha lose Jinchuriki, high-end combat forces suffered heavy casualties, they would have taken advantage of the fire to loot, and bit off a piece of swollen flesh from Konoha's body, but now, the entire ninja world is strangely peaceful. Everyone is searching for the whereabouts of Hizada Wen, trying to confirm his situation. Country of Fire, Konoha 3rd. Hokage walked into the hospital and met Orochimaru, who was being escorted back. The other party looked haggard, with thick dark circles around the eye sockets. The panic in his heart was always tormented, and Orochimaru couldn't sleep. He only slept 20 hours in 5 days, an average of 4 hours a day. This sleep time is far from enough for an injured patient. How are you? 3rd Hokage made a hoarse voice. Fortunately, the most difficult period has passed. Orochimaru looked at his teacher with a sad look in his eyes. But you, teacher, you look very bad, haven't you made it through yet? Before 3rd Hokage's hair is gray, and all the black hair that used to be a lot has turned white. A pair of eyes were covered with bloodshot eyes. The whole person is like a candle in the wind, as if it will be extinguished in the next second. No, I'm old. 3rd Hokage gave a wry smile and sighed. I can't sleep at all. Jiraiya, Minato, Danzo, Koharu, Kushina, Asuma, Kakashi, Fugaku. Their faces keep appearing in front of my eyes, even in my dreams. Never look at me as you speak. Advertisement ad. Perhaps I should go down and accompany them. Orochimaru closed his eyes in pain when he heard this. The loss of these people was a great blow to the teacher, so heavy that he could hardly breathe. I'm afraid the teacher won't last long. Once he recovers, take over the position of 4th Hokage. The tone in the teacher's heart may have dissipated. The rest is up to me. Orochimaru said softly. He thinks that's fine too. I and the most difficult period of Konoha in the future. There is no need for the teacher to carry on. Let his disciple do it for him. Even if Konoha was destroyed, it was in the hands of him, the 4th Hokage, not the Nanoko 3rd Hokage. After a month, Konoha quickly completed the handover of Hokage. Orochimaru succeeds 4th Hokage. Another half-month, the news that Jiraiya was still alive came from Mount Myaboku, and 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen closed his eyes contentedly. Orochimaru and his eldest son accompanied the old man to the end of his life. In a few days, Tsunade returned to the village and chose to take over the work of Udatain Koharu to manage the logistics department and the hospital. In the past, the alternation of shadow positions in a great hidden village must be a major event that has attracted much attention, but this time, everyone's attention is still attracted by one thing: the whereabouts of Fumi Hizeda. Numerous spies and intelligence personnel were sent to the battlefield on the shore of East Blue. Many people who come for the first time are horrified. Is the map wrong? It shouldn't be. This place should be a hill. Why did the sea flood here? There are still 3 kilometers to reach the coastline. Then, under the explanation of the companion who arrived first, advrtisement they know what happened. After that, they were even more shocked. You mean a quarter of the map has been altered? Just kidding, this is a range of tens of kilometers. That's right, the countries of all major countries plus the surrounding small villages. This is the world. And as these people approached the central area, a more shocking scene appeared. Pieces of thick water mist continuously evaporated into the sky. The unique salty smell of seawater hits the nostrils. In a large crater that seemed to be smashed by a meteorite, there was a dark flame flowing below, like lava on the bottom of the sea, constantly releasing terrifying high temperatures. Chi-chi, the sound of seawater evaporating dry is endless. Everyone was dumbfounded. It's been a few days. No, why hasn't the flame gone out? Hey, feel it, the water is hot. They all looked dumbfounded. Unbelievable, this is the battlefield left by a battle. It is simply a mighty force like a natural disaster. Is this Jinchuriki? This is Kudafumi. Many people were shaken, staring at this brand new seascape, unable to recover for a long time. The faith in my heart was shattered. Powerless, deep powerlessness. In the face of such natural disaster-like forces, is it really meaningful to work hard? Iwagakure Anoki listened to the report in the office, his face wrinkled like a chrysanthemum. The terrain has changed. Has the cape become a harbor? Advrtisement. He couldn't help but think of the Valley of the End in the Land of Fire. The huge canyon was originally just a plain, but the battle between Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama decades ago turned it into undulating mountains and opened a huge crack to become a canyon. Anoki was suddenly in a trance. If this Kudawen is still alive like this, then his power has already caught up with the level of the ninja god back then. Range Shinobi Village. Hanzo of the Salamander looked at the information in his hand with a dull expression. The letter refusing Danzo's cooperation had just been sent out, and after a few days, I received the news that the group had died. Wasn't that letter written in vain? Wrong. Hanzo shook his head, expelling the boring thoughts from his mind. He looked at the information with a sad face, and his expression became more and more disappointed with the description of the traces of the battlefield. If Kudawen doesn't die, Konoha may be gone. In my lifetime, I will never have the chance to take the land from Konoha's mouth. The land of rain, is there no good way to become the 6th largest country? Hanzo put down the information, dejectedly desperate. He felt that even when he was young, he was no match for Fumi Kuda. Now that he is old, he is even less qualified to be his opponent. Sunagakure, 4th Kazakage Luosha looked at the information sent and felt numb. He watched it without any fluctuation, and walked to the window to watch the wind and sand outside, dry, hot, and the air smells of sand. He used to hate this environment, but now, Luosha suddenly fell in love with her. Ah, the warm air, how nice it is. He took a deep breath, showing a satisfied expression. There is nothing that giving up can't solve. As long as he gives up attacking Konoha, stays in this country of wind for the rest of his life, and doesn't want Konoha's attention anymore. Kudawen's difficulties were easily solved. Lie flat. Chapter 64 Confident Terumi May, April 10th. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advrtisement in Kirigakure. The dispute broke out among some of the top brass. I disagree. That's right, recruiting Kudawen is to lure wolves into the house, and we don't have any countermeasures. He's a man-eating monster, and the first thing he did when he came in was kill us. A group of people were filled with righteous indignation. They expressed fierce opposition to recruiting Fumi Hizeda to become a mist shinobi ninja. Opposite the opponent, a beautiful woman sat quietly. She has long brown curly hair, green eyes with charming eyes, and she sits lazily on the head seat looking at her nails, as if she doesn't care about the opposition of everyone in front of her. This woman is Terumi May. She is a female ninja with strength and beauty, with a perfect body that attracts crimes and a naturally charming face, it has attracted an unknown number of suitors, but so far no one has seen it, because she is too strong. She has mastered 2 kinds of blood succession boundaries, lava style and boil style. One of the strongest people in Kirigakure, still the strongest contender for the position of the next generation Mizukage, bar none. Okay, everyone, calm down. Seeing that Terumi-Mei didn't respond, Ching next to her had to stand up to smooth things over. We, 550, are gathered here to rescue Lord 4th Mizukage, who has fallen into an illusion. In this case, everyone should cooperate more sincerely. Ao is an old man of Kirigakure. He has experienced the Second Ninja War, and also has a lute that killed the Hyuga clan implanted in his right eye. Shirokana. Advrtisement Konoha offered him a reward of up to 50 million. Of course, such things as rewards are just a reference. Just like now, Guwen's bounty has been withdrawn from the underground exchange. After all, he has a history of threatening underground exchanges. Many people were worried that Guwen would come to kill those who posted the reward. Because of a reward.so, they were all discouraged, but when a person is strong to a certain extent, all people and things in the way will consciously disappear. Wait until everyone is quiet. Terumi-Mei raised her head, sighed and said, do you think that if you don't recruit, Fumiya Kuda will not come to your door? After saying this, everyone in the room frowned. From the very beginning of his defection, that guy has publicly said that he is coming to Kirigakure. You, Dafk, have read the information. That guy is determined to go to sea, probably because he knows that there are more food resources in the sea that he can hunt. I'm sure he doesn't mind eating our Kirigakure as he passes by. Terumi-Mei's words made everyone look ugly. Nobody is an idiot. Hisada's behavior shows that he has been playing Kirigakure's idea for a long time. If the man is still alive after 9 Tails blew himself up, he might have entered the sea, and there is a high probability of finding them Kirigakure. No, it's still too dangerous. Terumi-Mei, this is tightrope walking. It's not easy to deal with the enemy who controls 4th Mizukage with Kuda-wen. Any strong person is not someone who can be manipulated at will. The people present still shook their heads. Terumi-Mei didn't refute either, just shook her head. Advertisement ad. I just think it's better for everyone to be prepared. The meeting broke up badly. It's just that no one cares, as long as their goals don't change, the strength of the Een family will always be united. Ching's white eyes discover that 4th Mizukage has been under the illusion and is being manipulated to implement a high-pressure policy. The place of blood mist caused great dissatisfaction among the ninjas below. They're ready to tackle 4th Mizukage. After everyone left, in the conference room, only Ching and Terumi-Mei were left. Ching joined Terumi-Mei a long time ago and is her confidant. Your attitude is too tough. We still need their power now. We alone cannot defeat the purpose of the 4th generation, let alone the enemies behind it. You don't believe me either? Terumi-Mei raised her eyebrows lightly, revealing captivating eyes. She smiled softly, and her delicate red lips seemed to trigger the desire deep in a man's heart. Ching didn't take it seriously, and said with a blank face, Ji Tianwen is a dangerous guy. His character is cold and cruel, and he cannot be treated with common sense. This means that our usual negotiation methods are useless in front of this guy. I know. Terumi-Mei laughed. Then you still have his idea? Because in my opinion, as long as you grasp his preferences, such a person is simpler and easier to control. Terumi-Mei raised the corners of her mouth, stretched out her white palm and gently held it, smiling confidently. No man can escape from the palm of my Terumi-Mei, and so is Kudafumi. Ching covered her face with a headache. Terumi-Mei has an arrogant personality, and she gets sick like this from time to time. Fortunately, most of the time it is normal. Hung Ching, just wait. Terumi-Mei raised her hair, squinted her eyes and smiled. Ami Kuda, a handsome guy, will definitely fall under my charm. Advertisement King remained silent. Although he thought it was not that simple, he couldn't help feeling a little bit of anticipation in his heart. What if Terumi-Mei can really use her beauty to capture Fumi Hizada, wouldn't all difficulties be solved? At this time, on the endless sea, a giant tortoise as large as a small island, paddling its limbs and swimming on the sea. On the back of the giant tortoise, countless soils were piled up, and even formed a small mountain rock wall, where verdant trees, flowers, and plants grew. Not only that, but the aura on the giant tortoise is even more terrifying. It should be a gentle creature, but it exudes a terrifying predator aura. Even cetaceans, the top carnivores in the sea, are unwilling to provoke them. But what is surprising is that this giant tortoise, which is enough to occupy the top of the marine food chain, bowed its head respectfully, showing a submissive attitude. Its aura is all restrained, and its eyes still show a fearful expression of careful calculation. The object of surrender is a small human being sitting on its back. Gun. This human being is exactly Gu-Wen, who disappeared from the eyes of the ninja world. His expression was as indifferent as ever, sitting on the highest point of the rock wall on the giant turtle's back, propping his cheek with his left hand casually, and looking sideways at the sea. A touch of shimmering silver flashed in his eyes. Looking carefully, Gu-Wen's eyes seem to have a strange change, and the pupil lines are slowly unfolding. Are you back? Guwen raised his eyes and looked 2,000 meters away beyond the limit of vision of any creature. The impossible distance was clearly seen by him. Chapter 65, Come see me. May 10th, previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. A group of fish fleeing in a panic and drilling quickly are approaching quickly. The number is calculated in the hundreds of thousands. A third of it exudes a faint chakra scent. Obviously, this group of fish is not a simple race. They are fierce pack predators of the sea, but at this time, the school of fish panicked, being driven by hundreds of dolphins behind them. They kept approaching the giant tortoise 2 kilometers away. Chirp. Chirp, the group of dolphins made cheerful calls. Listen carefully, and it seems that you can still hear it with a flattering tone. On the back of a giant turtle. Gu took a light breath. When the school of fish was driven within 1,000 meters of him, they died instantly, turning into shriveled pieces of fish. At the same time, a thick heat flow appeared in Guwen's body, plus 0.05, plus 0.06, plus 0.08. Life strength, 12.54. The sea is indeed the best place for hunting. It only took me 5 days, and it gave me more than 2 points of improvement, Guwen said to himself. If it's on the ground, I'm afraid it will only increase by 0.1 at this time. That day, riding the shockwave of Nine-Tail self-explosion, he directly saved the effort of traveling and entered the depths of the sea. After finding a giant tortoise for transportation, his devouring journey began. Advertisement. With a weight of 8 tons, it is unbearable for the ground, but for such a giant tortoise as huge as an island, it is just insignificant. In the past few days, I have not let go of the development of strength. The life form of 9 tails has given me rich inspiration. From the spiritual impact, I have mastered a more delicate and powerful power, which is the field of life. For living things, the body emits weak spiritual fluctuations all the time. Simulate, intercept, copy, strengthen. Even depriving this kind of fluctuation. Implanting other fluctuations. It makes me use the means of power to become more terrifying and terrifying. Guwen said, raising his right hand. He still tilted his head, resting his cheek with his left hand, and raised his right hand, and stretched out a finger to the dolphins from a distance. Hiss, a layer of invisible waves that are visible to the naked eye but inaudible to the ear spread out, like light waves spanning a distance of 1 kilometer, and landed on every dolphin in the dolphin group. The chakra worms in their bodies are activated, showing a powerful activity. After a few seconds, every dolphin exudes a powerful aura comparable to that of Jonin. Chakra grows deeply with their flesh and blood, as if they have grown into a blood succession boundary, and are closely integrated with spiritual energy and physical energy. The efficiency of refining has more than doubled. Whoosh. 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 Z. Z. Whisper. Every dolphin sends out its own cheerful sound waves. They are thankful and rejoicing, especially the leading dolphin, which is twice the size of the other dolphins, and the chakra breath on its body is not overwhelming to the shadows of humans. It swayed its strong body and jumped out of the sea high. Advertisement. It even jumped more than 100 meters high and uttered a pleasant cry to Guwen on the back of the giant tortoise. Guwen looked indifferently, with a calm expression. This is the inspiration he got from the toad on Mount Mayaboku. Mental fluctuations activate chakra to appear active, which is equivalent to repeated use of chakra by dolphins for countless generations. Directional stimulation with mental energy and physical energy, and slowly improve the fit with chakra. Guwen mentally simulates this kind of stimulation and reproduces the process of improving the ninja group's talent. The effort equivalent to dozens of generations is completed in seconds. Finally, use the symbiotic method of Mount Mayaboku toad to stabilize this group of dolphins is a fine example of his attempt. This time, take more things. Guwen pointed to the dolphin jumping out of the sea. Mental frequency again. A suspicious spirit and a strange and complex structure are buried in the body of this dolphin leader. Go where there's a lot of life and use it. Guwen's mouth didn't move, and the mental wave swept across, immediately letting the dolphin understand what it meant. Boo, the dolphin leader screamed and nodded humanly. As soon as he turned around, he left with the strengthened group and went to the biorich area. At the same time, the giant tortoise was also swept away by this mental wave. A trace of electrical signals flowed in the nerve tentacles, and after being analyzed by the language area of the brain cells, it turned into a short sentence and emerged in the giant tortoise's mind. 0 for flowers, but it was different from what the dolphin leader received. Follow up. The giant tortoise swung its limbs and slowly followed the direction of the group of dolphins. Back. Guwen closed his eyes again and waited silently. After several days of development and improvement, he finally completed the shaping of the new trick biological field interference. The mental wave carried by the dolphin leader is just an attempt. Advertisement. Through the spiritual superposition of different frequencies, a temporary stable structure is constructed. When triggered in a specific way, it is like a key entering a lock. This condensed spirit will be released. 0. It is the same skill as the immortal talisman. The dolphins are swimming fast among them. The clansman with the ability to perceive quickly locked the area with abundant creatures. That is more than 200 Meters below the sea surface, the trajectories of a large number of fish meet in short places: jellyfish, sea turtles, schools of fish, giant whales, sharks. Just that huge whale has a length of nearly 100 meters and a weight of 500 tons. The arrival of the dolphins did not attract any attention. These creatures go about their business on their own. Sudden, the leader of the dolphin opened his mouth and called softly. This is a dolphin sound that can be seen everywhere, but at the same time as the call, the mental wave that Guwen implanted in its body was disbanded, deconstructed, and released at the same time. Boom. A layer of invisible wave erupts, sweeping all creatures in this area to release all creatures in the sea. The moment they are exposed to mental fluctuations, a rapid electrical signal is generated in their nervous system. As if they have self-awareness, they quickly penetrate into their thinking organs and actively turn them into information to be interpreted and understand in an instant, regardless of race, size, state, intelligence, etc. All creatures read the exact same information from their minds in a way they can understand. It was a vast and indifferent voice. Come and see me. 6.
Chapter 66 Seed of Spirit, 6/10. Prev chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Add this vast and indifferent voice instantly occupied the hearts of these creatures. Without intelligence, this voice becomes their instinct, driving them to act. With intelligence, this voice domineeringly occupied their thinking organs, becoming the only thinking in their only spiritual thoughts. In an instant, an incomparably spectacular scene appeared. Millions of sea creatures, as if on a pilgrimage, are moving in a certain direction in an orderly manner, solemn and quiet. Looking down from the sea, it looks like a huge black shadow stretching for more than 10 nautical miles passing by under the water. All kinds of creatures, even if they are natural enemies, they were all safe and sound, and there was no struggle with each other. Oh, the dolphin leader leads the group and leads the way at the forefront. 6/7. It sways its strong body and makes high-pitched calls from time to time. Boom. The mental fluctuations that Guwen implanted in its body continued to explode, sweeping the surroundings one after another. Creatures encountered along the way were captured one after another. The pilgrimage procession is getting bigger and bigger. None can escape. The scope of influence of this mental fluctuation is beyond the sensory organs of any sea creatures. When they perceive this huge team that is unusually large, they have already been swept away by the mental fluctuations, and their thinking and will are domineeringly occupied. They went to see Guwen becomes their only thought or instinct. Fortunately, advertisement. Add there is a time when this mental wave is exhausted. After all, it was just an experimental implanted spirit. After dozens of minutes, when the team reached an astonishing 2 million, the mental fluctuations in the dolphin leader's body exhausted and disappeared. And Guwen sat on the back of the turtle, just 1 kilometer away from the steam. He opened his pale silver eyes, like a god living in the clouds, and cast a casual glance downward indifferently. Then, suck lightly. More than 2 million sea creatures who are still in the daze have all died. They all became the heat flow in Guwen's body. 12.5413.13 plus 0.59. More than 2 million creatures actually only provided Guwen with an improvement of 0.59, which shows how terrifying Guwen's current physical fitness has reached. The amount of heat flow provided by the creature has not changed. The original Bendo was less, and now it is still much. It's just that Guwen is different. The body after the second transformation has a greater demand for heat flow, almost 1,000 times as much as before the transformation. The results of the test are good. Let's continue. Guwen thought for a while, and made some adjustments to the structure of the mental frequency. This time, the spiritual structure is closer to the fairy chakra in the body of Mount Maya Rinpoche toad, which can be called the seed of spirit. The spiritual seeds are rooted in their flesh and blood, connected in parallel with blood vessels and nerves, connected to the dolphin's own life cycle system, and become a part of their life structure. Their physical energy and spiritual energy are also connected to the spiritual seed. Thus, the spiritual seed is fixed and can exist for a long time. Advertisement. Add the consumption cost of each use is paid by the dolphin itself. In a sense, this is a degraded version of the seed of chakra, or a degraded version of blood succession limit, similar to the secret techniques of many ninjas. Their bodies have not yet fully adapted and integrated, and the life structure has not been changed. But the partially applicable results allow them to show a talent beyond the same kind for specific chakra changes. This kind of change is the occult art, such as in Ashika's Ring Sanjia, Karama's illusion, in Yuzuka, Aburame etc. Guwen watched the group of dolphins leave again, and gently touched his eyes. After his life strength broke through 10, his body experienced strange changes. There is a sense of self-fulfillment. Spirit and body, as if in harmony. Gradually, his eyes can see the spirit, the breath of life, and the flow of energy. Those things are like circles of water waves and scribbled lines, all over the world, densely packed and disorganized. But he didn't find it complicated. The brain will clearly analyze every circle of water waves and every line it sees. Soon, 3 transformations. Guwen closed his eyes, converging the silver and bright eyes in his eyes. Yulwu is a killer whale. This name was passed by a human merchant ship when it was young, and it heard and memorized it by chance, and later used it as its own name. This shows how it is different from others of its kind. Little 5 is really different. Its size is extremely large, 5 to 7 times that of its kind. and close to 1/3 the size of a blue whale. All this happened some day in the past. It suddenly became smarter, and awakened a sonic attack ability. Advertisement. When its prey hear the sound waves, they will all puff their stomachs and faint. Since then, it has started to feast on the feast, and its size has grown bigger and bigger, and its diet has expanded from dolphins as the main food to any living thing as the main food. Today, after Xiao woke up as usual, he wandered in the familiar sea to find food. A group of uninvited guests has broken into its territory. Wu was not surprised but delighted, because this turned out to be a group of dolphins from outside. Each one is strong and fat, which stimulates its appetite. Wu screamed excitedly and attacked the group of dolphins with his sound waves. According to its imagination, in the next second this group of fat food will all turn over and pass out, and let it pick it later. But oddly enough, when the 1.6 sound wave fell, nothing happened to the group of dolphins, but they opened their mouths towards it. Xiao is angry. Whenever the food dares to provoke their predators, it mustered up its energy and was about to use more force to launch a sonic attack. Suddenly, Wu felt an electric current running through his back, and his body stiffened involuntarily. In the nerves, it seemed that something crawled into its head. This thing exploded suddenly, turning into a blast like thunder in the sky. Boom. Meet me. In an instant, Wu's consciousness shattered and his eyes became blank. It swung its body, unsteadily followed the group of dolphins in front of it, and followed them to the unfamiliar sea. Chapter 67 What happened to the school of fish? 7/10. Prev chapter Next chapter Advertisement. At the same time, Garigakure, the ghost lantern man sitting on the shoreline of the island looked at Ringo Uiori who was about to go out with a strange look on his face. Both are members of the 7 ninja swordsmen, with outstanding strength. They are the elite of Mist Shinobi. They will only perform tasks of the highest difficulty. Can you take on all sea-level tasks? Ghost Lantern Full Moon asked with the corners of her mouth twitching. Before, Lin Yuai took a certificate for a sea-level mission and asked him to register to go out. Although 4 of the 7 ninja swordsmen were instantly killed by a certain Konoha Shinobi, and their prestige plummeted, it wouldn't be so cheap that they could do sea-level tasks, right? Just go out and relax. Lin Haoyuli shrugged, and said, the atmosphere in the village now, if I continue to stay, I'm afraid I can't help but defect. Hey, don't just talk about defection. Ghost Lantern Full Moon said helplessly. Just talking about it. Lingo Yuli didn't care. The two chatted while completing the registration for going out. Sea level tasks. A middle. Publisher, Mist Shinobi Ninja Village. A middle. Investigate the reasons for the massive decline of fish schools 30 and large carnivorous fishes in this southeast offshore area. A middle. Executor, Ringo Uiori. Before leaving, Lin Uiyu sent an invitation to Ghost Lantern Full Moon. Want to go together? Advertisement. Let's go on a mission together. Lin Uiyu said. Ghost Lantern Moon made a face of you teasing me, and said, please, it's outrageous for J.A. Ringnan to do a sea-level task, and you still want me to accompany you? To J.A. Ringnan to do a sea-level task? Just take a short vacation. Lin Uiyu pouted. After hearing the words, Ghost Lantern Full Moon thought for a moment. In recent days, Fourth Mizukage has been pursuing a high-pressure policy regardless of the opinions of the people below. Many people were overwhelmed and breathless. He was full of ghost lights, and he didn't like the atmosphere of the village, so he took the long-term task of guarding the island shore. You're right, let me go with you. Ghost Lantern Full Moon agreed to the invitation. He happily skipped the task of being on duty, set off with Ringo Yuli, and rowed the boat to the southeast offshore area. Along the way, the two chatted casually. The atmosphere is quite relaxed. After all, it is only a sea-level task, and it can be done casually. By the way, what happened in the sea area over there? I don't know. I just received a report from fishermen that the school of fish disappeared inexplicably, and even the common crabs and conchs disappeared. When did this happen? About 3 days ago. Could it be a deep-sea predator coming nearby? Ghost Lantern Full Moon speculated. It's possible. Lin Yuiyu nodded and said, similar situations have happened before, and the higher-ups also think so. The two were talking, when they were suddenly attracted by a fin on the water several hundred meters away. At this time, they were several kilometers away from the island of Garigakure, on the vast sea. I can't see the direction clearly. Is this a black-backed dolphin? Advertisement. Ad. Ghost Lantern Moon looked at the fish fins and frowned. Strange, they should live on the coast of the Fire Country, and this is not where they are active. Indeed, maybe this group of black-backed dolphins is the reason. Ringo Uiyu nodded. He made mutas with both hands, preparing to use ninjutsu to capture a dolphin to see the situation. The ghost lamp Full Moon next to him did not move, and his expression was relaxed. Wild animals are not taken seriously by ninjas at all. Even ninjaman with chakra is just summoning of their ninjas. Water style A middle. Water prison. Halfway through Lin Yuiyu's seal, Duo Ren found that the black-backed dolphin was also swimming over, and slowly surfaced, revealing a cute head. It tilted its head, and seemed to be looking at these two strange sea creatures, as if wondering that they had a similar shape to the master of its own group. It's watching us. Lin Haoyuli and Guiding Menayu both laughed softly. I think this dolphin is silly and naive. Oh, the dolphin suddenly opened its mouth and called out to them softly. Ha ha ha, Is this guy talking to us? Ringo Yuri and Ghost Lantern Moon found it even more interesting. But suddenly, the expressions of the two became stiff, as if something exploded in their heads. The dolphin called again. Lin Yuai and Guiding Manaiu's expressions changed drastically, and they felt their whole bodies tremble, and a weird electric current appeared in the spine, as if they had self-awareness, and quickly drilled into their brains along the nerves. This guy has a problem. Kill it. Oh, the dolphin called a third time. Advertisement. The minds of the two were shocked, and their consciousness was instantly shaken away. In my mind, a grand and deep voice sounded indifferently, as if falling from the clouds. Come and see me. Lin Yuli's expression became blank. Ghost Lamp Full Moon's eyes lost their light. In the brains of the two, all the nerve tentacles were occupied by the drilled current, releasing information continuously. Their brain cells are fully fired, analyzing and organizing at full capacity. I don't have any free time to do other things. The thoughts of the two were completely occupied by this grand and indifferent voice. The little dolphin jumped out of the sea, made a splash, then turned around and swam towards where it came from. Behind it, two sluggish-looking Ringo Yuri and Ghost Lantern Moon paddled the boat mechanically to keep up with the little dolphin. Sunset on the West Hills. Mist Shinobi's island shore camp is in turmoil. Ninjas are like ants on a hot pan, running around in a hurry. Their leader Ghost Lantern Man Usama, after going out with Ringo Yuri, did not return on time, and the two disappeared. They shouldn't have defected, have they? Shut up, don't talk nonsense. What? Many people in the village have such a plan. Who can keep that kind of policy? Master Full Moon is from the Ghost Lamp clan, so he can't defect casually. The ninjas talked a lot. In the end, the deputy commander came forward, recruited people to form a search force, and went to the mission site of Ghost Lantern Manaiu and Ringo Yuri to investigate, and then suppress the quarrel. Also, about the disappearance of the two elite JA Ringnin lords, the deputy commander did not dare to delay, and reported to the village immediately. Chapter 68 is it written by Fumi Hisada? 8/10. Prev chapter next chapter advertisement. The team that was sent to search rushed to the shore of East Blue as quickly as possible. They are eager to know whether the two adults have defected. In the case of, with a good start of these two adults, I am afraid that many people will not be able to restrain themselves and follow suit. If not a broken bar. That's a big problem. It's possible for two adults to kill each other. After all, it is really difficult for caricature at this time to portray a person who is mentally healthy. But oddly enough, the search teams found nothing. They received no intelligence. Instead, I saw a few black-backed dolphins that shouldn't be here. Strange, shouldn't this kind of black dolphin belong to the country of fire? Maybe it came along with the current at some point. It shouldn't be. There is no food for them here. Some people are wondering. Sudden, 3 dolphins swam towards them, and Hanhan's big head emerged from the water. The team members froze for a moment. Oh, the high-pitched and sharp dolphin sound pierced into their ears unexpectedly. A scene of horror appeared. These people who heard the call paddled their oars in a trance as if they had lost their minds, and followed behind the 3 dolphins. What happened to them? These dolphins have a problem. Is it an illusion? Are they under the illusion? There are a few ninjas who are not weak in self-sufficiency, stepping on the seawater carefully. Chakra is attached to the soles of the feet, stepping firmly on the seawater. Advertisement. As soon as they got close to the 3 dolphins, they were 100 meters away. The dolphin looked up at them and made a high-pitched cry. Several people immediately changed their faces and covered their heads in pain. This voice has a weird magical power. As if it is alive, it desperately drills into their brains, and releases the Emperor's message into their thinking. After the information is analyzed by the brain, comprehensible language is formed. Come see me. The loud voice swept through their consciousness like a storm. The faces of several people were suddenly blank, just like their previous companions. They stepped on the water surface in a trance, and followed behind the dolphin. Farther away, the rest of the ninjas in the search team all had terrified expressions, not daring to show their air. What the hell are these dolphins? The few people approaching, but there is J.A. Ringnin. How could they be controlled in an instant? Go. Let's go. Retreat. Go back and report to the commander. I don't know who started it. In short, in an instant, these people scattered like birds and beasts. One by one, they used water-style ninjutsu to create noise, covering themselves and running back quickly. There are also bad luck ghosts. I couldn't run fast enough, and I heard the sound of dolphins in the distance. Their expressions immediately became bewildered. Fortunately, some companions came to the rescue and pulled them back. Half an hour later, the vice commander of the island's bank had a serious face. Looking at the 1/3 of the team that had only returned, his face was covered with haze. What happened? He asked sharply. Someone in the team stepped forward to explain, and showed to the deputy commander the rescued few unlucky ghosts. Advertisement. Add this ... a broken bar. The deputy commander stepped forward to check, touched their foreheads, and his expression became surprised. Brain dead. All dead. What kind of effect is this? He realized that the situation was wrong, and quickly sent another emergency report to the village. 2 urgent reports were sent to the desk of Garagakure's senior management. 4th Hokage Citrus Real Warehouse, even got the original in the first time. He watched it blankly, lost in thought. Madara, what do you think? Beside 4th Mizukage, Two ninjas from other villages were talking quietly. They are Obito and Black Setsu. It's probably that guy Wen, Obito said in a deep voice. Is it him? Well, apart from him, I can't think of any other reason for these strange things to happen. Obito nodded, and looked at fourth Mizukage in front of him. I'm going to ask him to come and test it out. I see. Black Setsu had no objection. The voice fell. The mange kie ring in Obito's right eye lit up scarlet. Fourth Mizukage, who was in deep thought, got up and left the office as if he had figured out something. Elsewhere in the village, those who received the intelligence planned to send people to form a special team to take charge of this matter. Just as they consolidated their opinions, they plan to report to fourth Mizukage. Mizukage's secretary tells them that Mizukage-sama has left. When? Why didn't Master Mizukage inform us? Is it worth the risk? Mizukage-sama? All the high-level people were shocked, and the people on Doremimai's side showed meaningful gazes one after another. They looked at each other tacitly and chose to set off. Advertisement. At fourth Mizukage's behavior is very abnormal. How can Yukage do it himself if something happens? So the high probability is the meaning behind the manipulation. The other party is planning something. They can't miss this opportunity to collect intelligence on the black hands behind the scenes. Tell me, could this be the means of that text? On the way. Doremimai spoke suddenly. The eyes of the people around her flickered, but they didn't speak. I think it is possible. At least this possibility cannot be ruled out. Doremimai whispered. After all, you have read the information. There are some surviving guys on Konoha who have suffered similar attacks. Now fourth Hokage Orochimaru has been in the hospital for a month because of it. Say it. The expressions of the people around became more serious. As Doremimai said, do not rule out the possibility of Hisada win. The other side. Guin sat high on the turtle's back, his expression calm. Inhale lightly. All the driven marine life turned into heat and landed on him like a heavy rain. 13.13.13.68 plus 0.55. The biological resources in the ocean are really rich. On land, I am afraid that cities and mountains have to be massacred to obtain such a large amount of heat flow. The improvement of physical fitness will definitely drag on very slowly. But in the ocean, a large number of heat flow plants are readily available. Around the giant tortoise, the swimming dolphins let out a cry. Guin glanced at it, saw the mental frequency and mental fluctuations in its cry, and instantly analyzed the meaning. This is asking humans if they want to catch them. After all, those people are highly similar in appearance to Guin. This made the dolphins, who regard Guin as their master, feel that capturing humans is an offense to the master. Chapter 69. Fourth Mizukage goes out. 9/10. Rev chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Never mind, all living things want it. Guin didn't open his mouth, but the spirit turned into information and directly loaded into its thinking. It is equivalent to the sound appearing out of thin air in its mind. A sense hum. The dolphins agreed, turned and continued to hunt for their master. Garigakure, Southeast Island shore. Surrounded by a group of Anbu, fourth Hokage is ready to board the ship. He noticed something and looked back. Swish swish swish. Led by Doremimai, dozens of Mist Shinobi ninjas arrive using the body flicker technique. Among them are nearly half of the Mist Shinobi executives. Master fourth generation. The matter is strange and complicated, and I'm afraid it is manipulated by other forces. Doremimai took a step forward and said, for your safety, please allow us to accompany you on the trip. Behind, some high-level officials who didn't know the truth frowned slightly. Didn't Doremimai come to persuade Master Mizukage to give up traveling? Fourth Mizukage glanced at Doremimai and nodded. Then let Anbu go to prepare another big ship. See this scene. The other high-level officials were surprised. Why did Master fourth generation agree with 643 without objecting at all? Isn't this like your usual tough style? A group of people became suspicious. Not long. The boat is ready. Everyone boarded the boat one after another, and set off towards the east-south blue domain under the setting sun. Period. Advertisement. Anbu ninjas were sent to each ship to give them specific information. 3 o'clock in the afternoon. J.A. Ring Ninus, Ash Superscript ACE Diaresis Yuri accepted the sea-level mission to investigate the disappearing fish schools in the sea area, and after registering with the Ghost Lamp Command Office, he invited the Ghost Lamp Commander to travel together. At that time, many people appealed. The two did not return at the scheduled time. The deputy commander took over the command and sent a search force. The search force came across a strange black-backed dolphin, a fish that lives in the waters of the Land of Fire, and there is no food for them in the waters on our side of Mist Shinobi. The search force came into contact with the dolphins, and the people who heard the calls were suspected to have fallen into illusion and were controlled. The 5 rescued ninjas who had heard the cry were brain dead one after another within an hour. Above, such information made many people's eyelids twitch. There were quite a few J.A. Ring nins in the search team. As a result, as soon as he heard the calls of those dolphins, he immediately fell into control without any resistance. The terror of these dolphins can be seen. It is impossible for a normal ninja beast to have such a strong power. Attention, black-backed dolphins are found ahead. At this time, an Anbu reminded loudly in front. Everyone's attention was immediately attracted. Doremimai stood in front of a ship, looking out several hundred meters away. On the sea, a fish fin swam, and then a naive round head floated up. This is a black-backed dolphin that shouldn't be in this sea. The two sides looked at each other. Everyone on Miss Chinabai's side is afraid. After all, it is clearly written in the intelligence that J.A. Ringnin has no resistance to their attacks, and they will not try it themselves without faith. The third team, go and capture it alive. Fourth Mizukage stared at the dolphin and gave the order. Immediately, a team of 4 Anbu jumped from the boat and quickly approached the dolphin. Everyone's eyes couldn't help but focus on the 4 Anbu. Advertisement. Ad. A broken bar. All I saw was that the dolphin opened its mouth and seemed to make a scream. The 4 Anbu who were approaching quickly suddenly slowed down. Their movements became stiff, like puppets on a string. They walked slowly towards the dolphin and followed behind the East Blue dolphin. All this happens in seconds. The 4 Anbu were restrained when they met face to face. Hiss. A broken bar, a broken bar. Many people gasped and felt chills in their hearts. There is no exaggeration in intelligence. What kind of technique is that? That can control people in an instant. What is the dolphin trying to do? Is it hunting humans for food? Terumi also felt a chill down her spine when she heard the voices of her subordinates around her. A feeling of unease welled up in her heart. But fourth Mizukage didn't give up. He arranged for 2 teams of Anbu to come forward again, and specially asked one person to pretend to be controlled, and to join in after the shouting ended. This person is called Hylia, and he is also one of the 7 ninja swordsmen. He holds the thunder knife among the 7 swords. Taking orders from fourth Mizukage, he stuffed things into both ears, jumped into the water and swam slowly across. Oh, seeing the 2 teams approaching Anbu, the dolphin let out another cry. Just like before, the 2 pairs of Anbu ninjas slowed down without warning, following the strange dolphin like walking corpses, and the black Holeya swam under the sea and joined in. The dolphin tilted its head and looked at the black Holeya, and seemed to think that this was also the one who heard its cry, but it was just under the sea before. So ignore it. The first pass is over. Apostrophe. The black Holeya put on a dull face, heaving a sigh of relief. Far away. Advertisement. Ad. Terumi and others also breathed a sigh of relief. Successfully mixed in. Well, the intelligence of these beasts is not high. Sure enough, there are other guys behind them. Everyone on board was talking. They couldn't help looking at fourth Mizukage, not knowing what Master Mizukage was going to do next. The fourth Mizukage Sitter's real warehouse did not move. He watched the dolphin without moving. There was a few seconds of silence. The dolphins seemed to think that this time people were not easy to mess with, so they turned around and left with a dozen or so people they captured. It decided to call more companions next time. It's gone? Ah, the aura of Lord 4th Generation has deterred it. It seems that the strength of the ethnic group is not too strong. Many people breathed a sigh of relief. Watch the dolphins go away, out of sight. Follow. 4th Mizukage suddenly ordered. I saw an Anbu coming to the bow, holding a ninja seal with one hand, which seems to be a kind of perceptual ninjutsu. Under the guidance of this Anbu, 4th Mizukage kept up with the departing dolphins from a distance. Seeing this, the rest followed suit. So far, it seems that their actions are very difficult. Even if there is a risk, it should be within the tolerable range. Maybe I'm worrying too much. Terumi rubbed the center of her eyebrows tiredly, and breathed a sigh of relief. Maybe it was just an accident, not that guy Katafumi. Although she showed confidence in front of King, in fact, she didn't have much confidence to face the famous Jyushin district. Chapter 70. The whole army has wiped out most of them. 10 tenths. Prev chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Ad. 4th Mizukage followed along with people. From time to time, they got the signal left by the Black Ho Thunder Yam, so always stay in the right direction. But after a while, the signal of the Black Ho Thunder Fang disappeared. He no longer leaves a mark. Has there been an accident? 4th Mizukage frowned slightly. However, the perception ninja can still confirm the location of the dolphin, so he did not give up tracking. Rear. Terumi and others also noticed that the mark of the Black Ho Thunder Tooth disappeared. They couldn't help worrying. Has the Black Ho been tricked too? No way. Didn't he plug his ears in advance? Yes, he is one of the 7 ninja swordsmen, the elite of J.A. Ringnin. How could he be easily recruited? But they don't know. The Black Holeya who mixed in was facing such a desperate situation. He had been well disguised. While leaving the mark quietly, he was also observing other companions who had been tricked. However, these small actions made the leading dolphin dissatisfied. It felt that the human was walking too slowly. This is not acceptable. The dolphin swam over in person, swam up to the Black Holeya, and gave him a private one-on-one shout. The Black Holeya's face turned green at that time. But when he heard the cry, his whole head exploded. An electric current, like a loach, ran along his spine and quickly drilled into his brain, releasing a large amount of information. Boom. Come and see me. A majestic voice like thunder exploded in his mind. Earplugs are completely useless. Advertisement. Ad. Obviously I can't hear the sound anymore. Why do I still get tricked? There was a struggle on the face of the Black Holeya. Oh, but then there was another one-on-one call from the dolphin. All his struggles disappeared, and his consciousness was as fragile as a piece of paper in front of this magnificent voice, which would be torn if poked. The Black Holeya fell into a daze in despair, and was manipulated to keep up with the other companions. Squeak. The dolphin has a humanized satisfied expression. Now it's finally tidy. and everyone is following up well. 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers, 10 kilometers. Fourth Mizukage and others followed the dolphins for a full 10 kilometers in the sea. Why is its physical strength so good? It's too far away from the village. Should we take it easy? Yes. Once something happens, the village will not be able to support it. When they were about to give up, suddenly, a shocking colossus broke into their field of vision. It was a huge turtle like an island. On its back, there are rolling mountains and forests on its back, and there are even gurgling streams surrounding it. If it is not for the main body, everyone will think that this is an isolated island in the sea. Around the island, there are countless fluorescent jellyfish that light up the night. This seems to be a place like a paradise. There is such a huge ninja beast in the sea. Someone exclaimed. Yeah. The body shape is comparable to three tails. Many people nodded in agreement. Their eyes looked away. The dolphin led the people to swim to the giant turtle. Advertisement. Ad and in all directions. There are also other black-backed dolphins coming from other places, bringing a large number of marine life. Is this a sacrifice? Is this turtle eating this way? Is that what caused the nearby fish to disappear? Everyone was full of amazement. Everyone relaxes. The culprit was found. As long as the target is determined, they can continuously consume the power of the giant tortoise by means of sawing, and finally capture it. It is even possible to sign a contract as a summoning beast. Many people blushed and licked their lips. Such a huge giant tortoise could also control dolphins to prey. Even J.A. Ringnan must be greedy. Wrong, a broken bar, a broken bar, a broken bar, a broken bar. In the crowd, Mai felt flustered. She didn't know if it was an illusion, but she vaguely seemed to see a figure sitting on the highest peak on the turtle's back. King, look at that turtle's back with your white eyes. Mai whispered. King was puzzled for a moment, and was about to use it after uncovering the cover. Ahead, the giant tortoise seemed to have noticed their arrival, and slowly opened its mouth. A blazing light condensed in its mouth. Boom. Lightning flashes across the ships of the mist Shinobi ninjas with lightning speed. A broken bar, 0 for flower, sir. Broken bar, a broken bar. The water mines are stirring, and the electric light is splashing. As soon as the giant tortoise opened its mouth, it was a combined ninjutsu of water style and lightning style. And it's still smooth. Most of the mist Shinobi ninjas didn't react. Amidst a glaring white light, their expressions of eagerness to fight and eager to try were permanently frozen on their faces. Then, all turned into ashes. All were burned to death by high temperature and turned into powder. On the sea. Advertisement. Ad. The blazing white light created a 100-meter deep crack, as if an abyss had been split in the sea. A large amount of seawater evaporated and turned into water mist floating in the air. In an instant, within a radius of 1 kilometer, it seemed that the weather had suddenly changed from sunny to dense fog that covered the sky. Mai's eyes widened. A few strands of hair stuck to her cheeks mistily. By her side, there were originally more than a dozen confidants, but only 3 remained. The 3 of them also stared wide-eyed in horror, their faces dull. This kind of powerful attack. This turtle is actually a tailed beast? Mai's voice trembled. She looks around. The 3 big ships that were huge when they set off disappeared without a trace. All that remains is the wreckage of the planks floating on the sea. And the people who went out to sea together disappeared without a trace. Just one move. Just one move. Almost all of our people were killed. If it wasn't for the 4th generation. Mai looked forward in shock. In view, another behemoth appeared, its huge size completely obscuring her vision. This is a turtle with spikes on its back. 3 tails Rocky. 4th Mizukage has entered full-tailed beastization. Mai clearly saw that there was a scorched black burn mark on 3 tails Isamo's hardest back, which was the trace left by the attack just now. If it wasn't for 4th Mizukage's incarnation of a tailed beast, he would have just blocked the attack. She is now dead. At this time, Jayu, Dion, A.A. Win. 3 tails roared, calling out the name of a vicious Megatron ninja. Hata Win? When Mai heard this name, her pupils trembled like an earthquake. She was right before, on the back of that giant tortoise. There is actually a person sitting there. Chapter 71 Obito. Are you stimulating him too much? Rev chapter next chapter advertisement. Fumi Hisada is still alive. While Mai was feeling ups and downs, 4th Mizukage, who was completely tailed and turned into a beast, had already rushed up. The 3 tails he incarnated is obviously a bulky rock turtle, but his movements are extremely fast. As soon as his limbs hit the water, he is ejected like surfing. His direction was facing Wind Jiushin on the giant tortoise. This 4th Mizukage seems to be full of fighting spirit, and has no fear of the famous and vicious Gu-Wen. Come on, Fumikuta. Didn't you say you want to be recruited by our Karigakure? And now Karigakure's Mizukage is in front of you. You give me the throne now, and I will consider taking you in. 4th Mizukage's tone was extremely insolent. Puff puff. A group of black-backed dolphins gathered in front of him, bursting into clouds of foam. These bubble rice have amazing toughness and strength, forming a wall as tall as a mountain, blocking the front of Mizukage, the 4th 580 generation. Water-style foam. 4th Mizukage hit the wall head-on. The foam of this wall exploded. Each small bubble is like a small cannonball. When it explodes, it produces a violent shock wave and high temperature. Thousands of small cannonballs explode together in a few seconds, forming a huge roar that shakes the sky and the earth. 6. The night sky above seemed to shake. Countless jellyfish that fluoresced died and were torn into pieces by the shock wave. The seawater even set off terrifying huge waves, like a overwhelming storm, surging in all directions. Is Master 4th Mizukage crazy? We're still here. The aftermath of the battle will kill us all. It's over, it's over. It's Fumikuta on the opposite side. Isn't this the reenactment of the battle between Konoha Ninetales and Fumikuta 10 days ago? The few Luine ninjas who survived by chance lost their blood on their faces. The same is true for Doremi Mai. She looks at the high waves that are coming. Her eyes are full of despair. Oh, suddenly, advertisement. At a sound of dolphins sounded around them. Doremi Mai and others were startled, subconsciously thinking that they were going to be controlled. As a result, he was stunned for a while, but found that it was completely weightless. They were surprised to find that a group of black-backed dolphins stood in front of them and used the unique water-style ninjutsu to protect them. Wow! Terrifying waves crashed down. They are like a ball, being ejected from a distance. The shock wave was absorbed by the water-style ninjutsu, and they were not injured. These dolphins are protecting us? Why is this? Are we not food in their eyes? Probably saving food? Some people burst into tears of surprise, while others smiled wryly. No, if it's food preservation, wouldn't it be good to control us directly? A person retorted. These a broken bar, a broken bar, a broken bar, a broken bar, a broken bar. No one refuted. They are now like drowning desperate people. Even if it is a straw in front of you, you must firmly grasp it desperately. Chirp. Chirp. The black-backed dolphins who were protecting them tilted their heads in doubt to look at the group of food dedicated to the master. What happened? The food seems to be happy all of a sudden, but they didn't pay much attention. The food is fine. At this time, you can't use the power given by the master to catch them. That will make the food rush towards the master frantically, and then be killed by the aftermath of the battle. No way. They had to come to protect themselves. Farther away. Advertisement. Ad Black Setsu stands on the surface of the sea. Black Setsu's expression was a little weird, and he couldn't help asking, "What did you do to him?" "No. Just a little stimulation with pupil power," Abido said hesitantly. "Stimulate? Looking at it now, isn't it a little too exciting?" Black Setsu looked at 4th Mizukage, who was 1,000 meters away, who was roaring upwards, his voice infinitely arrogant and full of madness. Abido fell silent. "Do you think this attack can break my defense? Only relying on a group of weak creatures?" The bubble explosion is over. 4th Mizukage was unharmed. Only the pointed armor on his back exuded high-temperature smoke. "Can't even tickle me." With a loud roar, he flicked the 3 beast-like tails. Hiss. There was a crackling sound in the air. 3 afterimages flashed, as if 3 huge blades cut off the group of black-backed dolphins in front of him. Puff puff. A series of blood flowers bloom. 0. At this moment, hundreds of black-backed dolphins were smashed into rotten meat by their huge tails. Boo. The dolphins scatter and spit foam at 4th Mizukage again. "Don't use this kind of crude trick as a shame." 4th Mizukage spat out a cloud of off-white liquid. As soon as the liquid touched the seawater, a large piece of gray-white coral burst out, rushing into the group of dolphins at a speed of 100 meters per second. "Do you know who I am? I am Kirigakure's perfect Jinchuriki." The foam spit out by the dolphins was petrified and solidified the moment it touched the coral, turning it into a part of the coral. Advertisement. Adbu. The corals continued to grow, extending to their bodies amidst the terrified cries of the dolphins. Solidification. Petrification. All the dolphins become part of the coral. The perfect Jinchuriki is to be able to absolutely grasp the power of the tailed beast, and to maintain a clear mind even in the state of a completely tailed beast. On the surface of the sea, a coral group with a range of 1 kilometer grew out of thin air. Abido and Black Setsu in the distance had to retreat. "Do you know what that means?" Boom. 4th Mizukage manipulated the huge body of tailed beast, and trampled on the thick coral group. Or rather its face, showing an expression of infinite arrogance and joy like a devil. "This means that I can use my original 0.6 technique in the state of the tailed beast." He squinted his eyes, as if feeling his powerful and invincible power. "The chakra of the tailed beast will make my already powerful technique even more terrifying and frightening. Fumikuta, face such an invincible me. How do you fight me?" He smiled contemptuously, with a playful look in his eyes. "Just relying on these small animals and reptiles with imperfect brains?" He snorted. The surrounding seawater became restless without warning. Kai smoked, as if it had become corrosive. The lurking sea snakes, jellyfish, giant prawns, and schools of fish all melted away, turning into puddles of muddy liquid. And on the back of the giant tortoise, Guin still had his eyes closed, resting his left hand on his cheek. "Not interested in the farce happening in front of you." Chapter 72 Guin. Open your eyes, brave. Chapter next chapter. Advertisement. Ad how? Stop talking and pretend to sleep. 4th Mizukage grinned grimly, and his body bounced up again. His 3 huge tails turned into rolling curtains, completely wrapping his body, turning quickly like a wheel. "Then I'll help you wake up." Shadowless. The huge wheel slammed into Guin at high speed, and the spikes on the tail trembled violently, buzzing like a saw chain. Boom. A narwhal breaks through the coral and leaps from the sea. It blocks 3 tails' path with its body. "Do you think these critters can stop me?" Die. 4th Mizukage slammed into the narwhal fiercely. Its body was torn apart by the pointed armor, and it exploded like a rain of flesh and blood. Bang bang bang, but after an hour, more huge whales broke through the coral group and jumped from the sea. Die, 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 fourth Mizukage roared, smashing all the whales in front of him to death. Tons of blood splashed down from the air. That's it? 30, is that all, Fumi? Do you only drive your pets to fight? Fourth Hokage laughed high-pitched. The beast-tailed body collided with the giant tortoise at high speed. The giant tortoise shrinks its body into a shell and uses its hard back shell to resist. Buzz buzz. The body of the three tails rotating at high speed is like a cutting machine, grinding away the giant tortoise. In the piercing sound of cutting, countless carapace fragments flew. The giant tortoise was cut open by a third, and its body retreated tens of meters. Thick blood flowed from its body, dyeing the nearby seawater red. Advertisement. Ad and the beast-tailed fourth Mizukage flew out. Ha ha ha. How about this attack? Fourth Mizukage returned to all fours, laughing wildly. Ow! The giant tortoise screamed in pain. The deep and stern voice was full of penetrating power, like a shock wave, shaking the group to pieces. More than 1,000 meters away, Jeremy Mai and others clutched their chests in pain, feeling pain like a tearing heart. Just the other side, the mask on Obito's face shattered, and he quickly hid in the Camu space with Black Zetsu, kneeling on the ground covered in cold sweat. A cry? Both sides. The same exclamation was uttered in unison. On the coral, fourth Mizukage, who became three tails, was unaffected. He manipulated the three wire-like tails and began to fight the giant turtle. Boom, boom, boom. Every time, it was like a thunderstorm hitting the sea. The giant tortoise was beaten to pieces, and the flesh and blood flew out. Ow! It roared angrily, biting a whip tail in its mouth. Idiot! Fourth Hokage sneered and pulled his tail back abruptly. The sharp horns on the tail are like a cutting machine, tearing the mouth of the giant turtle. It really is an animal without a brain. The giant tortoise suffered from pain, and was aroused to be ferocious, and its long mouth lit up with a white light. Hot, blazing. It was the mixed ninjutsu of sea and mine just now. Ha ha ha, I said I am the perfect manjuman. This kind of trick won't work on me after I turn into a tailed beast. Advertisement. Ad fourth Mizukage laughed, spitting out a cloud of clear water. The clear water swayed, forming an oval water mirror in front of him. In the mirror, the figure of the giant tortoise is reflected. Water style A middle dot water mirror technique. This giant tortoise poked its head out from the mirror, and it also had a big mouth, with white light condensing in the mouth. Mind technique helps mind technique. Two rays of light are released at the same time. To die, to die, to die. Master fourth generation, don't. This kind of powerful technique duel, the aftermath will definitely burn us to ashes. Jeremy Mai and the others trembled, and immediately curled up and covered their eyes. They can only pray for a miracle now. Boom. The overwhelming white light spewed out, like a torrent, sweeping everything. Dolphins, jellyfish, fish schools, coral groups, seawater. Everything within a few kilometers is filled with blazing light. The night sky was illuminated brightly. The stars in the sky were overshadowed and disappeared. Even tens of kilometers away, the ninjas in Kirigakure can still see a beam of light that goes straight to the sky, connecting the sky and the earth. In the light, the face of three tails, the embodiment of fourth Mizukage, was filled with ecstasy. Did not escape. This move Katawin did not hide. He must have a problem with his physical condition. He can only manipulate animals to prey on Sai A. Yes, it must be so. Ha ha ha. A broken bar. When he thought of the famous and fierce Kudo-wen, he was about to die in his own hands. Fourth Mizukage Mikur couldn't help but let out a deep laugh. But right now, when the two minds collided, the terrifying high-temperature blazing light released suddenly froze. Without warning. Advertisement. Add the gushing waves of light suddenly froze in midair. Every inch, every strand, stops in the air. It was as if time stood still. What? Fourth Mizukage's smile froze on his face as well, and he looked around in bewilderment. Next moment, there was a bang in his mind, and in his consciousness, a force as vast as the sky suddenly descended. This power comes from the man on the back of the giant turtle. From Gu Wen. He slowly opened his eyes, revealing a pair of pale silver pupils. These eyes are like the stars in the sky, full of brilliance, and like mercury on the ground, flowing with mystery and holiness. Cold, indifferent. It was as if the eyes of gods were watching mortal ants. The moment Gu Wen opened his eyes, this gaze pierced through time and space, vision, and perception, and was deeply imprinted in the minds of all living things. Whether it's Terumi Mai et al. With closed eyes, or fourth Mizukage with a tailed beast, or Obito and Black Setsu who only dare to appear in phantom. As long as your spiritual will is here, these indifferent silver eyes will fall into your thoughts. Too bright. On the back of the turtle, Gu Wen with a pair of pale silver eyes made a voice in the thinking of all creatures. He didn't speak, but all living things heard his voice. Even the blazing light that has spread for thousands of meters listens to the wail of this voice. The light starts from the edge and goes out bit by bit. From the outside to the inside, the beams of light that stretched from sky to earth also eliminated the huge sound and movement. Dim little by little, then disappear. This piece of high-temperature blazing light that was supposed to erupt violently, just like this, waved and disappeared in the trembling thinking of all creatures. Even the giant tortoise in the water mirror technique, and the real giant tortoise. The Seimai ninjutsu in the mouths of the two also slowly extinguished and became nothing. It's like being gently wiped away with an eraser. Chapter 73 The Cancer-like tailed beast. Brev chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. This can be called a scene beyond imagination and a miracle. It shocked everyone watching. Their faces were horrified, and they were speechless. My mind went blank. I couldn't think of any words to describe the scene they saw just now, and I couldn't think of any words to express their shock. This. Is he a god? Has Konoha always fought against such enemies before? Several people whispered in horror around Doremi. As for Doremi, her heart was beating violently, and she was full of longing for Guin on the back of the turtle. Such a mighty man. Such a mighty man. There seemed to be a flame burning in her heart, and her eyes gradually became obsessed. And ahead, fourth Mizukage's face was stiff, and he looked at Guin in horror. Stared at by those pale silver eyes, he felt unprecedentedly terrified. Obviously, after turning into a beast with a tail, his body is as huge as a mountain, and his strength is so powerful that he can sweep the battlefield with any hidden village. It is obvious that Guin is just an ordinary human body. Obviously their bodies are compared. Guin is as small as a small ant at the bottom of a mountain. If you don't pay attention, you will ignore it. But why a broken bar. Fourth Mizukage was at a loss, but he felt it strongly. The tiny man was actually him. The gaze projected from this pair of pale silver eyes is as vast and boundless as the sky and the sea, full of boundless power. What is a mountain in the face of this vast expanse? Chakra. Guin didn't care what fourth Mizukage was thinking. Advertisement. He rubbed his fingers gently, experiencing the feeling just now. Highly activated energy. When it reaches a certain concentration, it will change qualitatively, produce life characteristics, and emit mental fluctuations. I just killed their mental fluctuations. As a result, the effects of both techniques were erased. In this Kazi broken bar. Guin's eyes fell on the beast-tailed fourth Mizukage. He clearly saw that a high-intensity force formed a unique shape in a fixed form. It's like someone put the flowing water into a bottle. The so-called bottle is Three Tails rock quarry. The power that makes this bottle is the yin-yang dun of Sage of Six Paths. And this force after entering the bottle is like a baby leaving the mother's womb, and life coming from the primitive ocean to the land. It becomes an individual. This is the tail beast. So, if I mentally interfere with this piece of energy. Guin looked at the three tails in front of him. His spirit is like silk like mist, emitting out soundlessly. The entire body of three tails exudes equal spiritual fluctuations. It is not like a human being, whose torso and head emit different intensities of mental fluctuations. But the tail beast is like a whole. Its form is just a shell. In essence, it is a group of high-level energy that emits mental fluctuations at all times with an equal concentration. Let's take a simple example. It was like a misshapen mass of cancer cells. This kind of creature has no weakness, and it will not die if its heart or head is destroyed. To kill them all bodily activity needs to be killed. A broken bar. Advertisement. Guin stretched out his hand and tapped lightly. In everyone's field of vision, nothing happened. But fourth Mizukage, who turned into a beast with a tail, suddenly shook his body. The carapace on his back seemed to be crushed by an invisible force, and exploded into powder. He became a deformed turtle without a shell, lying naked on the coral. Fourth Mizukage spat out a big mouthful of blood, his expression dazed and terrified. What's your trick? He didn't even know what just happened. Why did Fumi Hisada just point a finger at him? And his body was severely injured. Guin didn't explain. He didn't care about fourth Mizukage's thoughts, just pondered thoughtfully. Without a core, all chakras need to be inactivated. This method of killing is too inefficient. I want to wipe out the mental fluctuations in a 10 by 10. From this amount, at least a year is needed. Otherwise it's not really killing the tail beast. Guin thought in his heart. In the past, after the tail beast was killed, it could be resurrected. That's because what was killed was only the body, and the seal of Jinchuriki only connected their lives to the body. The bottle is broken. Just make another one. The water inside was not affected. How do we do this? Guin pondered. Before, fourth Mizukage erupted in panic, and chakra, the gathering tailed beast, attacked again. Advertisement. The air began to roll, creating wisps of white air. The yin and yang chakra are perfectly combined in a ratio of 2:8, swallowing the surrounding air like a black hole, and condensing into a deep purple sphere. The sphere is still and suspended, giving a sense of depth. Like a solid iron ball, chakra in the energy state condenses into a solid body. This is a 8-tailed beast bomb. It is a trick that all tailed beasts naturally master to maximize their power. Golem. In the distance, Black Setsu and Abito frowned tiredly. Is it tailed beast bomb again? Isn't this the same as the battlefield on the east blue shore of the Land of Fire half a month ago? No way. Fourth Mizukage has no other tricks. Abito was silent for a while, and asked again, the attack that broke Three Tails' shell just now, did you see what it was? Baijou? Black Setsu shook his head. I don't understand. Don't you understand? Abito was surprised. You are the embodiment of Madara's spiritual will. Anything else Madara doesn't even know? This can only show that the attack just now by Ami Hisada is beyond the knowledge of my maker. Black Setsu said half truthfully. It's not a liar. Even the mother, Kaguya, Can't make the tail shell burst through the air. Its mother couldn't do it, and Madara naturally couldn't know it. As for Doremi, her face was flushed, and her ears, hidden under her hair, also became red. And others are already numb. Another dolphin, another sea mine blazing, another 4th generation's tail animalization, another ninjutsu effect extinguished out of thin air, and another 3 tails carapace shattering. Repeated panic emotions have already made their nerves numb.
Chapter 74. Where are you looking? Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement boom. As if knowing their wishes, 4th Mizukage suddenly spit out the tail beast in his mouth, a deep and thick purple-black ball, ejected out like a black hole. The surrounding air and water vapor are all sucked in, but Guwen just glanced at it lightly. As usual. The light silver eyes are deeply imprinted into the thinking of all living things. A force as vast and boundless as the sky descended, as if a god stretched out a huge palm, gently pinching the flying tail beast bomb. The rapidly flying tail beast bomb suddenly came to a standstill. Spacetime stasis generally hovers in the air. The scene just now reappeared. This time, there was no blazing light blocking the field of vision, and everyone could clearly see that the astonishingly powerful tail beast bomb disappeared little by little, as if a drawing on paper was slowly erased with an eraser. In a few seconds, the entire tail beast bomb disappeared without a trace. 4th Mizukage opened his mouth wide in surprise, dumbfounded. Far away, Obito and Black Zetsu stared at each other in shock, speechless. Guwen's action is not over yet. He raised his hand and made a fisting motion. This moment, everyone felt that the invisible and vast power surrounded 4th Mizukage heavily, like an invisible big hand slowly rubbing it into the palm. Pain appeared on 4th Mizukage's face, and his body was stiff and unable to move. Click. Click. There were crackling sounds on his beast-like body. Advertisement huge cracks appeared on his body. No. No, he cried out in pain, but Guwen just clenched his fists lightly, closing his palms together. Boom. In the unbelievable eyes of everyone, the huge 3 tails exploded, turning into a group of aggressive tail beast chakra, roaring away like a storm roar. In the thinking of all creatures, there seemed to be a painful growl. Them. Everyone's eyes blurred, and suddenly, Dabe came to a dark place. The sea water under their feet turned into a hot and humid floor, and a huge ceiling fence stood in front of them. Behind the fence, 3 tails Osamu gave them a cold look. This is mental space. Chakra pulled them and their spirits into one place. This is where? 4th generation project. Where's the 4th generation project? How did we come here all of a sudden? Terumi and the others panicked for a while. Few people know that the sealed space of tailed beast and Jinchuriki looks like this. They will only wonder if they have been hit by an illusion. Or is it timespace ninjutsu that suddenly transported them to this strange place? Humanity. 3 tails let out a deep roar, glaring at all the humans in the mental space. Advertisement he is even looking for the human being who fought with him just now. After 4th Mizukage turned into a tail beast, the injuries and pains he suffered were also reflected on his body. You bloody humans. Tell me, where is Kudafumi? 3 tails roared, eyes wandering. It felt jealous that the human named Kudafumi could easily rub the 4th Mizukage, which perfectly used its power, like a toy. Definitely strong, even if it comes to this spiritual space, it may not be able to suppress the opponent. Where are you looking? A faint voice came from above the head. 3 tails looked up abruptly, eyes narrowed in horror. Terumi and the others raised their heads in astonishment, showing frightened expressions, while other sea creatures looked up fanatically. In the dark sky above, a huge moon-like eye slowly opened, staring at the creatures below indifferently. The mountain-like 3 tails, in front of this eye, can't even compare to its pupils. Other people and marine life are even more tiny, like cells. Stay here, 3 tails. Guwen's faint voice came. You human being, why are you stronger than me? 3 tails asked tremblingly. When ignored it. Next moment, while everyone was shivering, they suddenly realized that the scene in front of them had changed again. They escaped from that strange dark space and returned to the ocean. Came back. Advertisement had. What was that place just now? And that eye in the sky? Don't look at me, how could I know? Several people chatted excitedly. Terumi clutched her heart, let out a long breath, with an aftertaste in her voice that only she could detect, and then leaned wearily to the side, and ahead. The huge amount of chakra that the 3 tails exploded into shrank spontaneously, as if imprisoned by a force, and slowly retracted into a person's body. That is the 4th Mizukage Citrus Real Store. At this moment, his eyes were blank, with a dull expression on his face. A powerful and vast spiritual power occupied all his thinking space, controlled the whole body's nerve channels, metabolic cycle, internal organs, hormone secretion, and so on. He completely became Guwen's puppet. Guwen can use bioelectricity to stimulate muscle contraction and control his actions as soon as he thinks about it. By simulating mental fluctuations, you can control him to use chakra. Stimulating hormone secretion and organ metabolism can determine whether he enters an active or deep sleep state. You can't die for the time being, so be it. Until I find a way to completely kill the tailed beast and devour it, you will continue to live. Gu Wen took a light breath. I and the battle just now, all the dead sea creatures turned into dust. A waterfall-like flow of heat, watering appeared, plus 0.01, plus 0.01, plus 0.01, even these sea creatures helped him catch food before, so they could be called his family members. Gu Wen was not at all polite either, because this world is his breeding ground, all living creatures are his food. Chapter 75 Master Wen, please be our Kirigakure shadow. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisementa dawn. The sea with three tails gone, all is well, even extremely silent. Everyone didn't dare to speak, and could only look at Gu Wen on the giant turtle's back with awe. The man displayed a godlike terrifying power there is no will to resist in their hearts. Whoosh, chirp, chrrrrr, only the dolphins make cheerful noises swimming around. Those who survived by chance were also escorted by the dolphins and sent to the coral colony created by fourth-generation water shadow. Footsteps on solid coral. A group of people trembled and walked forward with worried faces. Didn't take a few steps, they saw a familiar figure standing quietly in front of them. It was Fourth Mizukage, but the state of Fourth Mizukage is full of abnormalities. His eyes are glazed. His expression is glazed over, like those people who are possessed by dolphins. Everyone couldn't help feeling tense. Master Fourth Generation also, Master Wen, is he planning to kill us too? Calm down, if you want to kill, the dolphins have already controlled us, there is no need for us to meet that Lord Wen. They spoke in uneasily low voices, they didn't even dare to call Gu Wen by his name directly, but called him Wen as he called himself. They continued on, passing Fourth Mizukage, who was as sluggish as a doll. His body trembled, his face tensed. Terumi Mei, who is the leader, has fear and longing in his eyes. If people who don't know the truth see this scene, they may think that these people are conducting some kind of audience, although in fact it is not bad. Advertisementa dozens of seconds later, they walked to the edge of the coral group and came to the giant turtle. Finally, I saw Gu Wen on the back of the turtle up close. Those cold, indifferent, mysterious pale silver eyes that flowed with great power watched them condescendingly, and everyone felt a sudden shock in their hearts and lowered their heads in awe. Master Wen, I heard that you were interested in our Kirigakure before, and we sincerely hope to get you to join us. Terumi Mei reacted the fastest and bowed deeply to Gu Wen. Others reacted immediately regardless of men, women, young or old, status. At this moment they all had a flattering look, showing a respectful look to Gu Wen. Yes, Master Wen, we Kirigakure need your strength. We've been looking forward to seeing you. It is our great honor to have you join us. Even, some people couldn't help thinking in their hearts, if they can really get Gu Wen to join, their Kirigakure will definitely replace Konoha and become the strongest hidden village in the ninja world. Their flattery did not attract Gu Wen's attention. There was silence on the sea. The sound of water splashes gently shaking in the sea is exceptionally clear. Gu Wen watched them indifferently, did not speak, seemed to be thinking about something. 1 minute, 2 minutes. 3 minutes, a group of people bent over and remained motionless, with cold sweat gradually appearing on their faces. This Master Wen, what is he going to do with them when he falls to the ground? A big stone hangs in everyone's heart. Finally, after 10 minutes, their waists were about to break, and they were about to lose their hold. Gu Wen's voice sounded in their minds. In other words, you invited me to be Kirigakure's Mizukage, right? Advertisementa, they froze for a moment. No. Didn't you join Hidden Village? Why did they become their shadows? The brains of these people have not reacted for some time, and they are still using past thinking to analyze the current situation. I feel that Gu Wen's joining is to strengthen their strength, rather than to rule them. Lord Wen, you were originally Konoha's ninja, so it's inappropriate to be the shadow of our village, isn't it? That's right, there has never been a precedent for a ninja from a foreign village to serve as the leader's shadow. Several people raised their heads, revealing wry smiles on their faces. It seems that it is not that they are unwilling, but that there is actually no way to do it. Boil-style Chiawu technique. Also at this time, Terumi Mei made a sudden move, attacking them with ninjutsu. A cloud of strong acid mist full of corrosiveness was spit out from her mouth, covering the few people who spoke in an instant. These people did not expect to be attacked by their companions at all. 0 ask for flowers. 0 all were recruited. Terumi Mei, what are you doing? It hurts, quickly undo the ninjutsu. They wailed in pain. Terumi Mei looked stern, unmoved at all, watching the few people being corroded by strong acid into a puddle of mud coldly. The rest of the people watched this scene silently. Their hands and feet were cold, but their hearts were relieved. The person in front of me is Fumi Kuda, defected to Konoha, killed Yellow Flash and Nine Tails Jinchuriki, killed Uchiha's contemporary patriarch, swaggered out to sea, and was still rubbing their fourth Mizukage casually in front of their faces. Advertisementa face to face with such a terrifying strong man. Do you know your position? Everyone's life hangs in this one thought. Master Wen is willing to be Mizukage, it's for your face. A bunch of ignorant guys. With my strength, I can kill a shinobi or create a new mist shinobi at any time. The bystanders opened their mouths and expressed their disdain for the few people who were killed. This is showing your attitude. In other words, you invited me to be Kirigakure's Mizukage, right? The next moment, Gu Wen's voice sounded in their minds again, same words, same tone. On the back of the turtle. Gu Wen rested his left hand on the side of his face, as if looking at them with interest. It's like the expression of a human being observing a group of ants. It's my honor. Please allow me to be your right-hand man. To be loyal to Master Wen. This time everyone hastily agreed. Gu Wen smiled faintly, and his eyes fell on Terumi Mei, one of the last 5 people alive. Be watched. Terumi Mei's whole body was excited, and her body entered a state of excitement uncontrollably, half excitement, half fear. You are a smart person, I hope you will always be smart. Gu Wen's voice sounded in her mind. The subordinate understands. Terumi Mei took a deep breath and answered with a bow. That's good. Gu Wen's voice sounded, there was no opening, and every time it sounded directly in the minds of the 5 people.
Chapter 76 Terumi Mei, those who do not accept the facts, I can only ask him to die. Pref chapter next chapter advertisement. At this time, the big rock in the hearts of the 5 people completely fell down. Gu Wen is their Kirigakure's Mizukage. There is a high probability that they will not kill them, but leave them alive. After all, Mizukage also needs men, right? A power. How could there be only one leader? Let's go back. Gu Wen's voice sounded again. When everyone looked up, they saw that Gu Wen had already closed his eyes. Those awe-inspiring pale silver pupils were closed, and the invisible pressure in the air was suddenly released. Then, the giant tortoise under Gu Wen's seat grew flesh and blood rapidly. Almost a third of his body was torn, showing an amazing speed of healing. Muscles and nerves reconnect within seconds. The huge wound closes and blood stops flowing. In a blink, the severe and fatal injuries on the giant tortoise disappeared. No need to think about it. You can guess that this is the handwriting of Gu 790 article. How can ordinary ninjas have such terrifying resilience? Only Gu Wen, who is super standard and super imaginative, has such incredible power. It's unbelievable. Simply miraculous power. Apostrophe. Yes, Master Wen can be enshrined as a god. The people below looked at each other in amazement. Then, under the leadership of 4th Mizukage who turned into a puppet, they stood on the backs of 5 dolphins and headed towards Kirigakure. As for the 3 idiots killed by Terumi Mei now, Gu Wen naturally wouldn't let it go, and squeezed it out with a light suction. Plus 0.0001. The improvement brought about is negligible. But wasting food is not a good habit. This behavior naturally shocked the 5 of them for a while, and fine white sweat appeared on their foreheads. Advertisement. But the 5 dared not say more. Even Terumi Mei turned a blind eye and lowered her head silently. It's not enough to die by yourself. After returning to the village, I'm afraid there will be a big cleansing. Well, I hope they're all sensible. 7. Yeah, I don't want to start with my fellow villagers. Terumi Mei and the others silently communicated with each other with their eyes. Although Gu Wen has his eyes closed, his mental perception is clear to their communication. He doesn't care. These people are still useful. People from Kirigakure are also useful. Gu Wen already had an inspiration in his mind about the method to completely kill the tailed beast. Everyone in Mist Shinobi will be his experimental material. The field of life. The energy state exists. A chakra link spirit. A broken bar. A broken bar. A broken bar. Gu Wen calculated in his mind. His brain quickly analyzed and sorted out information like a machine. On the way back, it didn't take long to meet a group of hidden ninjas. Before, the beam of light from Yunlai ninjutsu was bright enough to be seen in the village, and the Mist Shinobi ninjas found out that it was the direction where 4th Mizukage started, so they formed a team to investigate the situation. Just in case, worried about what's wrong with their Mizukage. As a result, I ran into it halfway through the departure. You are Mizukage-sama, Terumi Mei-sama, Ao-sama. The people in the team let out joyful sounds, etc. Mizukage-sama, you. But soon, they discovered that something was wrong. 4th Mizukage's face is dull, not normal. And what about the boat they set off on? Advertisement. And what about Anbu Hoof followed? They obviously set out to track down the black-backed dolphin. Why are they riding back on the black-backed dolphin now? And what's up with this gigantic tortoise in the back? Everyone. 4th Mizukage raised his stiff face and said to them, from now on, I will not be your Mizukage. Kirigakure will be handed over to Master Wen, who will be our 5th Mizukage. The words just came out of my mouth. The Mist Shinobi ninja on the opposite side caused an uproar. Are you kidding me? Mizukage-sama, is this something that can be easily decided? Who is the so-called Master Wen? Is that Konoha rebellious? Why did you suddenly make such a decision? Mizukage-sama, please think again. And Terumi Mei-sama, King-sama, please persuade Mizukage-sama. They couldn't help but look at the people next to 4th Mizukage. Be watched by them. Terumi Mei and others looked away, apologetic. Why look away? My lords, say something. Someone continued to yell in dissatisfaction. Some people's faces changed slightly, and they fell silent calmly. Fools are always just decimals. Most people can detect that something is not good at the first time. 0. Everyone, I suggest you accept this fact. Terumi Mei took a deep breath, looked at the crowd sincerely and said, as soon as she spoke, people's dissatisfaction was directed at her. What are you kidding? Terumi Mei, will you guys betray the village? A mere woman. Don't think that you can talk nonsense if you have a blood inheritance limit. A broken bar. Terumi Mei sighed softly, and exchanged glances with the other four. The next moment, advertisement, ad they shot at the same time, quickly releasing ninjutsu, boil style a middle kyu technique, water style water cannonball, water style Kaiang Liu technique, lightning style emotion wave, lightning style Tanming. The five themselves are first-rate ninjas in Mist Shinobi. Yet another sudden strike. The other side couldn't react at all. In an instant, the dozen or so people who voiced their dissatisfaction were drowned by the ninjutsu of water plus thunder, and died without making a sound. And other people who kept silent were also hurt by Kyoan technique. Each of them covered their mouths and noses in pain. Their throats were burning hot. Those who don't accept the facts, I can only ask him to die. Jeremy Mai stared at her former village companion with cold eyes and said in a deep voice, next to her, so did the other four. Who else is dissatisfied? Jeremy Mai looked around. Under Kyu technique, no one dared to stand up. Many people's eyes flickered, realizing that there must be major changes in it. The situation is unclear, and they are unwilling to make hasty decisions. Master Jeremy Mai, you suddenly said that ... we can't give you an answer. Someone said, trying to delay. Call. Jeremy Mai just exhaled lightly, and the mist of boil style covered this person. A broken bar. The man's eyes widened, and he couldn't believe that Jeremy Mai was so cold and decisive. You have only two ways, either die or accept. Jeremy Mai coldly glanced at the rest of the people, her gaze sharp as a knife. The rest of the people were all soaked in cold sweat on their backs, and Gu Wen, sitting high on the back of the giant turtle. In his eyes, this small matter is not even a farce, and it is not worth his attention at all. Chapter 77, Garigakure changes his course. Brev chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. It didn't take long for Jeremy Mai to deal with the situation of these Mist Shinobi ninjas. Killed 3/4 of the people. After a little hesitation, Jeremy Mai made a move directly. Her current appearance is somewhat Gu Wen's usual style. The other four couldn't help but feel a chill in their hearts. As a matter of course, those who were killed, Gu Wen devoured them clean. Plus 0.001. Plus 0.001. The expressions of the quarter of the ninjas who survived became terrified. Everyone walked in silence. During the rest of the journey, it's not that no one planned to escape, but as long as they moved a little, they were immediately sprayed by a dolphin next to them with ninjutsu. As mentioned before, these dolphins are the result of Gu Wen's experiments. Each one has strength comparable to that of a human J-Ringnen. Killing people is naturally easy. Then, of the remaining quarter, another half died. All the Mist Shinobi ninjas who are still alive have come down to earth. The faces were so pale that there was no blood, and the cold sweat was all over the forehead. Garigakure is 1 kilometer away. Jeremy Mai turned her head and said to the giant tortoise. She glanced at Gu Wen on the turtle's back, and went back silently without getting a reply. Gu Wen didn't have 30 blocks, which means she did something right. Can go on. The distance of a kilometer is reached in an instant. Ashore, some Garigakures have already spotted them and reported loudly. Advertisement. Ad Master Commander, Lord 4th Generation is back. The subsequent search team is also back. There were a lot fewer people, and strangely enough, they were riding black-backed dolphins. What? The deputy commander frowned and walked to the seaside to look. Looking at it, I immediately regretted it. I saw dolphins jumping out of the water one after another, spitting out ninjutsu from their mouths in one order, and a large amount of foam formed a huge white wave, hitting him head-on. Enemy attack. At the end of his life, the deputy commander only had time to light a bullet. Boom. Tens of thousands of bubbles exploded, tearing his body apart. The entire Garigakure frontline camp was reduced to ruins. The ground cracked and dust flew. A large number of ninjas died at this moment. A broken bar. See, the Mist Shinobi ninjas who have not yet landed. Their eyes widened in fear. Come up and directly bombard a large-scale ninjutsu. It's too ruthless. But the more ruthless is yet to come. Bang, bang, bang. The giant sea turtle actually landed from the sea, its limbs as huge as mountains, and its claws stomped heavily on the ground. 1 foot fell and the whole camp shattered. The original faint screams disappeared. Oh. Jeremy Mai and the 5 of them couldn't help swallowing their saliva. They then voluntarily went ashore with the surrendered Mist Shinobi ninjas to recruit those who survived and survived the camp. The dolphins did not go ashore and return to the water after attacking. Only Gu Wen sat on the back of the giant turtle and slowly crawled inland. Boom, boom. Advertisement. Ad boom. Every step the giant tortoise takes will cause earthquake-like vibrations. Trees more than 10 meters high were crushed under its feet like toothpicks. Let's deal with it quickly and keep up, Jeremy Mai said with a trembling voice. The others nodded vigorously. Gu Wen made it clear that he didn't care about them, as if it didn't matter if they took the opportunity to escape. But none of the people who are still alive are idiots. Dare to escape? I'm afraid I won't see the sun the next day. In Garigakure, an extremely old man who assisted the first generation of Mizukajiya aged Shai. To this day, he is still the elder of Garigakure, surrounded and followed by many people. 4th Mizukage goes out. He sits temporarily, but he received an urgent report from the front line, an urgent report that made him wonder if he was joking. 4th Mizukage, Jeremy Mai, Ao and others rebelled, supported Konoha's rebellious ninja Hisatofumi as 5th Mizukage, and forcibly broke through all the camps along the way. Those who disobeyed were killed. Am I not mistaken? Master Yuan couldn't help looking at the Ant-Boo ninja who sent the urgent report. Jeremy Mai and King Mutiny are still possible. But fourth Mizukage rebelled. What are you kidding? A shadow who holds the highest power in Yingkun. What conditions can he have to tempt him to rebel? Master Yuan, it has been confirmed. The Ant-Boo ninja dripped cold sweat from the bottom of his mask, and said in a trembling voice, it's not exaggerating, it's just how it is. They're less than 3 kilometers away from the village. Just finished. Boom. There was a slight shaking, which surprised Yuan. Earthquake. No, how could there be an earthquake in Karigakure? Master Yuan was stunned for a moment, and suddenly found the Ant-Boo ninja in front of him, whose body was shaking like a chaff sieve. What's wrong with you? Advertisement. Ad Master Yuan. It's that giant tortoise. That one is coming. This one said in a crying voice. What? Master Yuan was shocked, and hurriedly got up and walked to the window. He looked out, and his eyes shrank suddenly. An indescribably gigantic sea turtle slowly crawled towards the village with its mountain-like limbs. Even, this sea turtle itself is comparable to a hidden village in the world. Master Yuan. A familiar voice sounded from behind. Master Yuan suddenly turned his head. His face was horrified, and he saw that the Ant-Boo ninja who reported to him had fallen to the ground. And Jeremy Mai 280 brought 4 pillars of the usual village and pointed at him with weapons. Have you made a decision? Jeremy Mai asked softly. Aren't you all crazy? Master Yuan was furious when he heard the words, pointed his crutches at several people, and shouted, the village cultivated you, but you actually turned traitor. You want to hand over the village to a traitor from another village? This kind of thing, the old man will never allow. It's even more impossible to agree. Jeremy Mai's expression darkened, and she sighed softly. Dozens of seconds later, she took people out of the room, leaving Master Yuan's body behind. This night, Karigakure was blazing, and the ninjas turned against each other and killed each other. It wasn't until dawn that the shouting and killing gradually died down. Plus 0.001, plus 0.001, plus 0.001. Guwin calmly closed his eyes on the back of the giant turtle, until Jeremy Mai, covered in blood, brought 2 people to the giant tortoise and asked for the next order. Only then did he turn his attention away from the thoughts in his mind. Jeremy Mai manages Mist Shinobai's suitability. Don't kill too many people after today. I want people to live. Guwin's voice sounded in the minds of the 3 of them. Why 3? Because in the battle last night, 2 unlucky ghosts died. Chapter 78, The Kingdom of Water changes owners. Brave chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. After dawn, the giant tortoise's footsteps did not stop, but continued to move forward. It's heading towards the land of water. Seeing this direction, Jeremy Mai and the others showed expressions of horror. Master Wen. What do you want to do? No, isn't that obvious? But, that's a daimyo. A nobleman. This is something they can't even imagine. Ninjas accept employment and provide force in exchange for money, as if they have become a shackle, imprisoning their thinking. Even if he had power, he never thought that he could control all his strength. But Guwin is a time traveler, so naturally he will not be affected. Do you think that in the eyes of Mr. Wen, there is a difference between different identities? Someone whispered. With a swipe, everyone's eyes fell on him. The man was taken aback, and hurriedly said, What's the matter? Am I wrong? Everyone's expressions became complicated. On the contrary, you are absolutely right. Yes, the daimyo and nobles will suffer. The land of water is about to change. The same surprise and shock appeared everywhere in the ninja world, especially among the daimyos and nobles of various countries. Konoha rebelled against Fumi Hisada, branded Karigakure, replaced 4th Mizukage as the new controller, and even set out to the capital of the country of water to take down the country of water. All the nobles panicked because of this news. It was they who rubbed the ninja. When did they get ridden on the head by the ninja? Advertisement. Ad absolutely cannot let Fumi Hisada set this precedent. Your Excellency, please rest assured, we will not let that arrogant traitor hurt you. In a luxurious palace, the middle-aged man sitting high above everyone smiled and nodded. Unexpectedly, all the big names from the land of fire, the land of earth, the land of thunder, and the land of wind have all sent people here. I feel much more at ease. The middle-aged man looked down at the 4 pairs of people who saluted him respectfully, with a gentle expression. Although he was disdainful in his heart, he still looked like a corporal of courtesy on his face. A mere ninja dares to attack his noble name? What a fool. My samurai and retainers will tear that arrogant fellow to pieces. Punishment on Karigakure too. For something like a ninja, it is enough to be a good tool. Well, then cut the funds for the second half of the year in half first. Apostrophe daimyo of the country of water was thinking about the means of punishing Karigakure. He wanted those ninjas to realize who is their master. Boom. Suddenly, the whole palace shook. There was a huge earthquake like landslides and ground cracks from a distance. What's going on? Vertical bar? The daimyo grabbed the armrest of the chair and looked at his attendant with an unkind expression. The people below stood unsteadily and looked outside the palace in panic. Your Excellency, please look over there. The attendant's face turned pale, and he pointed in a certain direction tremblingly. The daimyo frowned slightly and looked up. He was stunned, staring forward in a daze. I saw a foot as huge as a mountain peak falling down. The ground trembled, and the palace shook endlessly. The owner of this huge foot is as huge as a piece of land to walk on. Blot out the sky, cover the sky with shadows. In front of it, human beings can't even compare to one of its scales. Advertisement. Ad. What is that? What is that? Come on, stop it for me, go. Daimyo screamed, his face full of horror. Your Excellency Daming, this is the rebellious follower. This is the nickname of the giant tortoise, because of the huge size, plus the merciless crushing and killing all the way. They call this turtle the turtle of the sea. The daimyo was stunned for a moment, and hurriedly looked at the 4 teams below. Just now, these people vowed to help kill Wenjiushin. Hey guys, it's time for you to make a difference. Go out and fight for me, the daimyo sternly shouted. But the 4 teams were even more panicked than the daimyo. Their faces were pale, and there were beads of sweat on their faces. Are you kidding? It's really that big? How do you fight like this? How did Buntaki Kuta control such a tortoise? They talked fearfully. Daming heard his head buzzing and was dumbfounded. You didn't understand the situation, so you came to me confidently and said you could solve the other party. What kind of idiots are the people of the 4 great nations? Boom. With the overwhelming shadow falling, the giant tortoise crushed its body on the capital of the Kingdom of Water. In an instant, the capital was razed to the ground. Advertisement. Countless dust stirred up, setting off a terrifying sandstorm. The mountain peaks with a radius of several thousand meters were all collapsed by the aftershocks. Boom boom boom. The giant tortoise continued on its way, not caring that it had just crushed the ruler of a country to death. It will go back according to the master's will, and it will go back after going around the Kingdom of Water and swearing invincible violence. In Kirigakure, 7 days have passed since the day of defection. Jeremy Mai and others arranged manpower to clean up the streets and damaged buildings, and initially rebuilt the village. 4th Mizukage still lives in the Mizukage building, but he has become a puppet, motionless all day, eating and resting only when necessary. 4th Mizukage is under control, and the high-pressure policy is lifted. The village is more vibrant than before, and the atmosphere is more harmonious. I have to say, it's really ironic. There was a bitter smile on the corner of Terumi Mai's mouth. She was wearing a slim kimono, and her white and tender feet were walking on the street with clogs. Liaos. The crisp sound of clogs attracted the attention of many people. I saw a woman full of style, with a graceful and dignified hairstyle, walking gracefully in a certain direction. Her face was slightly red, and her eyes were full of autumn water, as if she was about to meet the passionate woman of her sweetheart. The fabric of the kimono can't hide her perfect figure at all. Instead, it outlines a clearer curve, which makes people excited. She is like a goblin who seduces men, and every move she makes exudes a charm that makes people's blood spurt. It seduces the soul and attracts people to commit crimes. But on the street, no one dared to look at Terumi Mai more. Everyone lowered their heads and looked at their feet. They all understand who is the purpose of this Master Terumi Mai's elaborate grooming today. P.S. The author writes about women only because the author is a sex critic. But the protagonist is not. The author's behavior should not rise to the leading role. Chapter 79. I like smart people, but not smart people. Pref chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Everything is for that grown-up, the one who replaced 4th Mizukage and ruled Kirigakure with absolute force. Counting the time, he has even destroyed the capital of the country of water, and has become the master of the country of water in the actual sense. Master Terumi Mai is really charming. Yeah, I didn't expect that after changing into another outfit, it would be shockingly beautiful. It's an existence that drives men crazy. After Terumi Mai left, the people on the street breathed a sigh of relief. Many men bent over to conceal their physical changes. Stop talking, I'm going home first. Only Master Wen can make an outstanding woman like Master Terumi Mai take the initiative to dedicate her life. Stop talking. I can't hold back my anger. Tonight, some businesses in Kirigakure are booming. And in the back mountain of Mist Shinabai, the evening breeze is cool. Tall, slender and muscular, every corner of Kakazu reveals the perfect Gu-Wen, sitting on the top of the mountain and looking at the night sky, with a face of contemplation. Terumi Mai took a deep breath and stepped forward step by step. The slender waist twisted, making the other parts plump and attractive. Master Wen, your residence has been repaired. She knelt beside Gu-Wen with a smile on her face. Fair skin makes people have the urge to kiss fangs. Let me show you the way, please. Advertisement. Gu-Wen turned to look at him, with indifference in his pale silver eyes. In these eyes, there seems to be a vast sky hidden, and there is a vast and boundless power flowing in it. This power only revealed a trace from the eyes, which made Terumi Mai feel awe-inspiring. She sat up straight involuntarily, her deliberately lazy and relaxed body tensed uncontrollably. The ambiguous atmosphere that was originally vaguely absent suddenly disappeared. I like smart people, but not smart people. Gu-Wen's indifferent voice sounded in her mind. The smile froze on Terumi Mai's face. Your proud body, beautiful face, charming posture, or you have learned skills created specifically to please men, and so on, are worthless to me. Don't think you have much value, let alone use your superficial thinking to figure out my thoughts. If you bother me, I'll turn you into Yura. Terumi Mai heard her heart beating violently, and almost lost her expression. She felt her hands and feet were cold, and the cold sweat fell uncontrollably. What does Citrus Yagura look like? Controlled by the man in front of me by unknown means, like a puppet. He eats at a fixed time every day, and stays motionless in the room at other times. It's no different than The Walking Dead. Jeremy Mai even suspects that fourth Mizukage's soul is dead. Do you think that after cleaning your body, dressing up in a seductive manner and coming to me openly means that I acquiesce? Think I'm interested in you? Do you think that I am here? This mountain is a restricted area, and people without permission are not allowed to go up. Your ability to rescue means that I am waiting for you. Guwin's voice is still faint, but Jeremy Mai felt goosebumps all over her body, as if I had been stripped naked. The secret thoughts deep in my heart were pointed out naked by this man. Advertisement. This made her feel intensely embarrassed and ashamed. Do you know how many people have come to see me privately in the past 7 days? You think I'll be waiting here for you? Or, do you think they won't bring women up? Guwin's voice was cold, but Jimin seemed to hear his deep ridicule and sarcasm. Strong embarrassment made Jeremy Mai lower her head. Go back and do what you have to do. Guwin withdrew his gaze and continued to look at the starry sky. That means the conversation, Dad, is over. Yes, I'm sorry. Please lie. Jeremy Mai took a deep breath, stood up and bowed, and drove away. Summit Mountain. His pale silver eyes stared at the boundless starry sky as if they were eternal. Jeremy Mai tried hard to remember this scene in her mind and stopped watching it. When she returned to the foot of the mountain, her smile faded away. The expression of charming smile returned to the nobility and sternness of the past, and the movement of walking was no longer charming and enchanting, but cold and stern. A team of Ambu, composed of her cronies, appeared and knelt down in front of her. After Ambu, King also followed. It's only been 10 minutes since you went up, isn't that too fast? King asked in surprise. Jeremy Mai rolled her eyes. People look down on me. No way, with your appearance and figure, coupled with your domineering personality and status, a normal man wants to subdue you so as to satisfy his desire to conquer. King analyzed seriously. Advertisement. Jeremy Mai showed an unbearable expression, covered her face and said, You are so disgusting. What's the matter? For ninjas, body and appearance are tools, aren't they? King said nonchalantly. Jeremy Mai sighed admitting defeat, and said, In short, I have been warned, don't make petty moves in the future, just obey orders honestly. Really? King looked regretful. Also, some people are restless. While I was tidying up the village, they secretly went up the mountain to meet Master Wen. Jeremy Mai gritted her teeth and sneered. We should teach them a lesson. It's time to teach them a lesson. King nodded in agreement. The two discussed how to do it and left. Jeremy Mai didn't say what happened on the mountain, but anyone with a discerning eye knows that Jeremy Mai was rejected by the one on the mountain. Not even Jeremy Mai, let alone anyone else. Many felt a deep sense of frustration. If they don't guess what that person on Zongshan likes for a day, they can't sleep peacefully for a day. At the same time, the Land of Fire, Kyoto, Orochimaru met the contemporary daimyo and received a piece of information from him. After reading it, he couldn't help letting out a sigh of relief. Have they all lost contact? That's right, all the guards and ninjas sent by the 4 great nations lost contact on the same day. Daimyo was worried, counting the time. That day happened to be the time when the magic turtle arrived at the capital of the Kingdom of Water, 4th generation. What do you think? A broken bar, a broken bar, a broken bar. The daimyo looked nervously at Orochimaru. Orochimaru understood what the other party wanted to ask, and said with a wry smile, With all due respect, Your Excellency, that was indeed what Funkai Hosada did. This a broken bar, confirmed his guess from 4th Hokage. Daimyo felt like the sky had collapsed, slumped on a chair, sweating profusely. Chapter 80 Spiritual Invasion at Information Interference. Brave chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. A similar scene also appeared in the Land of Thunder, the Land of Wind, and the Land of Earth. Even other small countries are the same. The daimyo and nobles fell into deep fear, and even became jealous of the hidden villages in their own country, and reduced their money and material resources one after another. You can't let these guys get too full. Yeah, the ninjas are obedient, just use it as a tool. It's not safe, they have to send people to do labor for me every year. Between the country and the hidden village, an undercurrent surges. Contradictions gradually intensified. But all of this has nothing to do with Gu Wen. He stayed on the top of the mountain all the time, and Jeremy Mai's arrival didn't disturb him. If he wanted to, the people of the Land of Water would immediately offer him the most beautiful woman, the most noble and charming girl, and the most graceful and colorful stunner. But what's the point? It's just a primitive and crude estrus. It is the physiological impulse generated by the gene's desire to reproduce, and it is the spirit that is coerced by the body and immersed in some unnecessary intense emotions. The reason why I feel comfortable is that the nerves are dense and the structure is a wear-resistant tissue. At the same time, hormones induce biological production of dopamine, which is addictive. If it's just for this comfort, you can directly secrete dopamine and endorphins, or change the nerve structure so that any part of the body becomes a reproductive organ. Rub your fingers, scratch your scalp, and yawn. It can be as refreshing as nibbling, but it doesn't make sense. When you understand the essence of this refreshing feeling and can manipulate and change it at will, you will not be disturbed by it, but will look down on it from a higher angle. Just like children who are greedy for snacks, teenagers are greedy for playing with computers. When he grows up, he can eat snacks and play computer games anytime, Anywhere. Advertisement. Ad. He won't become flat, because it's so easy to get. It doesn't matter much. Desire is not bad. I am also driven by desire now, and I am even immersed in desire every day. Guwin opened his indifferent eyes, talking to himself in his heart. As long as there is life, there will be desires and impulses. But as an intelligent life, it is too unbearable to be captured by a single desire. So I am longing for transformation, the completion of spirit and body, the sublimation of self, the leap of life. The sense of peace and fulfillment brought by me is beyond any sensory experience in the world. Some reproductive impulses are not worth mentioning at all. Guwin smiled in his heart and stepped down the mountain. He goes to sea again. Outside the territory of the ninja world, there is a vast unexplored area. That's the place covered by the sea and ruled by marine life. The seas that humans are familiar with are just the southeast coast of the Land of Fire and the surrounding coastal waters of the Land of Water, and no other places have been set foot at all. Chakra is also spread all over those places off the beaten track. For thousands of years, the ethnic groups in the vast sea area fight each other, obeying the law of nature, and the strong prey on the weak, and millions of powerful ethnic groups have been derived. These ethnic groups are becoming Guwin's hot stream every day. Plus 0.001 plus 0.001 plus 0.001 13.98 14.01 14.26. It is getting closer and closer to the 15 mark of the third transformation. Guwin's strength is also unswervingly becoming stronger. He began to enter and observe more deeply. In his eyes, the world is like a sea of rich information. The spiritual fluctuations emitted by countless creatures in the sea are like the ripples and fluctuations in the water, conveying various information about biological activities. Advertisement. At a certain moment, Guwin opened his eyes. He saw that message. All over the upper and lower four poles, Jiatong is far and near the living room. The endless information, like a vast sea of data, is constantly surging and setting off huge waves. Guwin caught a ray of wind. From it, I can see the ocean conditions in an area a kilometer away. He picked up a stone on the ground, see the airflow in this place in the past few days, and even saw some creatures passing by as if across time and space. Everything and everything, past and future. It seems that everyone knows everything, as if omniscient. So, can I interfere with this information? Guwin thought about it. 0 for flowers. He tentatively radiates mental fluctuations, merging himself into this ocean of information. Boom. Suddenly, his whole body was shocked, and his thinking seemed to transcend the world and reach an unknown height. Form has no meaning here. Everything is information, past, present, future, unchanged, changing. Are also information. Guwin himself has become a unique information structure. This feeling is very strange. It seems to be at the same height as the world, and can freely swing all things in the world regardless of the distance of time and space. He was about to try. Advertisement. Adwell. Suddenly, a huge force dragged his consciousness back from the unknown high place. 0. He returned to his body. The five senses return and the spirit emanates. The world and himself once again had a form, but Guwin suddenly felt a deep sense of restraint, as if he, who was supposed to be free, was knocked into a mold. This mold limits variation and also expresses concrete things. It is a kind of protection and also a kind of restriction. Just now my spirit. No. It should be said that my consciousness briefly touched the sublimated perspective. Is that the omniscience and omnipotence after 3 transformations? Guwin pressed the center of his eyebrows, feeling tired for a long time. It seemed that the sudden change of perspective had exhausted all his energy. He closed his eyes, slowly recovering his energy. Under the seat, a huge rock turtle carried him, swimming in the unknown sea. The previous giant tortoise has not come back, and has not finished the country of water. But there is more than one giant tortoise. After 4th Mizukage turned into a beast, isn't the 3 tails transformed into one? It is very suitable as a second means of transportation. But the harvest is also very big. Guwin rested for a long time and opened his eyes. In his eyes, the pale silver light was a bit brighter than before, even more pure and mysterious. Mental intrusions that interfere with the mental fields of other beings, thereby affecting their physical skills and conscious thinking. But in essence, it's all a kind of information interference. Bottle.com. Chapter 81. Remotely control thousands of miles away. Rev. Chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Ads. Sending, transmitting, receiving, processing, feedback. All communication, all changes, and all states are just these 5 stages of information. So I can start with these 5 stages. Guwin narrowed his eyes. He first adjusts to his own message. Vibration, sound, smell, hormone, shape, weight. His existence itself releases a lot of information to the outside world all the time. This is unavoidable. Converging breath in the usual sense is to reduce metabolism and mental fluctuations, thereby reducing the amount of information emitted. But now Guwin is different. As his spirit blanketed the surroundings, it shifted from a frequency to a wave. A strange layer of isolation emerges. His message, peeled off, cut off and blocked 7 kingdoms in the process of delivery. All external information is also swallowed up and covered up. He seems to have become an information black hole, which can only enter but not exit, without linkage and interaction with the world. From the perspective of the world, Guwin's existence suddenly disappeared. The location where Guwin was, became blank. See without seeing, hear without hearing. No means of observation can work on Gu Wen, including perspective, prophecy, foresight, deduction, etc. No method can capture Gu Wen's information. It was as if he had disappeared from this world. Well, at this moment, countless ninja world existences with predictive ability felt a huge sense of emptiness without warning. It feels like a punch has been emptied. What happened? The country of ghosts. Advertisement. Ad Materia, the witch who has the ability to foresee the death of others, woke up unexpectedly from her bed. She was gasping for breath, dripping with cold sweat all over her body. Why? There's this strange feeling that there's a gap in the future. She has a pair of lavender eyes, full of holy breath. At this time, the eyes were full of pain, she desperately recalled. Always felt that something was separated from her mind, and that thing became invisible. From this came great, widespread changes, and many regiments became empty. Head hurts a broken bar, a broken bar, a broken bar, a broken bar. Maitreya frowned in pain. Mount Maya Ring Baku, the great toad sage, who was resting with his eyes closed, suddenly opened his eyes wide. A pair of horizontal stripes pupils, full of shock. What happened? Why is the future of the blue-eyed boy playing with the nine-tailed beast coming back? Did something happen to Fumi Hisada and he died? Great Toad Sage was surprised. Wrong. But the next moment, it had a solemn expression again. It senses that on the way to the future of the blue-eyed boy with nine-tailed beast playing, there is a huge area shrouded in mist. It's a huge void, like a gigantic beast, hovering in space and time. If you want to reach that future, you must find a way to pass through this foggy area. But the mist. What is it? The great toad sage was in deep confusion. The land of water. Advertisement. Gu Wen tilted his head thoughtfully, propping his cheeks with his hands. He naturally perceives changes in the world. When he cut off most of his information, his fate began to fluctuate, and a large unknown blank appeared. This is because he has a huge influence in this world. His existence itself is a heavy page in history. The survival of a great country is only in his mind. Even the dispute or peace of the entire ninja world depends on Gu Wen's ideas. If there are 10 shares in the river of fate leading to the future, then Gu Wen occupies at least 3 of them. The remaining 3 are occupied by the Sage of 6 Paths in Pure Land and Oet Satsuki Kaguya in the Ball. The remaining share is shared by other creatures in the world. Interesting. Then try to pass it on. Gu Wen had a thought. Mentally simulated a wisp of fluctuation in the blowing wind, turning it into a piece of information that is unique to others, and mixed into the wave of information that filled the sky. 1.2.3. The changes are not obvious. In other words, most creatures perceive the world through their senses. Only a very small number of existences have the ability to directly read information. This ability to read directly is essentially a deduction of super high calculations, a degraded version of omniscient. 0. This is too difficult for them. I should directly simulate the 5 senses information received by the biological senses, so that it can be manipulated more easily. And to the world, a sliver of simulated information is insignificant. The sea will not change because of an extra drop of water. Gu Wen thought about it and made adjustments. He narrowed the scope of information interference to the creatures who had implanted his spiritual seeds. The first is capture. Advertisement. Grab the information from the wind within the range of perception, and analyze the situation of a certain sea area from it. Then there is the delivery. Simulate the location, distance, and situation of that sea area into a series of encrypted information in the form of mental fluctuations, just like passing Morse code through the frequency of tapping, and let it be transmitted to the implanted mental state along the surrounding information flow. Species of organisms. The spiritual seed is responsible for receiving and processing at the same time, feeding back to the creature in the form of instructions. Creatures accept orders and act. Go. At first glance, Gu Wen seems to have just squinted his eyes. Nothing else was done. But a few kilometers away, several black-backed dolphins who were searching for marine life suddenly received an order from the master in their minds. And they create a detailed map in their minds. The thinking is guided to a certain sea area in 5.3. The dolphins immediately swung their tails and set off with all their might. After more than an hour, they dived into the deep sea and came to a giant octopus the size of a mountain. When the octopus saw outsiders intruding into its territory, it immediately waved its tentacles, trying to catch these little things as food. Suddenly, the 3 dolphins yelled, and a wave of mental fluctuations swept out. Boom! The octopus's movements froze, its eyes glazed over. Like a giant doll, it followed the dolphin and left the territory it occupied. 2 hours later, several dolphins beyond the range of direct perception came back with a large octopus, and Gu Wen ejected a confused message into its body. Chapter 82 Life Strength, 15.5.5. Chapter Next chapter Advertisement. As soon as this information enters the body of the octopus, it exhibits the characteristics of a computer virus. Invade the nucleus, modify core files, and implant hidden programs. In less than a minute thereafter, the entire biological field of this octopus collapsed, and the cells fell into extreme disorder. They stopped eating and metabolizing one after another, interrupted the normal division and growth process, and then all activated the degree of self-destruction, and began to commit suicide strangely. The genetic information of organisms contains self-destruction programs, but this level will only appear at the necessary moment to maintain the stability of the internal environment. For example, the tail disappears when tadpoles become frogs, the webs between the fingers of higher mammals disappear, the male thymus decreases, and so on. This is an orderly and controllable apoptosis program, but under the interference of Gu-Wen, this level of rebellious principle is activated, and the whole body is executed. All normal functioning cells have entered the process of irreversible apoptosis, 30 hours in half an hour. Under the surprised eyes of the surrounding dolphins, this huge octopus turned into a puddle of pus, and all its tissues and organs were dissolved and festered. As Gu-Wen sucked lightly, a stream of heat entered his body, plus 0.041. The surrounding dolphins were even more in awe. They follow Gu-Wen for a long time, and their wisdom becomes deeper and deeper. The strong upper-level dolphins in the group already have the IQ of teenage human children, and can communicate with calls of different frequencies, rhythms, pitches, sound lengths, and volumes. And the vocabulary has reached an astonishing more than 300. Advertisement. They can even express many complex emotions and meanings. Try another one. Gu-Wen looked to the other side. His pale silver eyes became brighter and brighter. It was as if two bright silver stars collided in the eye sockets. This time it is a carnivorous eel the size of a river, and its body is bigger than 10,000 snakes. The biological resources in the ocean are indeed rich. Gu-Wen was talking to himself. The spirit simulates the fluctuation of genetic information, penetrates the biological field and enters the body weight of this giant theory. In an instant, another viral frenzy of copying and modification takes place. This time, the lack is not to activate the degree of self-destruction, but to inhibit the degree of self-destruction in reverse, and lock all the normal apoptotic functions of the cells in the whole body. 1 minute. 3 minutes. 10 minutes. The giant eel's body swelled slightly, cracks appeared in the skin, and fresh water came out. 30 minutes. A broken bar. There were bulges all over its body like monkeypox. The dolphins cried out in discomfort. Gu-Wen naturally didn't feel it. This kind of visual stimulation triggers a physiological instinctive response, which he has long been able to control freely. And it has been transformed for the second time. After seeing Shaker's mental fluctuations from the perspective, everything looks like a ghost full of parasites. Gu-Wen's mental resistance became extremely high. Will this change be a little slow? He murmured to himself. An hour passed. Advertisement. Ad. The bulge on the giant eel's body began to become deformed, and the largest one even grew to be about the size of its head, and it continued to bleed out foul-smelling pus and slurry. There was a lot of inflammation. A broken bar. Suddenly there was a soft sound, and at a certain moment the pustules swelled to the limit and burst open. This sound caused a chain reaction, and other large and small pustules also burst, festering and smelly, and turbid yellow mucus flowed out. The dolphins looked terrified and moved away from the giant eel one after another. It seems that giant eels are disgusting things, and they are so scared that they dare not approach them at all. Inflammation is actually a kind of injury, and it can also be regarded as the result of the failure of the degree of apoptosis to respond and function in time. In a sense, cancer is also for this reason. When the degree of apoptosis is locked, the damaged cells will not be able to destroy themselves normally, and will grow and devour body nutrients without restriction, and even attack other normal cells, eventually causing chain inflammation, blood swelling, and functional necrosis. Gu-Wen calmly sorted out the test results. He inhaled lightly indifferently, and the giant eel covered in festering and pus turned into a stream of heat and entered his body. Disgusting and endearing, seemingly aesthetically cognizant. In fact, the core is also a gene. During the long evolution process, organisms recognize dangerous signals through sensory signals and accumulate them as memories. Gradually, the corresponding sensory cells will also change. Smelling the stench of a dead body will make you feel nauseated and extremely uncomfortable, and you can't help but want to stay away, because past experience judges that the place where the death happened is dangerous, and you should run for your life as soon as possible. Under the evolution of generations, it was originally just an ordinary smell. It will become highly aroused and cause a strong biological reaction. The same is true for inflammation, which represents disease, danger, and is considered by the brain to stay away from. But I have been able to control the occurrence of these programs, and even simulate and change it. After losing the danger signal that represents my influence is negligible. Advertisement. Gu-Wen looked indifferently, and slowly closed his eyes. The spirit spreads out, captures the information transmitted from afar in the wind, in the sea, in the sky, and under the deep sea. Read and extract 767. The spirit simulates information fluctuations, creates signals, and puts them on the spirit seeds. The spiritual seed receives and feeds back, and the dark stick dolphin moves. This day, Gu-Wen remained motionless, sitting on the back of three tails without constantly traveling to different sea areas. Dolphins also don't need to use their simple sonar systems to randomly search for dense creatures like a lottery. Because the world naturally brings information to Gu-Wen, Gu-Wen just needs to keep grabbing and delivering. After a while, the dolphins will accurately go to areas with dense creatures, capture each other, and pull them back thousands of miles away. Plus 0.06, plus 0.004, plus 0.005. Today's harvest in one day is fully comparable to the usual 5 days. Guwin stayed at sea for a month. He also disappeared for a month in the eyes of Garagakura and everyone in the land of water. When he came back, his whole person had undergone earth-shaking changes. A pair of pale silver eyes as bright as the stars exuded an incomparably clear sacred aura, indifferent but cold, as if a god living in the clouds really came to the earth for a ride. His life strength has reached the condition of 3 transformations at A15. Chapter 83 Everything is ready. 1-5. Prev chapter Next chapter Advertisement. Add life strength 15. The third metamorphosis. It's time to go back. Even the current Guwin couldn't help letting out a sigh of relief, feeling a little bit of excitement and anticipation in his heart. The closer one gets to this third transformation, the more faintly one can feel that power. Behind this door, there is some faint light. By interpreting these lights, information emerges in the form of words. A at the bottom is like the top, and the top is like the bottom. In this way, the miracle of Tei will be fulfilled. A traversing the 10 circles and 22 roads, the angel guides you to wear the crown to reach the realm of God. Guwin has a strong premonition, and can even be said to be 100% sure. Open this door, he will get the leap of life. Completely otherworldly, step into the most true and holy world. That is the sublimation and attachment of ultimate. The ultimate pursuit in countless religions, seekers, saints, civilizations, ancient mysteries, and dialogues between man and the world. Countless praises of praise, flowers pave the ground, baptism of light. It was the perfect place to fulfill every imagination, every longing, every flaw. Go, find it, step on it. Every inch of flesh and blood, every nerve, and even every piece of genetic information in the body were cheering and shouting, urging Guwin to open the door. Advertisement. Add even the spirit and soul are exuding longing. The faint sound of the waves after the second metamorphosis became very clear at this moment, as if it was ringing in the ears, and the primitive water surrounded Guwin's body. It seems that there is only a layer of paper barrier left, and the boundary between illusion and reality will be broken in the next moment. He, a child far away from his mother's womb, was finally able to return to the embrace of the place of origin. A broken bar. Guwin exhaled lightly, his expression becoming calmer. The more he got to this time, the calmer his thinking became, and the more leisurely he acted. The preparations have been completed. A tildodont, dolphins, beluga whales, and tiger sharks, 3 races of ocean carnivorous hunters have been strengthened and controlled by me, and each of them is comparable to the strength of human ringnen. They swept the surrounding waters of the kingdom of water for me, and ruled offshore ecology. No creature or ship can enter or leave the land of water without permission. Inside the kingdom of water, the giant tortoise flattened all resistance, and fell under my rule in a practical sense. The entire kingdom of water is the transformation place I created for myself. Guwin said to himself lightly, looking down at him. The tail beast turned forth Mizukage is like a law-abiding old cow, carrying him hard every day. 3 tails is the food for my transformation. It will provide the heat flow I need. Paused. Guwin raised his eyes and looked in the direction of Guayuan Yinkun. Black Zetsu, an experiment I left behind on purpose, as an attempt to kill 3 tails completely. Everyone in the kingdom of water is my pawn, and they are an important part of killing 3 tails. The threshold of my transformation has also been reached. Then it is enough to execute step by step. Guwin closed his eyes calmly, full of patience. Advertisement. There is no need to rush. The situation has changed, and his power has become so strong that he can push any country or hidden village across the country regardless of the number. It is no longer necessary to be cautious and worry about being hunted down and coveted if your abilities are exposed. He can let go of his hands and feet and do many things openly. No one will get in the way, let alone the former enemies who came to kill him. It would be thankful not to be killed by Guwin. They wish that Guwin would forget them, and they could even beg for their loyalty and wealth in order to continue to survive, only hoping that Guwin would keep them alive. This is the deterrence of power. The huge power gap has separated each other's classes. Even with a similar human appearance, in front of Guwin, other people are reptiles crawling on the ground, while he is the lion and tiger occupying the top of the pyramid. Who cares what a little bug thinks? Even these little bugs waved their tentacles and attacked Guwin without thinking about their own lives. The lion didn't bother to look up, and could tear it to shreds with a flick of its claws. The disparity in power makes any thoughts and actions of the bugs insignificant, and can no longer interfere with Guwin. Guwin returns to Garagakure. Boom. 3 tails stepped on huge limbs like mountains, and the ground shook. After landing, his size slowly shrank, from a huge-tailed beast back to a normal human shape. Fourth. Lord 4th generation. Someone whispered something. The person next to him hurriedly covered his mouth with a look of horror. You don't want to die? Advertisement. Yeah. Now there is only the 5th generation item, and there is no 4th generation item. If you want to die, don't drag us down. The people around reprimanded, with pained expressions on their faces. They looked at the former Mizukage 4th generation with complicated eyes, and at this Jinchuriki with a dull and stiff face, walking towards Garagakure like a marionette. Guwin, on the other hand, stood beside this fourth-generation ghoul calmly. Bang bang bang, step lightly. The terrifying weight shook the ground, and the soil exploded into potholes the size of wash basins. But the weird thing is, Guwin is not followed. Everyone's senses seem to be affected by some kind of force, and they spontaneously ignore the existence of Guwin. Wangs, see without seeing, hear without hearing. Guwin walked forward as if entering no one's land. He was clearly right under everyone's noses, but it seemed like he didn't exist, and his figure disappeared from everyone's senses and cognition. Send, pass, receive, process, feedback. 5 stages of information interaction. This time, Guwin interfered so much that it was everyone's acceptance stage. Just like a computer, the 5 sense organs make their receiving ports. Guwin directly simulates the fluctuations with the mind, fakes a comm signal, and blocks their information ports. This is a more terrifying method than blocking your own information. It is simply the incarnation of the gods walking in the world. I want you to see, so you can see me. I don't want you to see, you can't see me at all. The cognition of everyone in Kirigakura is controlled by Guwin. Chapter 84. I agree, you can see me. 2-5. Prev chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Add. Even Guwin casually does something to a person, the other party will not have any reaction, because reaction is also a kind of brain processing of information. But everyone's information is cut off by Guwin, and you will not feel anything at all. You don't even know you're dead. Not only people, but also animals. Guwin walked into the forest. The ground shook. The little bird on the tree is still resting easily, and a lurking snake is clinging to the branches, calmly and patiently preparing to prey. Guwin walked past them, making a loud noise. They didn't respond, as if Guwin didn't exist. Can't hear, can't see, can't smell, can't feel. Because I don't let you know, you can't know about me, you can't have my figure in your mind, and you can't keep any information about me. Flesh and flesh creatures are essentially sensory cognition. The difference is only the difference in the sensory organs, that is, the difference in the receiving port. It's as simple as a little tweaking. Guwin walked 330 into the reconstructed Kirigakura, with his eyes closed, like a stone, causing ripples in the world of spirit and information. Boom. The footsteps fell, stepping on the green bricks. No one paid attention. The streets were bustling with people coming and going, and no one cast a half eye on Guwin. Advertisement. Ad. Guwin walked into the crowd. Everyone obviously ignored his existence, but unknowingly got out of their way and opened a path for Guwin to pass through. This behavior of giving in is completely natural. Things like breathing, blinking, and heartbeat are just as natural. People who talk continue to talk. People who hold hands let go and hold hands again. Children who are running suddenly break suddenly and then run again. No one thinks there is anything wrong. They don't even realize they're backing down. The senses and cognition of creatures are really fragile. It only takes a little skill to fool and deceive at will. Their emotions, desires, and personality thinking, in my eyes, are just a bunch of information that can be changed, allowing me to change my mind. Dact. Guwin strolled among the crowd, with open arms, like a saint traveling the world. Only those who are destined can see it. Their mental state and physical state are constantly sending out information, which I can see after reading it. Through this information, I master all their emotions and thoughts. I can even see their thoughts directly. No, not only that. Guwin opened his eyes, his light silver pupils looked at the surrounding crowd, and a large amount of chaotic and entangled information emanated from them. Once in Guwin's eyes, all these complicated information were deconstructed. He saw ideas, but also memory, experience, apostrophe. It seems that they can vaguely calculate their future. Everyone's life is like a storybook, opened by Guwin and read by Guwin. This feeling is really amazing. Guwin spread out his arms, as if embracing this feeling. See everything and control everything. Advertisement. Add. This is the feeling of God. But it's not enough. Guwin looked up at the sky, staring at the vast force that filled the heaven and earth and penetrated the 4 fields, and stared at this force that can be called destiny. A sigh of exclamation came from the vulgar mouth. It's a magnificent power. The span I see is just the natural lifespan, the expected lifespan. There are no accidents in this expectation, but there must be many accidents in life, which will make them increase or decrease their lifespan. I can only perceive and calculate, but not omniscient. Even if you read information, you can only read the most superficial layer. A circle of small ripples will be covered by huge waves. I can only read the huge waves, but I can't read what the huge waves cover up. And my interference with information can only stay at the information level, and cannot affect entities. It's even farther away from omnipotent. Guwin sighed softly. This unknown and vast power really fills people with a desire to explore. The things that human beings pursue in their whole life are nothing more than a hasty nostalgia for 100 years, and 10 years can be called a long time. In the face of this vast, magnificent and incomparably magnificent power, everything in human beings is eclipsed. The ultimate is the pursuit above everything else. Sooner or later, I will touch your destiny. Guwin withdrew his gaze, smiled softly, and walked into the Mizukage building. He entered without a hitch. The guarded bamboo, the traps laid out, and the enchantment set up. It was as if they didn't exist in front of him, and none of them responded. In the Mizukage building, several men and women were discussing matters with serious expressions and frowning faces. Advertisement. Add. The leader is Durumi Mai, and the others are her confidants, fans, and followers. Master Tarimimai, what does this lord say about the problem of the ancestor Jintariki? A person asked Tarimimai. The rest of the people looked at it one after another. This is also their concern. I told that adult. He said he knew and would solve it, and then he didn't mention it. Tarimimai's expression was a bit bitter, and his smile stiffened, maybe in his eyes. This trivial matter is of no importance at all, and I will not pay attention to it when I find time to solve it. Everyone was silent for a moment. Tarimimai is right. With Guwin's power, it may be just a trivial matter to solve the mastermind behind the manipulation of 4th Mizukage. But for those of them who came together to save 4th Mizukage, this is a big deal. But 4th Mizukage has become the past, and the new ruler is Master Wen. They dare not ask Guwin directly about it. Don't worry, it's resolved. Is worrying. Guwin's voice sounded faintly in everyone's minds. They were startled suddenly, and subconsciously wanted to ask for mercy, but their thinking suddenly got stuck, and most of the fear in their hearts dissipated for some reason. If Master Wen finds out that they are discussing the past generations, will they be regarded as unthinkable? Will it be killed? Huh? What will come? Everyone froze for a moment. Then, they looked up and found Guwin's figure appeared in the corner of the room. I don't know when Guwin came. Chapter 85 Obito and Black Zetsu, just two little bugs. 3-5, Prev chapter next chapter advertisement. Add with this. Doesn't seem like much of a surprise. Everyone looked away suspiciously, feeling that they had made a fuss. Probably because I haven't had a good rest recently, and my spirit is not very concentrated. Now my mind is inexplicably muddled, as if soaked in water, and my thinking and consciousness have become blurred, empty, and distant. Master Wen, Tao is back. My lord, we are discussing the arrangements for Kirigakure. My lord, is there anything I can do? Everyone seemed to be a beat behind, and they saluted together. So was Tarimimai naturally. They don't seem to notice. Something's wrong. In other words, they vaguely feel that something is wrong, but like a membrane, that sense of abnormality can never be revealed in their thinking. Like a flash of inspiration, I didn't catch it at that moment. This inspiration is hidden in the ocean of consciousness and cannot be pursued again. Well, you guys are doing great. Guwin looked at them with great interest, and lightly encouraged them to keep going. No, it's all adults. You lead well. Yes, it is our great fortune to be reused by adults. In the future work, please give me a lot of encouragement from adults. A group of people say compliments. Seeing that Guwin really seemed to be just here to see, without any instructions, they wisely arranged various affairs of the rebuilt Kirigakure, took their leave and left. Only, after leaving the room, Tarimimai turned back hesitantly. She always felt that something was wrong, but what was wrong? Advertisement. Add what happened that day. She thought about it several times. Even after careful consideration, she felt that there was no problem. Did I think too much? Tarimimai muttered. Beside, others feel similarly. But this feeling, even the memories and thoughts in this aspect, disappeared as quickly as a wild goose passed by without a trace, and were ignored and forgotten by them. I will subconsciously avoid this memory in the future. And they don't realize it themselves. In the room, the effect looks good. Guwin chuckled. This time, he intervenes in the processing phase of information. The sense organs correspond to the receiving multiple ports. Then the corresponding processing is naturally the CPU, which is the human brain. The brain has its own set of processes for reading and processing information, which is a chemical reaction of biological proteins engraved in genetic information, which is inefficient and rough. Guwin can easily interfere with the processing procedure. What is allowed to be processed and what is not allowed to be processed, or replace the results of processing, mess up the efficiency of processing, change the principles of brain processing, and so on. Not only what he sees and hears, but also what he thinks is manipulated by Guwin. Well, it's time to deal with those two little bugs, Obito and Black Zetsu. Guwin got up, smashed the floor and left the room. After a while, a team of Anbu came to fix the cracked floor. Nobody stopped the Anbu team who didn't report anything, as if they were just doing their job. Anbu in this team didn't have any doubts either. Since he hadn't received the task, how could he come to repair the floor of this room inexplicably? After completing the restoration work, all relevant personnel spontaneously forgot this memory. Advertisement. Add in their minds, nothing happened today. There is no such thing as fixing the room. Another place in Kirigakure, 4th Mizukage's expression was stiff, his mouth moved up and down like a robot, and he was eating today's lunch with a dull face. Very sumptuous lunch, but the 4th Mizukage is expressionless. His eyes were blank, as if he were sleepwalking. Didn't even know what I was doing. No, Mange Kiering Sharingan's pupil power doesn't work. Behind 4th Mizukage, the phantom of Obito appeared, narrowed his right eye slightly, and said in a deep voice, "He is completely out of my control. He just appeared as a projection, and the body is still in the Kamu space. No wonder he is so cautious. It is Guwin's reputation. Anyone who has seen Guwin's battle scenes will be terrified of Guwin's terrifying strength. Obito has no doubt that he will be killed by Guwin the moment they meet with that unbelievable power and speed. There is no chance of survival. Then we can only think of other ways." Black Zetsu said from the side. 0 for flowers. What else can I do? Obito scratched his head irritably. The kingdom of water is airtight under his management. A large number of cetaceans and dolphins are under his control, and the surrounding seas are heavily surrounded. The key is that each of them has a good chakra. The boat outside, no one can get in. It's impossible for me to use Kamu to send Akatsuki's people in one by one, right? Abito really thinks big. How can such an outrageous person like Guwen come out of such a good ninja world? The same goes for Konoha. How could such a strong person have been hidden under his nose? No, what I mean is to give up the plan to kill Kata Win by force, and think of other ways to collect tailed beasts. Black Setsu said quietly. Under the mask, Wang's expression twitched slightly. Advertisement. Ad, what do you mean? Black Setsu, no matter how powerful Fumikuta is, he will die one day. Black Setsu said meaningfully. You can definitely train a successor like Madara and pass on Project Tsukinomi. Abito couldn't help but fall silent. For a moment, he was really moved. But thinking of the obsession that supported him along the way, his expression turned cold. Impossible. Abito vetoed it flatly, saying, I will let Project Tsukinomi come true in my hands. Len, Kakashi, I want to create a world where you are there again. Alright. Black Setsu spread his hands casually, and his body flowed into the cracks in the ground like a pool of liquid. Winjai-Ushin may come over at any time. Let's leave. Abito agreed, but didn't move. His figure gradually solidified, and he returned to reality from the Kamu space. Then he stood there motionless. I don't even know what to write. Black Setsu left without any awareness of this. I don't know how long the time has passed. Well, Abito was startled suddenly, looked up in astonishment, and the Mangekyou ring Sharingan in his right eye showed strong fear. A frightening figure appeared in front of him at some unknown time. The other party was looking at him indifferently with pale silver eyes. Katabunta. Chapter 86 Personality Replacement, 4-5, Prev Chapter Next Chapter Advertisement. Ad Hadawen. The moment he saw Guwen, Abito's mind went blank. He was completely dumbfounded. The hair stand on end like thorns on the back. Frightened emotions were like a storm, flooding his mind in an instant, and his will was on the verge of collapse on the spot. At this moment, he suddenly realized that something was wrong with him. He actually came out of the Kamu space, and he clearly told Black Setsu that he was going to leave, but he just stood there motionless. It is obvious that this abnormality is the work of the terrifying man in front of him. You win. Abito took a deep breath and spit out such a sentence. I thought it was already overestimated enough, but I didn't expect to underestimate you. Ha ha ha. A broken bar, a broken bar, a broken bar. He laughed out loud, slumping 970 and sitting on the ground. But it's not bad, you guy. You will definitely become the most terrifying nightmare in the ninja world. I really want to see how those people tremble in fear under your rule. Abito had no intention of running away. Seriously, it can make him come out of the Kamu space without knowing it, and stand there in a daze like a daze. He didn't feel like he had the strength to resist. It's a pity that the world I longed for can't come. Abito sighed, his eyes showed deep sorrow, and Mangekyou ring Sharingan also burst into bright light, as bright as blood. Advertisement. Ad Guwen was always calm, looking at him lightly, or was watching Abito's memories. Through this memory, Guwen met Rinnegan, Akaya Madara, who was the reincarnation of Indra Chakra, Uzumaki Nagato, Black Setsu and White Zetsu, and Jido statue. That's a higher grade mold. Guwen thought in his heart. When Sage of Six Paths used Yin Yang Dan to create the body of the tailed beast, it should have referred to the shape of the Jido statue, and the two sides have extremely close structural traces. Come on, kill me, Abito said dejectedly. He felt hopeless. I worked so hard, endured so much pain, put in so much painstaking effort, but the final result was a crushing defeat. I'm the one who manipulated fourth Mizukage with illusions. After killing me, the country of water and Kirigakure will completely belong to you. Come on, do it. Abito's voice gradually increased, turning into a roar. Guwen just looked at him indifferently, and the voice sounded in Abito's mind. You feel pain? What? Do you think I ruined your plans, destroyed your dreams, let your hard work go to waste, and you hate me so much? Isn't that for sure? Abito was silent for a moment, then said coldly. Guwen smiled lightly. You are still living in a dream, feeling that you have awakened Mangekyou ring, survived a catastrophe and saw Akaya Madara again, gained attention and cultivation, lost the opposite sex you liked, hated the good friend who killed the person you liked. This series of stories are written in the book. It is enough to be an excellent novel. There's no question that you feel like the protagonist. But a broken bar, a broken bar, a broken bar. Advertisement. Ad Guwen turned around and pointed at Kirigakure. His voice continued to ring in Abito's head. In this village, if I just point to a person, his painful experience in the past is enough to write a legendary story. His lost things and disillusioned ideals are enough to make all the audience cry, and make those who feel the same feel heartbroken. You are just one of many beings. There is nothing special about you. Abito's eyes widened, as if under a strong shock. He stared at Guwen closely, his eyes filled with unbelievable shock and pain, as if something had broken in his heart. I'm just an ordinary person, he muttered to himself. Yes, you are just a tragic character that can be seen everywhere. On the battlefield, you pick up a corpse with your eyes closed, and his sorrow and pain do not weigh on you. Guwen raised his hand and gently touched Abito's forehead. You are not a protagonist, let alone any miracles will happen. Your hatred and anger, Pain and despair are meaningless in front of me. You are destined to be killed by me here, so why not open up and welcome this ending? Guin's voice seems to have a kind of hypnosis magic power, which makes Obito gradually lose his mind. In his grief-stricken heart, a feeling of relief suddenly emerged. Tranquility, calm, open up to the end, Obito murmured. Yes, open your heart and welcome the ending. Guin put his fingers on his forehead and tapped lightly. Mental fluctuations are like tides, covering Obito gently. This moment, Obito saw a peaceful darkness coming, taking him away from the noise and pain, and returning to the original peace. All he has to do is embrace the darkness. Obito did exactly that. He opened his heart and lungs. Guin's spirit entered his body like a master. Modify. Subvert. Replace. Advertisement. Add like stripping away strands, surgically altering Obito's psyche. Also, some enhancements have been made to his Mangekyou ring pupil technique Kami. After a while, Guin withdrew his fingers and said with a light smile, "Go." "Yes, my lord." Obito got up and took off the mask, and bowed deeply to Guin. When getting up, the surrounding space deforms, showing Uzumaki-like distortions. Outside Kirigakure, in a dense forest, Black Setsu emerged from a crack in the ground. It is a creation of Yundun, without a fixed shape, and can switch freely 4.3 between solid and liquid. It's a bit slow, Wang. Black Setsu was a little puzzled. This is where they agreed to meet. Theoretically speaking, Obito, which is transferred by space-time ninjutsu, should be faster. Why did it arrive first this time? Just as he was thinking, a vortex-shaped distortion appeared ahead. Obito's figure stepped out of it. "Ah, here you come, Madara." Before Black Setsu could finish speaking, he suddenly felt a chill in his heart, and a sense of horror erupted like an avalanche. The mask on Obito's face is gone. Not only that, Obito's expression turned out to be compassionate, like monks and priests worshipping in temples, with loving eyes in their eyes. The bitterness and hatred and gloom of the past have completely disappeared. His expression was strangely relieved and calm. Chapter 87 Priest Mr. Akai Obito, 5-5. Proof chapter Next chapter Advertisement. Something went wrong. Black Setsu's first reaction was to run away, and it turned around and went directly to the crack it just came out of. "Where are you going, Mr. Black Setsu?" Obito spoke softly. Mangekyou Ring's eyes sparkled. A solid force fell on Black Setsu's body, fixing the space in its area. Black Setsu immediately remained motionless. It can't even change its shape, and the surrounding space firmly locks it. "Calm down, Obito. You're under the influence." Black Setsu yelled anxiously. It really panicked. This is not an ordinary attack. It is almost unsolvable space-time ninjutsu. If it is controlled by space-time ninjutsu, it really can't do anything. "Why are you struggling, Mr. Black Setsu?" With a smile on the corner of Obito's mouth, he said softly, "The world is so painful, our plan is just a meaningless struggle in the mud, and we must meet the end of death in the end. Why don't you welcome it with me?" "Roll." Black Setsu simply roared back, struggling desperately to 30. The body turned into a puddle of pitch black ink, trembling constantly, trying to break the space that imprisoned it and escape. Obito shook his head, stepped forward and gently stroked Black Setsu. Black Setsu's eyes almost bulged out of his fright at this action. "Fortunately, I am not a human being, otherwise my heart would have stopped beating at this moment. Mr. Black Setsu, I used to be like you, immersed in pain and unable to extricate myself, and could only rely on vain plans to fill the void in my heart. But it's not right, the pain is always there." Advertisement. Fortunately, I met my lord. Obito gently stroked Black Setsu's head. His expression was solemn and gentle, stern and loving, exuding a gentle and compassionate temperament. It seems to be watching all beings in pain benevolently with calm and profound wisdom. "My lord told me that life is full of suffering. It is our original sin, a debt we were born to pay. But there is no need to worry. Death is eternal and quiet, where we can obtain eternal liberation, stay away from all difficulties, and obtain the ultimate salvation." Obito smiled cheerfully, and gently took Black Setsu's hand. "Spread. Come on, listen to the gospel with me." Obito led the motionless Black Setsu, and walked slowly towards the beach amidst the other's terrified expression. "No, stop. I don't want to listen to some goddamn gospel. Let me go, Obito." Black Setsu yelled hissingly. But Obito, with a smile and kindness on his face, was completely unmoved, as if in his understanding, sending Black Setsu to hear the gospel is a great thing. It's just a pity that Mr. Black Setsu couldn't understand. But that's okay. After it has heard the gospel of the Lord, it will understand everything. Please keep quiet, Mr. Black Setsu. Even if you are my friend, I can't tolerate your loud noise. Obito stretched out the fingers of his free left hand, put them in front of his mouth, and said seriously to Black Setsu, "Don't disturb the forest, the little animals in it." "God, what a little animal. What does that matter to me?" Advertisement. Obito, think about Ren, think about Kakashi. Don't you want to revive them both? Have you forgotten Project Tsuki no Mi? That is the plan that can quell the war and bring peace to the world in pain. Have you forgotten? Black Setsu shouted loudly, as if looking at a companion who had betrayed his ideals. It wants Obito to wake up. "I haven't forgotten, Black Setsu-san." Obito shook his head, his tone soft and humble. He smiled and said, "It's just that in the past, I have always looked at the world with narrow eyes, but now I am enlightened. The Lord made me understand that death is not nothingness, But a gift. Lin and Kakashi, both have escaped suffering and gained eternal peace. Especially teacher Kakashi and Minato. They were able to be sent to death by the Lord himself. This is the greatest redemption that our Lord has given to believers. Even I may not be able to obtain it. Obito sighed heartily. He actually showed an expression of envy. Black Setsu just felt creepy. The first time he was so panicked in thousands of years. Too weird. What Fumi Hisata did to Obito. As for Project Tsukunomi, alas, Mr. Madara is suffering too. Unable to find a way out in the suffering of this world. Bound by the small eyes of human beings. Thinking that death is the ultimate suffering. As everyone knows, death is the ultimate happiness. Although he was wrong, his original intention was good. When the light of our Lord shines into the Pure Land, I will personally bring Mr. Madara to the presence of the Lord and send him to receive the gift. Obito sighed. Black Setsu is numb. Akaya Madara would kill you on the spot if she knew what you were thinking. Advertisement. Number. Obito is completely insane and beyond help. Fumi Hisata, don't you want to know who we are and what we want to do? Black Setsu changed his mind, looked around and shouted, you should be able to see that I am not a normal human being. You don't wonder who made me. What is the purpose? You hit me. Isn't 070 afraid of the existence behind me? Just to remind you, I'm not Obito, a psychic split of Madara. My creator is a more powerful being, a far taller than the Sage of Six Paths. Black Setsu shouted loudly. This is, of course, a bluff. But there is no way. It has no power, so it can only try to escape with words. Mr. Black Setsu, I told you not to yell. I haven't waited for you Danwen's reply yet. A palm stretched out and pressed firmly on Black Setsu's mouth. When Black Setsu turned his head, he saw Obito looking at him seriously, and said, the little animals are scared away by you. This is not acceptable, Black Setsu-san. I have to sew your mouth shut first. Well, Black Setsu's eyes widened in protest. But nothing works. Manipulating the surrounding space, Obito shrinks and fixes Black Setsu's mouth, creating a tape-like shape to cover its mouth tightly. Well, woo 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 woo. Black Setsu's mouth was locked, and he could only make an intense sound of unknown meaning, and then watched himself being dragged to the seaside by Obito. In seawater, black-backed dolphins and beluga whales surfaced one by one, looking at it with their simple heads. KUMO audiobook. This novel only have 88 chapter for now. Chapter 88. Black Setsu is blessed and finally influenced. Brave chapter advertisement. Ado, whisper. The sharp calls of dolphins and white whales pierced Black Setsu's ears like calls. It looked terrified. Obito showed an expression of enjoyment, enjoying it like listening to fairy music. Black Setsu-san, when you hear the Lord's gospel, we will be our own. Go, don't be afraid. The Lord said that death is the ultimate happiness. Let us open our hearts to accept it. Obito had a frenzy on his face. With a strong flick, Black Setsu was thrown into the sea. Woo! Black Setsu whined in despair. It was directly thrown by Obito from more than 100 meters, and fell into the middle of a bunch of dolphins, surrounded by silly big heads. At this time, Obito's pupil power disappears. Black Setsu regains mobility. It first breathed a sigh of relief, then sneered. What can these low-intelligence animals do to me? Just finished. Snapped. A big tail slapped it on the face, flying it to Kongchan. What the hell? Black Setsu's whole ball of liquid flew into the air, his face paled in shock. Why did these guys touch me? Snapped! Exclamation mark. Then, several dolphins flicked their tails and slapped Kongchan like a ball. How come even a dolphin without intelligence has mastered the profound nature transformation? Black Setsu cursed. Advertisement. This is too outrageous. Ma Shan also discovered that there was malice in the eyes of these dolphins, as if they could understand what it said, and more dolphins participated in beating it. Nimas, I'm going to vomit. Black Setsu became dizzy and completely ill. It is a creation of Yundun, and it is not affected by ordinary blows. But this group of ghost dolphins actually have high purity Yundun, and every time their tails are slapped, it feels a shock of consciousness. Worse, that means it has no chance of escaping. Yundun can limit Yundun. These dolphins can easily intercept it. Bumi Hisata, Karate tilde not. Black Setsu uttered a loud shout while being continuously sent flying ashore. With his hands behind his back, Obito looked kindly at Black Setsu who was being played like a ball with a look of relief. Looks like you guys had a great time. Nodding, Obito turned and left. Such a ball game lasted all afternoon. In the endless dizzy hell, Black Setsu's consciousness began to numb. It screamed full of anger, and slowly became weak. Wait until evening. Obito changed into a slender black suit. When he came to see it again, Black Setsu's screams had become extremely perfunctory. Broken bar, a broken bar, a broken bar, a broken bar. Advertisement. It gave up struggling. The dolphins also played in turn, ending a game of ball that lasted all day. You guys get along very well, Obito admired. Screw them shit. It's not good to swear. Obito shook his head seriously. Cursing can vent emotions temporarily, but it can't solve the suffering fundamentally. To gain peace, we still need the power of my lord. 11. Roll. Stubbornness. Obito's face turned cold, and he gave the surrounding whales a look. The other party immediately understood that the air holes on his back were closed and his lungs began to exhaust. Similar to the principle of whistling, A melodious wail cry sounded. Whisper. Ah, this beautiful sound really makes people's heart flutter. Obito trembled all over, and his face was so excited that an abnormal blush appeared on his face. Black Setsu just felt noisy. What the hell is this F-King sound? It's so ugly. Black Setsu-san, you don't appreciate it yet. Obito glanced at it regretfully, but immediately cheered up again. It's okay, we have a lot of time, and everyone will sing for you all day tonight. I wish Madara killed you that day. Black Setsu sneered. Please see broken bar a broken bar a broken bar a broken bar a broken bar. Obito smiled and nodded to the whales and dolphins in the sea. Boo. Da! Exclamation mark. Son. One after another, high-frequency noises echoed in Black Setsu's ears, and he stared at the moon in the sky desperately. In the past 1,000 years, it has never been so desperate. Mother, what should I do? It's been a long night, especially when Black Setsu discovers that amidst the noise, there are waves of mental waves trying to change its mind. Black Setsu is even more resistant. It tried its best to shield the sound from its influence. Noon the next day, Obito came again, looked at Black Setsu politely, and asked, Black Setsu-san, how have you comprehended my lord's teachings? Advertisement. Ad roll. A. A stubborn rock. Obito shook his head and left. Early morning of the third day, Obito came again and asked, Black Setsu-san, have you felt the power and love of our lord? Black Setsu was silent. Alas, Obito sighed and left. Night of the third day, Obito came smiling. Get lost. Black Setsu cursed weakly. Obito nodded and exclaimed, sure enough, there is no existence in the world that our lord cannot influence, and I hope that all beings can enjoy the gift of my lord. Noon on the fourth day, as soon as Obito came, he heard Black Setsu yelling at him in pain. Kill me. Obito was very pleasantly surprised and said excitedly, has Black Setsu-san finally got the heart of a believer? Only by understanding death can we avoid suffering and obtain eternal peace. Kill me. No hurry. Wait a minute. Black Setsu-san hasn't paid for your sins. Death will come back sooner or later, but not today. Obito left with a smile. Evening of the fifth day, Obito, Lise, picked up the steps and was surprised to find Black Setsu's pensive expression. Black Setsu-san? I saw Black Setsu staring at the moon in the sky, and asked in a deep voice, Obito, you said that the state of being sealed is very similar to death. It could be. Obito answered in the affirmative. I see. Black Setsu nodded understandingly as if he understood something. The two agreed to talk again tomorrow. Evening of the sixth day, Obito and Black Setsu walked on the beach together and talked about their understanding of the gospel. Sure enough, persistence will bring pain, just like a burning torch in the dark, crackling and bursting itself. Black Setsu sighed pitifully. Yes, Obito agreed deeply, nodded and said, the night should belong to tranquility, just like death is peaceful. It is the gift of my lord, Black Setsu-san. You finally understand this truth. Hearing this, Black Setsu burst into tears and fell to his knees.